You just said that married women are the best. The next moment, you went from being a forever alone single guy to reincarnating into a scumbag. He is an abusive man, yet he married a household name pop star. She even gave him a sweet little daughter. But ever since they got married, he unexpectedly got laid off.
It is all your fault, you jinx. That made me lose my job.
You couldn't help but mutter. The original me was a real jerk. At that moment, the mother and daughter, who had just been abused by the original him, were trembling on the sofa. Shen Yuchu holding Wang Wang saw you staring at her and instinctively hugged her daughter tighter. Tears filled her eyes. She had thought about leaving with Wang Wang before, but she herself was an orphan, and all the money in the house was in your hands. You monster, seeing the fear on their faces, you let out a deep sigh. You thought, since I'm here, I might as well make the best of it. Then you slowly stood up, turned on the light, and a warm orange glow appeared, lighting up the whole room. Looking at the mess around you, you scratched your head in annoyance. Then you first opened the window for some fresh air, and silently started cleaning up the empty beer bottles. Shen Yucho still sat curled up on the sofa holding Wang Wang, not moving, but a flicker of surprise passed through her eyes. You didn't rush to disturb the mother and daughter. Instead, you grabbed a towel from the kitchen and started wiping the table. You kept at it until the room was spotless. By then you were drenched in sweat. So you grabbed clean clothes from the bedroom and headed into the bathroom. Shen Yuchu stared at the closed bathroom door, and her tense body finally relaxed. She looked at the room you had cleaned so thoroughly, her eyes brimming with disbelief. How could this demon suddenly change his ways?
Mommy, I'm hungry. Be good, Wang Wang. Mommy will make you dinner soon.
Shen Yucho stroked Wang Wang's hair and whispered. She could only wait for you to go to sleep before she could cook for herself and the child. Just then, the bathroom door opened, and you stepped out, the mother and daughter on a worn-out little sofa. Both shrank back at the same time. You shook your head, ignored them, pushed open the front door, and walked out. Shen Yuchu was stunned. Despair crept into her eyes. Did he go out drinking again? Not drunk enough tonight. She and Wang Wang will have to go hungry for another night. Shen Yuchu bit her lip. Tears kept falling uncontrollably.
Don't cry, Mom. Wang Wang is not hungry anymore.
Wang Wang thought it was because she was hungry. That made Mom cry. She quickly reached out her little fair hand, clumsily wiped Shen Yuchu's face. Shen Yuchu bit her lip. Tears fell even harder. After a long moment, she spoke softly with a trembling voice.
Be good. Mom will put you to sleep. You won't be hungry after you fall asleep. Tomorrow morning, Mom will get up early and make you something delicious. Okay.
Don't cry, Mom.
Shen Yuchu hummed a lullaby softly, soothing Wang Wang to sleep. Watching Wang Wang slowly close her eyes, Shen Yuchu thought about what she had endured in the 2 years since the marriage. Her heart was filled with bitterness. She finally made a decision. She would leave this hell tomorrow. Even if she died out there, it would be better than being tormented to death by this demon. Suddenly, the sound of the door lock came from outside. Shen Yucho, still lost in her troubled thoughts, couldn't help trembling again. She instinctively covered Wang Wang's ears, silently listening to what was happening outside. You pushed open the front door, subconsciously glanced at the sofa. You were stunned for a moment. The two of them had gone back to the bedroom, but it seemed they hadn't eaten yet. You stared blankly at the food in your hands. After thinking for a moment, you placed the food on the table, then walked toward the bedroom. Shen Yucho had been keeping her body tense. She heard your footsteps, slowly approaching the bedroom. In her heart, she prayed that you wouldn't come in, but the next moment,
I bought you all some food. If you're hungry, come out and eat. I'll sleep in the spare bedroom tonight.
Hearing this, Shen Yucho suddenly opened her eyes. Then she heard your footsteps gradually fading away. The room immediately fell silent again. Only Shen Yucho's tense breathing echoed in the bedroom. Wang Wang had opened her eyes at some point without anyone noticing. She had clearly heard your voice, and was now curiously staring at the closed door. Today that smelly dad actually didn't come back to the bedroom to sleep, and apparently he even said he bought us food. Thinking about the food, she got hungry again. She swallowed. She looked at her mom with expectation. Shen Yucho lowered her head, looking at her daughter's expectant eyes. She still mustered the courage and tiptoed quietly to the bedroom door. She opened the door. The aroma of the food on the table also hit her. Shen Yucho's eyes suddenly welled up. He actually really bought food for her and her daughter. Faced with your sudden kindness, what Shen Yucho felt wasn't happiness, but fear from the bottom of her heart.
Why is he like this? What else does he want from me?
Wang Wang barefoot came running over on her little short legs. She pressed against the crack of the door to look outside. Then her eyes suddenly lit up. Drool involuntarily dripped down, but she still didn't act on her own. Instead, she looked up and stared unblinkingly at her mother with her big eyes. Shen Yucho took a deep breath. Then she forced a smile on her lips. She picked up Wang Wang.
Be good, Wang Wang. Let's eat quietly.
Wang Wang hastily nodded her little head. Of course, you in the room heard the sound outside. You let out a deep sigh. After sighing, you started to think after. Just buying the food, you realized that there was now only a little over 1800 in savings left in the household. Gotta make some money. After a moment, you suddenly sat up straight, thinking, why didn't I realize it earlier? This is a parallel world. Excited, you reached out and picked up your phone, scrolling through it. After a while, a smile spread across your face. This world is indeed just like in the memories. The cultural heritage is completely different from the entertainment industry in your own world. Some cheated pop songs that would make you frown can even top the music charts. You gripped your phone tightly. Your mind was rapidly thinking. One by one, classic songs slowly surfaced in your mind. As you thought on, you gradually could hold on any longer. You dragged your tired body and slowly fell asleep. At exactly 6 a.m. the next morning, you gently open the bedroom door and step out. The dining table and kitchen are spotless. Cleaned up must have been Shen Yucho who tidied up. After eating last night, you stand there for a moment, thinking, then quietly slip into the bathroom to wash up. You know, Shen Yucho usually doesn't get up to cook until around 8 a.m. because the old you would always sleep in until after 10 a.m. Only after you got up and finished drinking would the two of them get to eat your leftovers. You let out another sigh without realizing it, then quickly wash up. In the room, Shen Yucho is actually already awake, but she doesn't dare to come out. The sound of washing from outside fade away. The bedroom door opens and closes again. Shen Yucho purses her lips, her eyes fixed on the bedroom door. Curious about where you've gone this time. After waiting a long time, still no sound from outside. Shen Yucho glances at Wang Wang, still sleeping soundly beside her. After thinking it over, she musters her courage and quietly gets out of bed, opens the bedroom door, and steps out. The smell of alcohol in the room has become very faint. Fresh air is blowing in through the window. It smells nice. This scene feels unreal to Shen Yucho. It has been a long time since she has smelled such fresh air. Shen Yucho walks to the window, looks out at the world outside. Unconsciously, she becomes lost in a daze. Only at this moment does she suddenly remember that she is only 24 years old. After who knows how long, the door sounds again. Shen Yuchu is jolted awake. Her whole body instinctively tenses up. She turns around mechanically. You also freeze awkwardly in place. You didn't expect Shen Yuchu to already be awake. After washing up, you realize there was no food at home, so you just bought some meat, vegetables, and rice. Both of you stand frozen. Only now do you fully see what your wife looks like. She is very beautiful, much prettier than those influencers and celebrities back in the original world. But she is too thin. Her face is especially pale. Must be from malnutrition. Seeing this, you feel a mix of pain, anger, and embarrassment. What a scumbag, treating such a gorgeous wife like this. Damn him. I'm mourning. I'll go cook first. You're the first to break the awkwardness, carrying the vegetables. She quickly walked into the kitchen. Shen Yuchu could hardly believe her ears and eyes. She actually greeted her. And when did she learn to cook? Shen Yuchu silently looked into the kitchen, at the beady silhouette. A great sense of grievance welled up in her heart. She bit her lip hard. Her eyes gradually became moist. What is this pitying me? Feeling guilty now, Mom Wang Wang woke up at this moment. She couldn't find her mom. She just came out. Her little nose caught the aroma of the food. She turned her head and stared with big eyes toward the kitchen. You in the kitchen naturally saw the little one, so you grinned at her. Unexpectedly, Wang Wang fearfully shrank back behind Shen Yuchu. You helplessly touched your nose. Soon the food was ready. You looked at the two still standing awkwardly at a distance, and said wash up and come eat. Wang Wang was already swallowing her saliva, but she still didn't move. Shen Yuchu also looked at this scene in shock. You had been somewhat hopeful, but seeing the two of them so guarded, the hope in your heart sank like a soul. You were silent for a moment, then sighed and said, you two eat first. With that you walked into the side bedroom. Shen Yuchu didn't move. She watched the door of the side bedroom being closed, then lowered her head and saw the expectation in her daughter's eyes. She also sighed inwardly.
Wang, let's go eat.
On the table were the millet porridge you made, golden and enticing, and two side dishes, along with a small bowl of steamed egg custard. The moment she saw the egg custard, Wang Wang's eyes lit up instantly.
Mom, did Dad make this for me?
Shen Yuchu was momentarily speechless. She looked at her daughter's hopeful eyes. Finally, she nodded. Wang Wang's eyes brightened even more. She eagerly scooped up a spoonful of egg custard and put it in her mouth.
This is the first time Dad has cooked for me. It is so delicious.
Shen Yuchu just ate silently. Her heart was conflicted and dazed. Her gaze unconsciously shifted to the side bedroom. The tightly closed door. You're sitting at the desk in the side bedroom, actually already starving. But you know, right now that mother and daughter out there still can't bring themselves to eat at the same table with you. You shake those thoughts out of your head night after night, then you take out your phone and open up the platform in this world. You deactivate your old account, which still had a few thousand followers. You register a new account, out of habit. You tap open the trending list on the platform, and then the next moment, your brows furrow.
What kind of garbage is this song they're singing? Since when did cramming at the last minute? This kind of cheesy pop song hog the trending list.
You have an idea in mind. You fish out some long dusty sheet music from the desk. These were all left behind by Shen Yuchu. In the past you spread the sheet music flat on the desk. The pen in your hand swiftly writes out the guitar tablature on the paper. In your original world, you were a songwriter. Now it is just time-space transference. This little thing can't stump you at all. In just a brief moment, a complete musical score appears before you. You can't wait, so you grab a guitar from the wardrobe nearby. Then you sit upright at the desk with the guitar in your arms. You brew the emotion for a moment. The next second, you close your eyes. Your fingers gently strum. The strings along with the guitar sound drift out from the room. Shen Yuchu, who is eating in silence, suddenly freezes. He can play the guitar too. How is that possible? That guitar is hers. Shen Yuchu knows for sure. He can play the guitar. At least not before. But what is going on now? Accompanied by the guitar, your singing voice slowly comes through.
Because I dreamed you left.
Shen Yuchu is even more stunned. Her eyes are full of disbelief. Even Wang Wang, who had been happily eating, is captivated by the singing. She pauses with a spoon in her hand and looks at the closed door of the side bedroom, her big eyes blinking. Wang Wang tilts her head, staring in that direction. Wang Wang knows this is the first time he is cooked for.
Dad's voice is so gentle.
Even though Shen Yuchu has never heard this song before, she can tell how extraordinary it is. Such a beautiful melody. She finds it hard to imagine that it is coming from your mouth until the next line of the song rings out. Shen Yuchu breaks down. She is lost again. Fear of what lies ahead, and fear of how this person has changed. She feared it was all a fleeting dream. The singing stopped at that very moment. Wang Wang also noticed her mother crying. A bit flustered, she climbed onto Shen Yuchu's lap. Reaching out her little hands, she tried to wipe away her mother's tears. Don't cry, mommy. Wang Wang will blow it away for you. Wang Wang thought her mother was in pain again. While wiping Shen Yuchu's tears, she tilted her little face up, pulled open the collar of Shen Yuchu's shirt, and blew on it. And beneath the collar, Shen Yuchu's back was covered in scars. You wouldn't know, naturally, about what was happening between the mother and daughter because of your song. Right now you opened your account and clicked on record video. In the video you didn't show your face. Only the area below your nose was visible. You picked up the guitar and cleared your throat. This time, you were noticeably more formal. You played and sang the song through again in full, until the song ended. You saved the recording, then cut out the unnecessary bits at the beginning and end. Finally you extracted the audio and matched it with the lyrics and melody. Submitted the copyright claim online. Once everything was done, you edited a title, Born to Have You, an original song dedicated to everyone. Hope you all like it. Please like and support. The video was uploaded successfully. You let out a soft sigh of relief, thinking to yourself, finally done. Now just wait quietly for the public's reaction. This song was a game changer in this era. You put the guitar back in the closet, then felt your hungry stomach, wondered if the mother and daughter had finished eating. So hungry, what a tragedy. Rubbing your stomach, you finally couldn't wait any longer. Gently pushed the door open, just a crack. Peeking out like a thief, you happened to see Shen Yuchu carrying Wang Wang away from the dinner table. Her eyes were red as if she had just been crying. She clearly noticed you too. After a moment of hesitation, she quickly carried the child back into the master bedroom. You let out a breath of relief, push the door open and walk to the table. Finally, you could eat, seeing the food left on the table, clearly meant for you. You feel a touch of happiness inside. Then you pick up the millet porridge and gulp it down in big mouthfuls, finishing off all the food on the table. After washing the dishes, with nothing to do, you wander around the room, taking a look at the layout of the home. It is a 2-bedroom, 1 living room, apartment, only 50 square meters, bought together with money from both of you when you got married. Everything in the house was set up back then. These things already look a bit warm. You shake your head, go back to the sofa and plop down. It is hard to imagine Shen Yuqiu with her child. How she managed to live in this atmosphere, barely going out for 2 years. This feeling is like being in prison. You also know you can't change anything anytime soon, so you just curl up on a small sofa and fiddle with your phone, searching for how to maintain a family, how to cheer up a child, how to be a good dad. The answers online are all over the place, making you scratch your head. Just then, the master bedroom door suddenly opens again. You look toward the sound and see a little head peeking out from there. Wang Wang tilts her head, staring at you with almond-shaped eyes, just like her mother's. She is curiously sizing you up. Those sparkling eyes are full of innocence and clarity, making your heart nearly melt. But Wang Wang's little face is too thin, just like her mother. If it were a bit rounder, it would definitely be prettier. Well, that is true before. This mother and daughter could only eat leftovers every day, and the little one couldn't eat dishes mixed with alcohol. The original owner didn't give them any money, so they could only eat sometimes full, sometimes hungry. Seeing Wang Wang, you subconsciously try to put a smile on your face, but before your lips even part, you see Wang Wang get scared and quickly close the door and scurry back inside. From inside the room comes the sound of Shen Yuqiu soothing the child. Your smile freezes on your face. You innocently touch your nose. Time passes quietly. Until noon you put down your phone and stand up, time to make lunch. And just at that moment, the bedroom door opens. Shen Yuqiu, expressionless, carrying a pile of clothes, walks out of the bedroom. She acts as if she doesn't see you standing in front of the sofa. Head straight to the bathroom. You clearly saw her stiffen up when she came out. Is she going to do laundry? It suddenly hits you. The clothes you took off yesterday, they're still in the washing machine. With that thought, you quickly head toward the bathroom too. Shen Yuqiu is nervous. She didn't expect you to still be home. Usually by this time, you'd already be out drinking with your loser friends. She hears your footsteps getting closer to her. That makes her even more nervous. She trembles slightly. My clothes are still in the washing machine. Can I take them out to hang first? Shen Yuqiu, who was bending over to open the washing machine door, is startled. She flinches back and shrinks deeper into the bathroom. Watch your step. You can't help adding another word of caution. Only then does Shen Yuqiu realize he is actually asking for her opinion. She looks away, avoiding your gaze.
Okay, yo.
Thanks. You clench your fists tightly. Your hands are shaking a little too, and there is barely concealed anger and pain in your eyes. You just clearly saw the marks on Shen Yuqiu's neck. Those purplish red welts underneath. You gather the clothes from the washing machine, not looking at her anymore. You just say,
I'll make lunch in a bit. Remember to call Wang Wang out to eat, okay?
Wan fell asleep. I'll go wake her up later.
Shen Yuqiu shrinks back again, looking completely flustered. You know that your presence here only puts pressure on her. You helplessly touch your nose, picking up the clothes from the washing machine. You quickly go to the balcony to hang them. Then you walk into the kitchen. Inside the bathroom, Shen Yuqiu, clutching the clothes, is still frozen in place. Not until smoke starts rising from the kitchen does she snap out of it. She trembles as she puts the clothes into the washing machine, but her gaze instinctively drifts toward the kitchen. She wonders to herself, what is he up to? Shen Yuqiu subconsciously touches her own nose, then freezes again. Since when did he pick up that habit? And so Shen Yuqiu just stands there, dumbfounded in front of the washing machine, listening to the hum of the washing machine drum. Her heart was a tangled mess, until the clothes were fully washed. She took out the clothes, walked to the balcony, and began hanging them up. Meanwhile, the man was busy bustling around in the kitchen. Wang Wang didn't wait for Shen Yuqiu to call her. She woke up on her own, her tiny hands still rubbing her big sleepy eyes. The next moment, when she saw you busy in the kitchen, a distinct sparkle lit up in her beautiful big eyes. Then she curiously leaned against the kitchen doorframe, staring at your back. Shen Yuqiu finished hanging the clothes, turned around and saw the scene. Little Wang Wang's face was full of anticipation. You were busy bustling in the kitchen. Shen Yuqiu's composure suddenly gave way. She spun around, pressing her back against the wall, covering her face with both hands. She slowly crouched down, tears silently streamed down. This was a scene that, a long time ago, she would only ever see in her dreams. This time you still didn't sit at the table to eat with them. After setting the dishes on the table, you hurried out the door. Hearing the sound of the door, Shen Yuqiu roughly wiped the tears from her face, stood up, picked up Wang Wang, and walked to the dining table. No one knew how tangled her emotions were. Even she herself didn't know what she was thinking. The food was still as delicious as breakfast. The little one was already happily eating her egg custard. But this quiet lunch for mother and daughter was soon broken by the sound of the door opening. They instinctively looked up and saw you carrying a large bag, pushing the door open and walking in. Wang Wang scooted closer to Shen Yuqiu, the little spoon she was using for the steamed egg still in her mouth. Her big eyes followed your movements. You kept your eyes lowered, not daring to look at the frightened mother and daughter. You just walked to the sofa and set the bag down. Then you spoke.
I bought you some ointment. Make sure you use it. And I got a toy for the kid. I don't know if she'll like it. I saw other little girls all have one.
She should have one too. After saying that, you paused for a moment, then continued.
I know you don't trust me, but there are some things I still need to say. I won't drink anymore from now on, and I won't hit you anymore either. You and Wang Wang don't have to be so scared at home anymore. The child is still young. This kind of atmosphere at home is bad for her.
You said it all in one go. You felt that the pent-up frustration in your heart had eased a lot. You didn't wait for Shen Yuqiu to respond either, and silently walked back to the side bedroom. Shen Yuqiu watched her figure disappear. Seeing the door shut tightly, she became even more unsure of what to say. In just one day, facing this man's sudden change, she still found it hard to let down her guard. You in the bedroom felt even worse at that moment. Your eyes were red clearly. You had cried outside too. If it were possible, you would rather not have transmigrated here. not knowing about everything that happened, especially when you saw the stars on Shen Yuchu's body. Your heart was so oppressed, it felt like it was about to break. You just couldn't understand why anyone could harbor such malice towards their own family. They left some food for you after eating, but when you walked out of the room, you saw the things you bought for them on the coffee table. That bag was still unopened. You pursed your lips and sighed, then could only sit down and eat with your head down. But just then, the door to the master bedroom opened again. Wang poked out her little head, staring at you curiously. You quickly grinned at her. This time, she wasn't scared away. You felt a slight relief in your heart. Your oppressed heart was healed a lot by this soft little thing. So you put down your chopsticks, and with all the tenderness you had, softly called out to Wang. Your voice startled her, making her body tremble slightly. But she didn't shrink back. Instead, she turned her head and looked inside the bedroom. Then, as if encouraged, she looked at you again. A childish, soft voice came from her mouth. Daddy. Hearing this voice, you trembled all over. Your eyes instantly became moist. This was simply the most beautiful sound you had heard since transmigrating. But Wang tilted her little head, looking strangely at you, who was both crying and laughing. You nodded firmly, then stood up, took out that doll from the bag. You held the doll and gently shook it at her. Wang's big eyes seemed to waver. She looked at the doll, then turned her head and looked at the bedroom. After a long hesitation, she finally shuffled over to you. Your heart instantly pounded like a drum, afraid of scaring off this little one who had finally come close to you. She walked up to you and tilted her face up. She took a deep sniff. The next second, a happy smile spread across her face.
Daddy doesn't smell bad anymore.
Is the doll pretty? Her little hands twitched, wanting to take it but too scared. She just stared at you with her big dark eyes. You immediately understood what she meant. So you slowly crouched down to her eye level and gently placed the toy into her hands. Wang finally took the toy. Her little fingers touched the doll's dress. Her eyes instantly curved into crescent moons. Seeing how delighted she was, your heart was a mix of emotions, especially when you saw up close how thin her little face was. And the clothes she was wearing washed so pale, clearly way too small for her. It felt like needles stabbing your heart. She was only 3 years old. You bit your lip hard and wiped away your tears in a flash, forcing a smile, quietly watching her play. At that moment, nothing else in the world mattered. Meanwhile, Shen Yucho in the master bedroom heard her daughter's silver bell laughter outside and was already sobbing uncontrollably. Not long after, Wang got sleepy from playing. She hugged the doll tightly, glanced at you, who was still grinning like an idiot, then turned and ran back to the bedroom. But what you didn't, Tino, was, in just one night, your song You Are the One for Life had absolutely blown up. At 10 p.m. that night, your video actually made it to number 5 on the hot search list. At the same time, the door to Li Xia's office, the operations director at Douyin headquarters, was knocked on. A tech guy holding a tablet rushed in, sweating profusely.
Director Yang, there's a special situation. A video only took 2 hours to break into the top 5 on the hot search.
What's the panic? Which big influencer got into trouble again?
Not a big influencer. It's a brand new account registered today, and the video wasn't pushed by any promotion.
The content is just a song. Hearing this, Li Xia's expression instantly changed. She immediately clicked on the hot search list, and the shock in her eyes only deepened. It actually shot out to number 4. Let me see what song this is. After the song ends, Li Xia is completely silent. This is the best song she's ever heard. She immediately clicks on your profile. Fan Biaobo, she sees your name, Bufa. Right after that, she orders Liu Yun.
Boost this video now. Make sure it hits number 1 trending by tomorrow.
Liu Yun nods firmly, knowing he made the right bet. After he leaves, Li Xia listens to your song again. Her fingers tap lightly on the desk. A moment later, she picks up her phone and sends you a private message. But you have no idea about any of this. You get up at 5. After washing up, you head out for morning exercise. This body is in worse shape than you thought. You're out of breath after running for just a bit. You run then stop. An hour later, you finally finish 5 kilometers. You get home at 7:30. The moment you push the door open, you bump right into Shen Yuchu, who just finished washing up. Water droplets cling to the hair strand on her forehead. She is startled when she sees you. You freeze for a second, then ask a bit awkwardly.
Is Wang still asleep? Moho, go keep an eye on Wang. I'll cook after I shower anything you want to eat.
No. Just make whatever. I'll go check on the kid.
With that, she escapes into the bedroom. You stare at the closed door and can only shrug helplessly. After showering, you're starving. The original body's alcohol cravings start kicking in too. You have to chug hot water like crazy while cooking to ease it. Right then, Wang wakes up. She's holding the doll you gave her in her arms, peeking at you from the kitchen doorway. When you turn around, you see this little one. You immediately crack a doubting smile and ask, what do you want for breakfast? Wang, daddy will make it for you. Wang tilts her little head and thinks for a long time.
Steamed egg.
Sure, steamed egg it is. You answer with affection, reached out to gently tousle her little head, but was afraid of scaring her. Quietly pulled it back. No rush. Take it slow. Wang is starting to accept you. That gave you hope. Your mood lifted. Even the cravings and hunger seemed to vanish. You set breakfast on the table, went back to your own bedroom as usual, letting the mother and daughter eat first. But this time, there was clearly more laughter coming from outside. You lay in bed, picked up your silenced phone to check how the video was doing. But the moment you unlocked it, you were totally shocked. Holy shit, how many notifications is that? You swallowed hard, tapped on the main page. Over 1 million followers on the screen, nearly blinded you. Heart racing. You clicked on the video. Over 2 million likes, nearly 1 million comments. The smile on your face just wouldn't stop. I looped it all night and couldn't stop. I'm obsessed. And the comments were all positive. Everyone urging you to release a new song. Then came the moment of truth for earnings. You opened the back end. The number in your wallet made your jaw drop. A full 320,000, without any ads. Earned 320,000 in one day, just from traffic. After tax too, you finally breathed a sigh of relief. You had money now. No more living paycheck to paycheck. You remember before this, your entire savings were just over 1,000. Even buying groceries felt like a stretch. You quickly transferred the earnings to your bank card. Once the two outside finished eating, you pushed the door open and went out. Polished off all the food left on the table. After doing the dishes, you grabbed your phone and rushed out the door. The old neighborhood you lived in. Bought cheap back in the day. You used to dream of getting a better place, but your original self blew through all the savings. Even sold Shen Yucho's phone for drinking money. You walked out of the neighborhood, headed straight for the mall you remembered, and spotted a domestic big brand phone store. A young female store clerk sees you. Her eyes light up as she approaches.
Handsome guy, looking to buy a phone.
You nod and glance around the counter. Let me see this one.
Good eye, handsome, sky blue. This is the latest model. It also supports satellite calls.
Do you sell phone SIM cards here?
Of course. Handsome guy, is it for yourself?
You shake your head. No, it is for my wife. The female clerk is taken aback for a moment, a hint of disappointment in her eyes, probably thinking to herself, good men are always taken, but she doesn't skip a beat.
Your wife is really lucky handsome, but to get a SIM card, she needs to come in person with her ID.
I didn't know you need real name registration for a SIM card. Then just wrap up the phone for me, please.
You pay and leave quickly. There is still a lot to buy. Can't waste any more time. Meanwhile, right after you left home, Shen Yuqiu cleans the house from top to bottom. She sits on the sofa looking out the window. The smell of alcohol is long gone from the home. The fresh air makes her feel unusually comfortable. Watching Wang playing happily, Shen Yuqiu can't help but smile. Life is really good like this. But the next moment, the door lock suddenly makes a turning sound, snapping her out of her thoughts instantly. Wang quickly gets up too. Clutching her doll, she burrows into Shen Yuqiu's arms. But unexpectedly, loud voices come from outside, mixed with a familiar voice of yours.
Easy. Don't scratch it. Tilt it up and move it inside. Shen Yuqiu panics a little.
She quickly picks up Wang to go back to the bedroom, but her curiosity gets the better of her, and she can't help looking toward the door. The next second, you and a strange man's figure appear in her view. You two are carrying a cream-colored cloud sofa inside. Your eyes clearly light up when you see Shen Yuqiu, a joyful expression on your face. Could you pour a few cups of hot water for the workers to take a break later? Shen Yuqiu, who hasn't interacted with outsiders for a long time, is a bit at a loss.
Okay, I'll go get it right away.
The smile on your face grows even wider, even though you're drenched in sweat. You're full of energy. Then you and the delivery guys carry the new sofa inside and move the old sofa out. Then the TV and refrigerator and the houseplants, as piece by piece of new furniture comes in. The home changes completely. In an instant, it is practically brand new. Those old furniture pieces that got replaced, you end up selling them all for 800 yuan. Shen Yuqiu watches and winces inside. Those pieces of furniture, though old, are still usable. 800 yuan is way too low. But what she is even more curious about now, where did you get so much money? According to her calculations, the household should be almost out of money by now. After seeing the workers off, you carry a big backpack into the living room. You look at your work with satisfaction. Now this feels like home, right? You wipe your sweat, set the bag on the new coffee table, and plop down onto the soft sofa. In the kitchen, the mother and daughter are still standing there. Dumbfounded Wang is holding onto her mom's leg, like a curious little baby, looking left and right. Seeing the little one like this, your eyes crinkle into happy slits. You suddenly feel a great sense of accomplishment. So you take out from the bag a big pink toy and put it on the coffee table. But your eyes stay fixed on Wang. Sure enough, Wang's gaze is immediately drawn to it. You reach out your hand and beckon to Wang, looking at her with pure adoration. Wang, come here quick. Look what daddy bought you. But Wang doesn't run over right away. Instead, she tilts her little face up and looks at her mother. Until Shen Yuqiu's lips move slightly, without saying a word. Only then does she walk over hesitantly. Step by step, you immediately tear open the toy's packaging. It is a princess dollhouse. The main room is such a mess. Wang, do you want to decorate the little princess's home with daddy? Wang's eyes instantly sparkle. She moves a little closer. Right up to your leg, you smile gently, pick up the little princess from the dollhouse, and let out a sigh in a sweet, coquettish voice. The little princess isn't dressed yet. Daddy doesn't know how to dress the little princess, so I'll leave it to Wang. You say this as you hold the little princess out to her. Wang blinks her big eyes, tentatively raises her little hand, until she touches the little princess in your hand. You keep a smile on your face the whole time. You place the little princess into her hands, and you cover her little hand with your big one. The moment your hand holds her soft little hand, the corners of your mouth lift. You pick up a pink dress to put on the little princess. I'll leave it to Wang. Wang, can you teach daddy? Wang feels the warmth of your palm. She looks at the little princess then, at you looking pitiful, and suddenly smiles. Daddy is so silly. Wang will teach daddy. The little Wang smiles so wide her white teeth show. She leans against your leg. Clumsily, she slips the dress onto the little princess. You start laughing too. You humbly accept the little one's instruction, learning how to dress the little princess. At this moment, this small room suddenly becomes incredibly bright, and Shen Yuqiu leans against the doorframe, quietly watching this beautiful scene. Her eyes gradually well up, but you and your daughter haven't been playing long. When you look up and see Shen Yuqiu standing there, in the dazed light blue shirt she is wearing faded from washing, now seems painfully glaring. Your eyes narrow sharply. A thought flashes through your mind. This is actually a matching parent-child outfit. It was for Wang's second birthday that Shen Yuqiu secretly bought behind your back, but because of this shirt, she got beaten. Her phone was sold too. Remembering this scene, you fall silent instantly. The next second, you stagger to your feet, covering your mouth. You rush into the bathroom and vomit violently. Only now do you realize how a person with a conscience, when looking back at such behavior from a first-person perspective, can feel such nauseating anger. This sudden turn of events terrifies the mother and daughter outside. Shen Yuqiu, startled, rushes quickly to the sofa and pulls Wang into her arms. Wang burrows tightly into her mother's arms, afraid that the daddy who just finished vomiting will be like before. Suddenly rushed out and started hitting and scolding them. After a while, you stumbled out of the bathroom, looking disheveled, eyes bloodshot. Looking at the frightened Shen Yuqiu and Wang, you felt even worse inside. Your stomach churned uncontrollably, but you still forced yourself to endure the discomfort. Weakly, you spoke.
I'm sorry. I scared you. I'm just a bit unwell.
Every time I think about occupying this demon's body, I feel like a million ants are crawling all over me. Seeing their still wary expressions,
You let out a heavy sigh, silently walked into the kitchen. Wang probably hasn't had enough fun yet. You play with her a little longer. I'll make lunch.
Shen Yuqiu stared intently at your profile. So familiar, yet so strange. Finally, she nodded. Holding Wang, she sat back down on the sofa. Wang secretly peeked out her little head. After finding that you were still the gentle daddy, a smile finally returned to her little face. Until lunch was ready, the aroma of the food drifted through the living room. But Shen Yuqiu saw that after you set the dishes on the table, you silently went back to the side bedroom. Her lips twitched, but she couldn't utter a single word. While eating, Wang had her little spoon in her mouth. Suddenly, she furrowed her little brow and asked,
Mommy, why isn't daddy eating with us anymore?
Shen Yuqiu was chewing a small piece of stir-fried meat. This was her favorite dish, because you can't eat spicy food. She hadn't had it in a long time. Hearing her daughter's question, she unconsciously glanced at the side bedroom, then turned back. Suddenly she smiled, smiling like a spring flower, blooming.
That is because mommy and daddy aren't ready yet.
The little one didn't understand. Her little brows furrowed even tighter. Meanwhile, you were staring blankly in the bedroom. You kept telling yourself it wasn't your fault, but it still didn't change the fact that he is you. Feeling helpless, you could only take out your phone and scroll through videos to distract yourself. Your video was still topping the trending list. Comments were all urging you to release new songs. Just then, the sound of washing dishes came from outside. You put down your phone and walked out. There was still food left for you. On the table, Shen Yuchu was washing dishes. In the kitchen, Wang Wang was playing with her new toy on the sofa. When she saw you come out, Wang Wang wasn't as scared as before. You smiled, you walked over and gently patted her little head. Then you looked toward the kitchen. Shen Yuchu had just come out of the kitchen and saw you staring at her. She tensed up instantly. Her hands helplessly twisted the hem of her shirt. Seeing her so meek and submissive, you couldn't help frowning, and inside you silently sighed. It was precisely because of her gentle, reserved nature that the original you had felt so emboldened to bully her. At that thought, your furrowed brow immediately relaxed. So, you took the newly bought phone from the coffee table and placed it on the desk. Looking at Shen Yuchu, you spoke softly. I bought you a phone. See if you like it. And also, I want to discuss something with you. Can you come sit over here? Shen Yuchu had been looking down, but upon hearing your words, she suddenly lifted her head to look at you. The first thing she met was your clean, clear eyes. Then she saw the brand new phone box on the table. Shen Yuchu paused for a moment after a beat. She softly hummed. She slowly walked over and sat down on the sofa. Yes, she said very quietly. You had to strain your ears to hear her, but you didn't answer. Instead, you picked up the phone box, opened it casually, and took out the new Celeste-colored phone. You did a quick setup and handed it directly to Shen Yuchu. This phone is for you. You'll need to get a SIM card yourself. I've already saved my number in it. From now on, if I'm not home, you can call me if anything comes up. As you spoke, you also pulled a stack of cash from your pocket and placed it in front of her. This is the cash I just took out. Take the kid out for a walk this afternoon. It is not good to always stay cooped up at home. Buy whatever you want, especially clothes. Look, both your clothes are way too small now. And get a bank card too. Carrying cash around isn't safe. You rambled on, pouring out all your thoughts in one breath. But Shen Yuchu only lifted her head, staring intently at you right in front of me. Listening to your murmurings, her eyes slowly reddened. You saw she still hadn't reached for the phone. Could only rub your nose helplessly. Don't you like this phone? I think the color is nice. It is the latest model. I just bought it. If you don't like it, you can go buy one you do like. But Shen Yuchu gave you another deep look. I really like it. Thank you. Her voice was still very soft, with a choked sob and a slight tremble. Just then, your eyes suddenly met. You awkwardly looked away, but breathed a sigh of relief inside. Glad you like it. You're welcome. Alright, I'm going to eat now. With that, you stood up immediately and walked quickly to the table, eating heartily. Actually, Shen Yuchu was still wondering how you had so much money, but she didn't ask. She just picked up the new phone and examined it closely. Wang Wang, beside her, also leaned in, curiously looking at the new thing in her mother's hand. Shen Yuchu took the chance to stroke the little one's head. The two of them, one big one, small, stared at the phone and studied it. After eating, you were drenched in sweat, wanted to take a shower, but the mother and daughter had been in the living room all day, making you too embarrassed to do it. In the end, you could only go back to the side room, a bit frustrated, until 5 in the afternoon. The heat outside finally subsided. Shen Yuchu on the sofa hesitated for a moment, then still picked up the money on the table and LED Wang Wang out the door. Wang Wang hadn't been outside in a very, very long time. She loved going out to play, but her mother had never taken her out before, and her father wouldn't let them go out. So this time, she was unusually happy. The little one held a doll in one hand and her mother's hand in the other, hopping and skipping all the way, her big round eyes looking around everywhere. Everything outside was full of novelty to her, but Shen Yuchu was a bit nervous. Her pace unconsciously quickened, watching the pedestrians coming and going. She felt a vague sense of inferiority, especially when it came to her and Wang Wang. These ill-fitting clothes they were wearing made her constantly feel that others would inevitably sneak an extra glance her way. The mall wasn't far. She vaguely remembered it was just 2 streets away. It had changed quite a bit from what she remembered. In just 2 years, it seemed to have been renovated even more elegantly. As soon as she walked in, she spotted a phone store. There was a counter for getting SIM cards. Shen Yuchu hesitated for a moment, then led the child inside. The store was quite busy. The staff all looked rushed. Shen Yuchu, who hadn't talked to anyone in a long time, stood there feeling a bit lost. Luckily, a female staff member noticed her. She came over on her own first. She patted Wang Wang on the head, then said with a smile, "What a good little one. Miss, are you here to buy a phone?" Hearing someone compliment Wang Wang, a smile spread across Shen Yuchu's face. "I'd like to get a SIM card. Is that possible right now?" While speaking, the staff member guided Shen Yuchu to the counter. "Yes, of course. Right this way. Please, we have several plans for you to choose from. But may I ask what brand your phone is? If it is from our store's brand, there is a discount for getting the SIM card." Hearing discount, Shen Yuchu's eyes lit up. She quickly pulled her phone out of her pocket and handed it to the female staff member. She asked softly, "Will this work? I think it is your brand, and I just bought it this morning." The female staff member was taken aback. She took another closer look at Shen Yuchu. Not many of today's newest model had been sold, and now someone was coming in for a SIM card. The staff member naturally thought of the handsome man from this morning. So his mother and daughter are that handsome guy's wife and child. But why are they both so thin? And their clothes clearly don't fit. That guy didn't seem like someone who'd treat his family badly. The staff member was puzzled, but she didn't ask, still wearing a smile. She exclaimed, "So the handsome man who came to buy a phone this morning is your husband. You are so lucky. This is the latest model from your store. With this phone, you can sign up for this plan. Deposit 100 and get 100 free, plus 600 free minutes of talk time." She was still as warm and welcoming as ever, but this time, her customer was no longer you. It was Shen Yuchu. Shen Yuchu was so flustered, she could barely think straight. She paid and successfully got the SIM card. Even after she walked out of the phone store, the saleswoman's enthusiastic voice was still ringing in her head. Still, she actually called him a good man. Shen Yuchu really wanted to tell her, "A good man like that, why don't you take him home?" After buying the SIM card, Shen Yuchu went to open a bank account. She deposited all the cash she had on hand. After deducting the cost of the SIM card, there was still 4,900 left. This time you gave her a full 5,000. Holding her phone and bank card, she walked out of the bank. Shen Yuchu looked up at the towering buildings around her. Suddenly she felt alive. Now she could live with her child. With the money in her hand, she could find a job to support herself and her child. She could even go after her dreams again. This sudden freedom left Shen Yuchu standing there, stunned for a long time, until a young child's voice rang in her ear. "Mommy, can Wang Wang have an ice cream?" She snapped back to reality. Little Wang Wang was still holding her hand, her round eyes fixed intently on the ice cream shop not far away. Drool was practically dripping from the corner of her mouth. Shen Yuchu smiled. A smile so bright and radiant Okay, but only one or your tummy will hurt. Okay, Wang loves mommy the most. The mother and daughter finally stepped out. You took a nice relaxing shower, completely unaware that Shen Yuqiu out there might never come back. After your shower, you started preparing dinner, the usual 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetable dishes, plus a staple. Tonight you decided to make some noodle soup, but since you didn't know when they'd be back, you didn't make it just yet. You put the dishes on the table, cut the noodles and laid them on the cutting board, then went back to the living room and flopped onto the sofa. You picked up your phone and started browsing parenting tips. What to do if your kid won't eat. Give them a spanking, problem solved. No, that won't do. Delete. Wang is such a good girl. How could she possibly not eat? Besides, such an adorable little one. You wouldn't dare to lay a finger on her. Until you've been scrolling so long. You are getting drowsy. You yawn. Glance at the time in the top right corner. It is already 7 p.m. Why aren't that mother and daughter back yet? You suddenly sit up straight. Could something have happened to them? You feel a bit anxious. Quickly stand up, put on your shoes, ready to go out looking for them. But just as you open the door, you happen to bump into them, returning from outside. A fragrant breeze wafts in through the doorway. You're completely stunned. At this moment, Shen Yuqiu, humming an unfamiliar tune under her breath. Her steps light. The upward curve at the corners of her mouth shows. She is in a great mood right now. She is holding several shopping bags in her hands. Wang is holding onto the hem of her clothes with one hand, and in the other hand, she still holds the doll you gave her. The reason you're most stunned is that the two of them have already changed into new, well-fitting clothes. When they're too lively, adorable almond eyes see you, they clearly freeze for a moment too. The next moment, Wang sweetly leans in, calling out daddy. Clearly having gone out to play today and put on new clothes has made Wang extremely happy. That daddy nearly made your soul fly away. You answer, your voice trembling, then crouched, ruffle Wang's hair, scoop out the adorable little one in one go, and walk into the house first. Daddy will make you noodles today. Okay, the kind with 2 eggs. Okay, Wang likes eggs. Wang loves daddy the most. Shen Yuqiu outside the door is left speechless in the wind. The little one just said she loved mommy the most. But in a blink she has switched sides. Wang doesn't wait long. The noodles with eggs are ready quickly. You bring the noodles to her, tap her little nose, then habitually turn around and head toward the bedroom. You've just turned around, but unexpectedly, the little one suddenly grabs the hem of your shirt. Daddy, can you eat with Wang? The soft, sweet voice sounded again. You turn your head and meet Wang's expectant gaze. You hesitated a bit. You stole a glance at Shen Yuqiu sitting next to you. Shen Yuqiu didn't say a word, nor did she look at you. It was as if she hadn't heard Wang's words at all. She just kept eating her noodles. You were speechless. This situation was really awkward. If you're going to kill me, just get it over with. What is with the silent treatment? You could only tentatively probe. I'll stay and have dinner with Wang then. Daddy sits next to Wang. It was Wang who answered you. She happily patted the chair on the other side. You rubbed your nose with an awkward look. You brought another bowl of noodles from the kitchen and sat down next to Wang. Mom sat on the left, Dad sat on the right. For the first time, Wang in the middle was flanked by both parents. The smile never left her face. She even ate with extra gusto. She finished an entire large bowl of noodles clean. In the end, it was Shen Yuqiu who worried the little one would overeat and wouldn't let her eat anymore. Only then did the little girl stop. But after dinner, Wang's wish for both parents to play together with her in her princess castle fell through. In the end, only you stayed to play with Wang. After dinner, Shen Yuqiu returned alone to the master bedroom. You could understand that, just letting you sit at the table to eat together must have taken a huge psychological struggle for Shen Yuqiu. You put yourself in Shen Yuqiu's shoes, thinking about it. If it were you, after suffering that kind of treatment before, being asked to get along with your enemy, you definitely wouldn't be able to. No, if it were you, the original you would probably be dead by now, not even a body to be found, chopped up and fed to dogs. That kind of thing. You kept playing with Wang until 9 p.m. Wang was so tired that she kept nodding off, but she still didn't want to go to bed. During this time, you also noticed a very serious problem. Wang was already 3 years old, but the little girl still couldn't take off her shoes by herself. You knew that a normal 3-year-old would already be old enough for kindergarten. You also knew that this was due to the dysfunctional family environment before. It couldn't be fixed overnight, but you still felt deeply distressed. That was when Shen Yuqiu came out of the bedroom. She didn't say anything. She just silently watched you and Wang on the sofa. The message in his eyes was crystal clear. You understood immediately. He lifted Wang off the couch. After giving her a little kiss on the cheek, he said with a smile in his eyes, Wang, time for bed. Daddy will play with you tomorrow. Wang's eyes, which were almost closed, fluttered open slightly. She looked at your face, then turned her head to look at Shen Yuqiu, and suddenly buried her little head in the crook of Daddy's neck. Wang wants to sleep with Daddy tonight. The unexpected words caught you a little off guard, and also made Shen Yuqiu's face darken slightly. Nothing worse than the sudden silence in the room. You looked at Shen Yuqiu with an innocent expression. This was the little one's own idea. You really didn't put her up to it. Shen Yuqiu clenched her fists secretly. This little ungrateful brat, she had taken care of her for so long, and in just 2 days, she'd been corrupted by the enemy sugar-coated bullets. In the end, the little one got her way. Shen Yuqiu gave her a simple wash. The little girl happily snuggled into Daddy's bed. Wang clung to your neck like a koala, refusing to let go. You just let her hold on like that. This was the first time you were putting a child to bed. You remembered the parenting tips you'd seen online, so you gently told Wang a bedtime story. Soon, Wang felt completely content and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, Wang was still fast asleep. You still got up early, quietly pushed open the bedroom door, went to the living room, ready to go for a morning run. The next moment, you couldn't believe your eyes. You rubbed them. The ointment on the coffee table was gone. Your eyes gradually lit up. A knowing smile spread across your face. You left the house in a good mood. Running, showering, and cooking breakfast took you a little over 2 hours in total. After finishing breakfast, there was still one task for today. Waking up your daughter. Wang was awakened by your gentle voice. She rubbed her sleepy eyes. The moment she saw you, a cute, adorably silly smile gradually bloomed across her face. The little one stretched out her 2 soft little arms in a gesture that said, Daddy, pick me up. You immediately reached out and gently lifted her, dressed her in the new clothes you'd bought yesterday. Only then did I carry him out to wash up. You had learned how to take care of a child from videos, but theory is just theory. Now that you're putting it into practice, you realize how difficult it really is. The little one's body is so delicate, you're afraid to use too much force. So the whole process feels clumsy, especially when tying the little one's hair. You feel inadequate after fasting for a long time. In the end, you can only manage a crooked mess. Baba is a big dummy. Wang sees her crooked hair in the mirror. pouts and teases you. You pinch her little nose, making Wang Wang giggle uncontrollably. She also reaches out her tiny hand to pinch your nose. Shen Yuchu comes out of the bedroom and sees this warm scene between father and daughter. She doesn't say anything, but silently walks into the kitchen to bring out breakfast. Maybe she herself doesn't even realize that the corner of her mouth has already curled up slightly without her noticing. After the family of 3 has a simple breakfast, you don't give Wang Wang back to Shen Yuchu. Instead, you continue to bring Wang Wang to the sofa and play with the princess dollhouse. But this time, while playing with Wang Wang, you casually instill into her little man song very simple numbers, the numbers from 1 to 10. After discovering Wang Wang's problem, you secretly made a plan. In the midst of daily play, a plan to cultivate the little one's self-learning. Starting with simple numbers, to some everyday knowledge, you will gradually teach Wang Wang. Obviously, this won't succeed overnight. But fortunately, Wang Wang is very smart before. No one had taught her these things. Now under your casual guidance, she quickly remembers some of the knowledge. And you notice that since Shen Yuchu came back yesterday, she seems to have suddenly changed. There is obviously a glow she didn't have before. This is a good sign, which makes you feel much better. Shen Yuchu, while downloading apps for the platform, observes the interaction between father and daughter. At this moment, she also notices that you are subtly teaching Wang Wang. She watches silently, a trace of sweetness rising in her heart. She had long wanted to teach the child, but with the previous family environment, their life was already so difficult. How could she have the ability to teach Wang Wang like a normal mother? Shen Yuchu pulled her gaze away and looked at her phone screen. This new phone really lives up to its reputation. The apps downloaded super fast. In just a few seconds, all the apps were finished downloading. The moment Shen Yuchu logged into her WeChat, unread messages popped up. They were from Chuchu, the assistant who had worked with her for 2 years. Her WeChat only had a handful of people. Besides you, there were also messages from Chuchu at her old company. From the time she got married up until a couple days ago, she kept sending messages non-stop, mostly asking how she was doing, but she just hadn't been able to reply. Seeing that long string of messages, Shen Yuchu felt a little warmth in her heart. She immediately replied, "Sorry Chuchu, I haven't been able to get back to you. I'm doing fine now. Don't worry about me." Within 2 seconds of sending, a reply came back instantly. "Sister Shen, you're finally alive. I was starting to think after you got married, you just didn't want to talk to me anymore. Sister Shen, you have no idea. Ever since you disappeared, rumors have been flying all over the company, especially that annoying Luli. She has been insufferably arrogant these past 2 years. She talks bad about you to everyone, says you got what you deserved. It really pisses me off." Seeing Chuchu's messages, Shen Yuchu pouted slightly. Luli wasn't wrong. She really did get what she deserved. Back at the company, she had always been one step ahead of Luli. It made sense that Luli would act this way after she left. "Chuchu, how have you been lately? Is life treating you okay?" Shen Yuchu didn't respond to Chuchu's rant. Instead, she asked about her well-being. "I'm fine, Sister Shen. Don't worry. I'm like a cockroach. You can't kill me, but I miss you. Sister Shen, are you ever coming back?" Shen Yuchu paused. A flicker of longing showed in her eyes. Would she ever come back? She turned her head to look at you, then at Wang Wang. After a moment, the longing in her eyes slowly faded. "Probably not. But if you miss me, Chuchu, we can arrange to meet up sometime." At that moment in the Tianmei Entertainment Building, in downtown Jiang City, a young girl about 5'3" set down a heavy load on her shoulders and excitedly tapped away on her phone with both hands. But soon, a sharp female voice snapped her out of her joy. "Zhao Chuchu, are you slacking off? Get back to work. You think you're still the assistant to that rising star. If you don't want the job, get the hell out now." The owner of that voice was a woman with a sly, fox-like face, her chin lifted high, her narrow willow leaf eyes full of contempt. "What are you staring at? Take the equipment to the recording studio now. If you delay my recording, can you afford that?" Zhao Chu shot the woman a dirty look, but still picked out the gear from the floor and headed for the recording studio. "Okay, Sister Shen, I have this Saturday off. Hit me up when you're free." Shen Yucho stared at that message, and finally a smile spread across her face. She scrolled further, but seeing no other messages, switched over to Weibo. Her last post on Weibo was from 2 years ago, a statement announcing her retirement. Her original follower count of several 100,000 had now dwindled to a few thousand, excluding the bot accounts. With just one video, she gained over 1 million followers overnight. With just one video, she gained over 1 million followers overnight. She idly scrolled through Weibo's trending topics, all recent gossip, but surprisingly, a few posts were talking about the song that had recently blown up. With just one video, Bufan gained over 1 million followers overnight. Who is he? In-depth analysis, a rundown of a recent hidden gem of a song. Shen Yuchu was curious what this recently viral song sounded like, so she clicked on the title. The phone screen automatically jumped to a video interface. A familiar guitar melody began to play. The living room suddenly fell silent, with only the song echoing in everyone's ears. You awkwardly turned your head away. Wang Wang's big eyes sparkled, and she threw herself into Shen Yucho's arms. Staring at the phone screen, Shen Yucho was completely stunned. That familiar voice isn't that the song that came from your room a couple of days ago. So he was recording a video that day. It was Wang Wang who spoke up first. She reached out her little finger and pointed at the phone screen. Then she looked up at Shen Yucho. "It is Daddy. Daddy's in the phone." Shen Yucho patted the little one's head and replied. Now she understood why you had so much money to buy new furniture for the house. The likes are already in the millions. No wonder you had money. She turned her head and looked at you. That sharply defined side profile. Her eyes were complex and unreadable. Having gotten her mother's answer, Wang Wang happily threw herself back into your arms, her 2 little hands cupped Daddy's face, her big eyes sparkling. In a sweet babyish voice, she said, "Daddy is so gentle." Wang Wang wants to sing too. She pressed her 2 soft little hands against her own face. Your gaze gradually softened. You also cupped your daughter's little face with your big hands. "Do you like it?" Wang Wang's big eyes curved into crescents. She answered you without hesitation, her smile even brighter. "Okay, then Daddy will teach Wang Wang to sing. When Wang Wang learns it, she can sing it inside the phone." "Okay." Wang Wang nodded her little head over and over. Then happily, she leaned toward your cheek and gave you a big kiss. Having received this reward, you beamed with joy. Under the little one's worshipful gaze, you quickly ran back to the side bedroom and brought out a guitar. Back on the couch, you held the guitar and tuned the strings. You turned your head and saw Shen Yuchu and Wang Wang, both staring at you without blinking. Your face rarely flushed a little. Then strumming the strings, you said, "Today Daddy is going to create a nursery rhyme just for Wang Wang Daddy. We'll sing it once for Wang Wang to hear. Next time Daddy will sing 1 line, and Wang Wang will follow and sing 1 line." "Okay." Wang Wang nodded happily, her little face full of anticipation. "This song is called Courage Burst Out." Wang Wang listened closely. With that you gently swept the strings. and the light, cheerful melody filled the living room. Wang Wang's sense of rhythm was surprisingly good. She swayed her head and gently rocked her body to the melody. You couldn't help but sway your body along with the little one. Watching this father-daughter pair moving in sync, Shen Yuchu's eyes gradually softened. A smile quietly appeared on her face. She even joined in your rhythm. For the first time as a family, they were all immersed in a sea of joy. At this moment, even the living room seemed brighter following the song. Wang Wang made a small fist and made a Superman punch gesture. At that moment, you also put down the guitar in your hands and followed the little one's gesture. Then you reached out a finger and gently tapped Wang Wang's upturned nose. Wang Wang lunged into your arms. Her little short arms tightly wrapped around your neck. Daddy, please don't go back to the way you were before. Okay. Wang Wang's soft, sweet voice sounded in your ear. Your mouth slightly opened. Suddenly your eyes became misty. You held Wang Wang tightly in your arms and buried your face deep in Wang Wang's clothes. Daddy will never be like that again. His voice was hoarse yet firm. Shen Yuchu couldn't see your expression. At that moment, she was already in tears, but there was a smile on her face. Never again. Still, you were the first to compose yourself. You put the guitar beside you and set Wang Wang on your lap. Wang Wang, now let's learn a song. You follow Daddy and sing a line. Okay. Wang Wang agreed very quickly. The rest of the time turned into a father-daughter teaching session. The entire morning, the living room echoed with their singing. Seeing the two of them immersed in learning the song, Shen Yuchu quietly started making lunch, but her cooking was clearly not as good as yours, which caused during the meal. Wang Wang kept saying that from now on she only wanted to eat Daddy's cooking. This made Shen Yuchu cast a jealous glance at the little one, and even more indignant in her heart. You little ungrateful one. In just 2 days, you've been won over. This kind of family atmosphere made you feel very at ease. It felt like what a real family should be like. Wang Wang learned very quickly. It only took her 3 days to sing the song Courage Explodes completely. Under Wang Wang's strong insistence, you also took a video of Wang Wang and posted it on the platform. In the video, Wang Wang was wearing a pink princess dress and a bow on her head. Her small body swayed to the music. So adorable. While filming, your face was all smiles, beaming like a flower. His face practically screams, "That is my daughter." Your proud, smug expression. Shen Yuchu, watching from the sidelines, she happened to catch your expression and nearly let herself breathless. It was the first time she'd ever seen you make a face like that. Over these 3 days, thanks to your good behavior, Shen Yuchu's relationship with you has eased quite a bit. At least now she'll initiate a word or two with you. Nobody expected the second video on the Bu fan account to be a nursery rhyme. The song was still original and still just as pleasant to listen to. Platform headquarters. Liu Yun spotted this video the moment it went up. After watching the whole thing, he didn't hesitate to give it maximum promotion. Such an adorable little chubby baby and such a catchy song. Liu Yun had a huge proud auntie grin on his face. His mouth stretched from ear to ear. Right after, the platform's trending list exploded again. The drama from You Are My Everything hadn't fully died down yet. Chen Kaijing, Hui Xia, and the storm from Courage Burst had already kicked off. This time, the video's popularity spread even faster. In just one afternoon, the likes hit 5 million, and the number of comments was absurdly high, which meant that come evening, you had to put your phone on silent again. You sat on the couch holding Wang Wang and scrolled through the comments obsessively. Every commenter was a character. You couldn't stop scrolling. If I had a daughter like this, I wouldn't let any punk with yellow hair come within 100 miles of her. That was the most liked comment. The next day, Saturday, you just finished your morning run, wiping your sweat. You pushed open the front door and saw Shen Yuchu wearing her new spaghetti strap nightgown. Coming out of the bathroom, she'd clearly just taken a shower. She was blow drying her hair. Her pretty face slightly flushed from the steam. The two of you stared at each other wide-eyed. A line of poetry suddenly popped into your mind. Natural without any ornamentation. A lotus rising out of clear water. It perfectly described Shen Yuchu at that moment. Seeing you gawking at her like an idiot, she instinctively covered her chest, her face gradually turning red, even her earlobes starting to blush. Even though you've been married for over 2 years now, this feeling right now, it is like we're a couple just starting out. Morning. Shen Yuchu tried her best to stay calm. She greeted you. Her pace toward the bedroom quickened involuntarily. You replied with a simple morning. Shen Yuchu didn't say another word. She practically fled back into the bedroom. You smiled helplessly, shaking those random thoughts out of your head. You walked into the bathroom, humming a tune, take a shower, cook breakfast, wake Wang Wang up. The daily 3-step routine. When you pushed open the bedroom door, Wang Wang was still fast asleep. Her little mouth was slightly open. She lay sprawled out on your big bed. After a few days of normal eating and sleeping, Wang Wang's complexion had gotten much healthier. She was still skinny, sure, but you could see a clear improvement in her energy. You sat by the bed and watched her for a moment. Then you leaned down and gently pinched her little nose. Wang Wang, time to get up and eat. The little one lying in bed pouted. She slowly opened her eyes. Where she saw you, the corners of her mouth couldn't help lifting. Then she slowly reached out her little arms and wrapped them around your neck. Daddy. Her voice was all soft and whiny. You smiled. You reached out and picked her up, walked out of the bedroom, set her down on the stool in front of the sink. The little one had been brushing her own face and teeth for 2 days now. You stood beside her, steadying her, squeezing toothpaste for her, handing her a towel, that sort of thing. Wang Wang was very smart. You only taught her for 2 days, and she already picked up the skill. Just then, Shen Yuchu also stepped out of the bedroom. Her long hair was tied up high behind her head, in a little bun. Seeing Shen Yuchu like this, it made your eyes light up. You nodded to yourself silently. Now this is the energy a 20-something should have. Still too thin though. If she had a bit more roundness, she'd definitely look even better. Shen Yuchu was still a little nervous inside. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. This was the first time she'd dressed like this at home. She wasn't sure if it looked good. She glanced up at you, who was still taking care of Wang Wang. Without making a sound, she walked to the table and sat down. Did his eyes just light up a little? That must mean it looks good. Wait, why do I even care what he thinks? Shen Yuchu puffed out her cheeks in anger. She absent-mindedly stirred her chopsticks in the bowl. A couple of times, she was angry at herself for being so spineless. You also sat down at this moment, holding Wang Wang who had just been bathed. Wang Wang sweetly called out, "Mommy." Then she picked up her own special little spoon. She scooped up the golden millet porridge in front of her. "Can you go out with us today?" You, who were bowed down enjoying the delicious food, suddenly heard Shen Yuchu's words. You looked up at Shen Yuchu with a confused expression. Shen Yuchu nodded without looking at you, but her earlobes were already flushed crimson. Sure, you agreed very readily. On the way you hailed a taxi. You were heading to Ida Plaza in the city center today. Shen Yuchu and her former assistant, Zhao Chuchu, had arranged to meet at a milk tea shop there. The reason she brought you and Wang Wang along was entirely because Zhao Chuchu wanted to see the little one, and the little one had become your shadow these past 2 days, sticking to you like glue. so you were purely riding on the little one's coattails. After 2 years, she could finally see Sister Shen again. Zhao Chuchu was very excited. She had bought several cups of milk tea in advance, and sat in her seat staring at the milk tea shop entrance. Zhao Chuchu had worked with Shen Yuchu for a year and a half. The two were like sisters. Shen Yuchu was really good to her. It is just a pity that afterwards Shen Yuchu got together with you. She didn't understand why Sister Shen had to be with that good-for-nothing man. She couldn't figure it out, and had even tried to persuade Shen Yuchu back then, but it was as if she had made up her mind completely, and simply wouldn't listen to any advice. Zhou was lost in her thoughts when she suddenly saw that familiar figure, holding the hand of a bouncing little toddler, walking in through the shop entrance. Her eyes lit up, and she suddenly stood up, waving her hand. Sister Shen over here. Shen Yuchu heard her voice, looked up and immediately saw Zhou Chuchu's waving hand. A smile involuntarily spread across her face. Chuchu really hadn't changed, still so lively and cheerful. As they came close, both of them had eyes filled not only with joy, but also with tears. Two sisters reunited after a long separation. They could barely contain their emotions. Zhao Chuchu studied Shen Yuchu closely. Her eyes grew even redder. She grabbed Shen Yuchu's hand. Her lips pouted. Sister Shen, you've lost so much weight. Is that man treating you badly? Where is he? I'll teach him a lesson for you. Shen Yuchu pressed her lips together. She sat down with Zhao Chuchu. Then she sat Wang down beside her. Only then did she speak. Chuchu, don't worry. He treats me well now. How's work going for you? I'm doing fine too, Sister Shen. You have no idea how much I've missed you. The two of them asked each other about recent events. After chatting for a while, Zhao Chuchu finally turned her attention to the little one. The little girl had been sitting quietly nearby the whole time. Zhao Chuchu had been so focused on catching up with Shen Yuchu that she hadn't really looked at her. But now taking a closer look, her eyes lit up immediately. She looks just like Sister Shen. It's like they were cut from the same mold, especially those lively, big eyes. You can't help but fall for this little one at first sight. Sister Shen, is this Wang? She looks so much like you, so adorable. As Zhao Chu spoke, she got up from her seat, crouched down in front of the little girl, reached out and touched her cheek. Then her brow furrowed slightly. The little girl was just like Sister Shen. So thin Zhao Chuchu was now seething inside. She was sure that good-for-nothing man must have treated Sister Shen and the child badly. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. Right then, she wished she could confront him face to face. So she looked up at Shen Yuchu. Sister Shen, didn't you say he'd be here too? Where is he? Shen Yuchu could feel Zhao Chuchu's hostility toward you. She just didn't know how to explain. All she could do was give an awkward smile. Wang wanted ice cream, so he went to buy some for the kid. Zhao Chuchu naturally caught the look on Shen Yuchu's face. It only made her angrier. Her sister Shen had always been gentle and reserved, but now beneath that gentleness and reserve, there was a hint of timidity. She could feel it. Afraid of scaring the kids, Zhao Chuchu could only snort coldly and return to her seat. But secretly, she was gnashing her teeth, wanting to kill you. Zhao Chuchu was about to speak, but suddenly stopped short. Her gaze also gradually sharpened. She looked toward the entrance of the milk tea shop. Shen Yuchu was startled. The look on her face grew even more awkward. She thought it was you who had arrived, causing Chuchu's hostility. Just as she was about to turn around to look, a slightly sharp and thin voice rang out from behind her. Zhao Chuchu, you have time to drink milk tea. Have you finished the work I gave you? Lily, can you cut it out? Today is a day off. Zhao Chuchu's expression turned ugly. She was like a small cat with its fur standing on end, staring intently at the person speaking. Shen Yuchu turned around, and only then saw clearly that the newcomer was Lily, a popular rising star who used to be in the same company as her, who also walked the path of a powerhouse vocalist. Isn't this Sister Shen? Sister Shen, aren't you supposed to be at home, obediently being a good wife and mother? What are you doing out here looking for Chuchu? Lily's eyes carried a smile, but the words coming out of her mouth were full of sarcasm. Before Shen Yuchu could say anything, Zhao Chuchu beside her got angry first. Lily, mind your own business. It is not a work day now, so stop with your snide remarks. Sister Shen, let's go. There's a mad dog barking here. It'll ruin our mood. After Zhao Chuchu said that, she picked up Wang, grabbed Shen Yuchu's hand, and was about to leave. But unexpectedly, Lily took a step and blocked their way. She looked at Shen Yuchu, her eyebrows slightly twitching. Then she smiled again. Hey, Sister Shen, why have you gotten so skinny? Having a hard time? If you're struggling, just tell your little sister here. I can still spare some charity. Who says I'm not kind-hearted? Look, Chuchu is now doing grunt work under me. Life's not bad, right? Am I wrong, Chuchu? Looking at Lily without a word, Shen Yuchu suddenly turned her head and looked at Zhao Chuchu, her eyes full of disbelief. You see, doing grunt work means just selling your labor. How could the company make Chuchu do this? But this is clearly not the time to ask questions. Shen Yuchu turned her head. Her gaze toward Lily was now laced with anger. Just as she was about to speak, Zhao Chuchu spoke up first. My contract with the company expires at the end of this month. I'll quit then anyway. I just hope someone doesn't climb higher only to fall harder. If Sister Shen makes a comeback, someone might even wake up from nightmares. Lily was stunned for a moment. She did have some lingering fear of Shen Yuchu. After all, Shen Yuchu had completely overshadowed her for a full year and a half back when she was around. Who even knew who I was? But Lily quickly broke into a smile. She looked at Shen Yuchu with contempt. A comeback? That is the funniest joke I've ever heard. What company would dare sign a wash-up artist with a kid? Speaking of kids, Shen Yuchu, your kid is pretty cute, huh? You might want to consider raising him into the next big little star. Liu said all this with a face full of disdain, and even got so carried away that she tried to pinch Wang's little cheek. Get your dirty hands off. I dare you to touch her. I'll make you cry so hard, you'll have nowhere to go. With a fierce look in your eyes, you walked quickly over to Shen Yuchu, handed the ice cream to the three of them, and then facing Luli, you shielded Shen Yuchu and Wang behind you. Luli was startled. She couldn't help stepping back 2 paces. Looks like your angry presence is pretty intimidating. But she quickly composed herself, and when she got a good look at you, she suddenly laughed. Ah, it is this pretty boy. Useless waste. I was wondering who it was. Turns out it is you. You think you can hit someone in public. You frowned. You turned back to look at Shen Yuchu, a questioning look in your eyes, clearly asking her where this shrew came from. She is a singer from my old company. I didn't expect to run into her here either. Your angry expression. But Shen Yuchu actually looked a little scared. Seeing you look at her, she lowered her head slightly. Seeing Shen Yuchu like this, you furrowed your brow even more and sighed to yourself. Without asking Shen Yuchu anything else, you turned your head and stared down at Lily Singer. Sorry, I've never heard of you, and I don't know you either. All I know is that a good dog doesn't block the way. Please step aside. You said it very seriously. Upon hearing that, Lily's voice grew even shriller. You need to know your place in life. Do you think I don't know? You've been sucking up to Yitian and Chen Shuai from the Flower Boy Band every day, buying them drinks all the time, and now you're acting all high and mighty with me. You thought about those 2 names for a moment, Finally, you remembered who they were. They were members of the boy band you used to be. After leaving the group, the original owner wanted to make a comeback. So yeah, he often bought them drinks and tried to curry favor, but they didn't even give him the time of day. I'm not familiar with those two you mentioned either. If you keep bothering me, don't blame me for calling security. Lily shot you a nasty glare, but she still stepped aside obediently. You grabbed Shen Yuchu's hand behind you and gestured for Zhao Chuchu to follow. You walked straight toward the exit, but just as you brushed past Lily, she suddenly spoke up to Shen Yuchu. Chu, what a shame. Some people can't sing anymore. Shen Yuchu, my new song drops at the end of this month. After saying that, Lily actually started laughing gleefully. How can Shen Yuchu compare to me? Lily's nasty voice echoed in everyone's ears. Zhao Chuchu wanted nothing more than to rush over and slap her right then. She knew full well that Sister Shen loved singing. Now she can't sing at all. Saying something like that was just twisting the knife. Your steps paused for a moment. You took a long hard look at Lily. Then with a blank expression, you continued walking out. Shen Yuchu didn't say a word. She just pressed her lips together lightly. But just then, a childish voice suddenly rang out, clear and firm. Mommy sings better than you. You're a mean auntie. Everyone was stunned and no one expected that the little one would speak up for her mom at that moment. You were stunned for just a second. Then with a smile, you toddled the little one's head. You thought to yourself, impressive. She really is my daughter. At first, you were still a bit annoyed. But the moment Wang Wang spoke, your anger instantly vanished into thin air. Ignoring Lily's reaction, your group left that trouble spot. You all arrived at a restaurant. Shen Yuchu and Zhao Chu chatted. Earlier they had been walking on the road, and there were things she was worried about, but didn't ask now that they finally sat down. With no outsiders around, she took Zhao Chuchu's hand, and finally asked a question she'd been wanting to ask. Chuchu, why were you doing odd jobs for Lulu? And Sister Yun, what is she doing now? Sister Yun was Shen Yuchu's former agent. She is almost 40, but she was always good. Hearing Shen Yuchu's question, Zhao Chu couldn't hide her dejection. After you left, Sister Yun was fired not long after. She searched for a job for a long time, but couldn't find one. Later, her mother got sick and was hospitalized, so she had to stay at the hospital. To take care of her, she only found a job as a maid. Shen Yuchu hadn't expected that Sister Yun had fallen to such a state. She felt a bit dazed, vaguely recalling the way Sister Yun used to work. Efficient and decisive. Both of them fell silent. Shen Yuchu pursed her lips. She knew it was all her fault. If it weren't for her own willfulness, Sister Yun wouldn't have ended up like this. She had defied the company's orders so many times for her. When she herself had a promising future, the company naturally wouldn't say anything, but she just left without a second thought. So one could imagine what Sister Yun must have gone through. The atmosphere was a bit heavy. After they ate a quick meal, Zhao Chuchu talked with Shen Yuchu for a while longer, then hurriedly left. Shen Yuchu's spirits remained low. Originally, your family of 3 had planned to take Wang Wang to the amusement park that afternoon, but now she didn't even have the heart for fun. You could naturally sense her mood. You wanted to say something, but in the end, you held back. Actually, you didn't understand either. Why? Back then, Shen Yuchu was like she had been bewitched. She insisted on marrying you. The original host didn't know, and you certainly didn't either. Shen Yuchu wanted to go home. She needed some time alone, but when she saw the hopeful look in Wang Wang's eyes, her heart softened. To avoid disappointing Wang Wang, the 3 of you ended up going to the amusement park anyway. The little one was overjoyed. It was her first time at an amusement park. She grabbed your hand and wanted to rush straight in. Shen Yuchu forced herself to perk up as well. She didn't want the memory of Wang Wang's first trip to the amusement park to be a sad one for her. The family started with a carousel. Then they tried a few more rides. Before they knew it, the sky had darkened. The park lit up with colorful lights. The last attraction was the Ferris wheel. By the time you carried Wang Wang and stepped into the cabin with Shen Yuchu, Wang Wang was already fast asleep in your arms. The Ferris wheel slowly rose. The colorful buildings on the ground gradually shrank. But what you didn't know was that this was also Shen Yuchu's first time at an amusement park and her first time on a Ferris wheel. Her almond-shaped eyes gazed curiously outside the cabin. They sparkled. She looked out the window. You looked at her. Perhaps sensing your gaze, the tips of her ears slowly turned red. She shot you a playful, reproachful glance. You had never seen that look before. It caught you off guard. The lights on the Ferris wheel illuminated her slim face. Suddenly, you felt a little dazzled. The Ferris wheel continued its slow ascent. Then from all corners of the castle, almost in an instant, fireworks shot into the sky simultaneously. At the moment the fireworks bloomed, you clearly saw a breathtaking smile spread across Shen Yuchu's face. It was a smile from the heart. You were almost mesmerized. By then, the Ferris wheel had reached its peak. The fireworks looked even clearer, and Shen Yuchu's pretty face was even more enchanting. You no longer had to be afraid like before. Amid the sound of fireworks, your voice was a little soft. Shen Yuchu didn't catch it. She turned to look at you, a question in her eyes. You didn't meet her gaze. Instead, you continued watching the brilliant sparks in the sky. He whispered softly, "You're too gentle. That is not good. People will take advantage of you. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Like before. I know, you want to sing. I also know you have so many things you want to do. Go ahead. Don't worry. I'll take care of Wang Wang." Shen Yuchu didn't respond. You turned her face towards you and saw 2 streaks of crystal tears on her cheeks. She pursed her lips, staring at you without blinking. The intense grievance and complexity in her eyes seemed about to drown you. You immediately became nervous, not understanding why out of nowhere. She suddenly started crying. "Who are you?" Shen Yuchu kept staring at you. Her almond-shaped eyes were already misty. Her clear voice wasn't loud, but it rang so clearly in your heart. You suddenly felt the air grow silent, as if even the sound of fireworks had disappeared. After a long while, you smiled at her gently. Then you spoke, your voice suddenly a little hoarse. "I'm Lu Fan." Shen Yuchu kept looking at you. Your smile made her feel her heartbeat suddenly go wild, like a deer pounding in her chest. Your answer was something she never expected. She looked into your bright, clear eyes, and her tears suddenly fell faster. She hugged her own legs, buried her head, and sobbed quietly. Then she spoke. "You are Lu Fan. You're not him. Who else could it be? Let me tell you a glitch story. There was a little girl in an orphanage. She was very timid, but in the orphanage, there was always a boy 1 year older who protected her. One day she was bullied by a group of boys. That brother stood in front of her to shield her, never letting her get hurt at all. But he himself was covered in bruises. Back then, in her eyes that brother who was 1 year older was her whole world. But after that, her brother disappeared. Until later, when she grew up, she saw that brother again. She finally got to marry him, just as she had wished. You were a bit speechless after hearing it. Now you finally understand some things." Shen Yuchu raised her head. Her eyes were misty with tears. She looked so lonely and pitiful. Finally, she revealed the secret buried in her heart. No one understood her stubbornness. Everyone thought it wasn't worth it for her. Only she herself believed she was worthy. But the outcome was so terrible. She had regretted it countless times. Until you showed up now. She asked who he was. He said he was Lu Fan. That was enough. Suddenly you could understand how Shen Yuchu felt. Seeing the tenderness and affection in your eyes, Shen Yuchu couldn't hold it in any longer. She threw herself into your arms, competing with Wang Wang for the spot in your arms. She sobbed quietly. Wang Wang was woken up. Her eyes were bleary. She looked at her mom, confused who had taken her spot. The little girl was stunned for a moment. Then joyfully, she wrapped one arm around Daddy, and the other arm around Mommy. Smack! Smack! 2 kisses landed on their cheeks. Today was the best day of Wang Wang's life. You looked at the 2 beauties, big and small, in your arms and couldn't help but laugh. Life was heading in a good direction. That was enough, but some plans needed to change. The fireworks slowly faded. The Ferris wheel gently descended to the ground. Shen Yuchu walked ahead. Holding Wang Wang, you followed behind. Watching Shen Yuchu walk briskly, you touched your nose. After getting off the Ferris wheel, Shen Yuchu had moved away from your arms. She instantly seemed to have returned to her usual cold attitude toward you. Shen Yuchu was very nervous inside. Even her grip on Wang Wang was tight. She felt her earlobes and cheeks burning. She had just stayed in your arms for so long, and even nuzzled against you like a little girl. So embarrassing, she must think you were secretly laughing at her. When she came out of the Ferris wheel just now, she saw the hidden smile on your face. Thinking of this, Shen Yuchu couldn't help but quicken her pace, as if she were speed walking. You had no idea what has gotten into her all of a sudden. She is so energetic, you have to jog just to keep up with her, until you exit the amusement park gate and see that Shen Yuchu shows no sign of stopping. You have to call out to stop her. Hey, are you planning to walk home or what? Let's just get a cab here. Only then does Shen Yuchu stop, standing by the roadside but not looking at you. She becomes even more convinced that you're laughing at her behind her back. Damn it, even more embarrassing. After waiting for a long time, you finally manage to hail a taxi. This is the first time you think about buying a car. Back home, you carry Wang Wang back to her room and settle her in. You also quickly head to your bedroom. After lying down, you quickly drift off to sleep, compared to your easy drifting off. Shen Yuchu, on the other hand, tosses and turns. She lies in bed. As soon as she closes her eyes, scenes from today at the amusement park involuntarily surface in her mind. Annoyed, Shen Yuchu pulls the blanket over her face, trying to force herself to sleep, but her constantly fluttering eyelashes reveal at every moment how unsettled she is inside. At 6 in the morning, you wake up right on time as usual. Morning run, wash up, cook breakfast, call Wang Wang to get up. After the whole routine, you don't see Shen Yuchu come out of her room. Looking at the tightly closed master bedroom door, you scratch your head. Looks like you really came back a bit late last night. She is still asleep even now. You don't plan to call her either. Just leave her a portion of breakfast. Then you wash the dishes you used and put them away. As you come out of the kitchen, Shen Yuchu has also gotten up. Her face slightly flushed. She walks through the living room and heads to the bathroom to wash up. Do you still want to continue singing? You ask, hearing your voice. Shen Yuchu is taken aback for a moment. She doesn't react for a while. You lean against the bathroom doorframe with your phone in hand, quietly waiting for her answer. After a moment, her soft voice finally reaches your ears. Yes, just one word. No further response. In Shen Yuchu's heart, life these days has already become a life she couldn't have imagined 2 years ago. And singing was a distant dream that could only be buried in her heart. You didn't ask further. You just nodded and took your phone back to the side bedroom. You opened your DM inbox and scrolled through it. Your DMs had been blowing up ever since the first video was posted. You only gave them a quick skim and hadn't looked at them since. Now it was hard to dig through them again, but you still silently scrolled the screen, patiently filtering through each one. Finally, your eyes suddenly lit up. You randomly clicked on one of the DMs. Reading the content of the DM, your fingers unconsciously tapped the screen. Or some considerations. Originally, your intention for posting videos was just to make money. Once you earned enough money to settle Wang Wang and Shen Yuchu, you would walk away after achieving that goal. But after what happened yesterday, you changed your mind. The content of this DM was simple. Funstars Entertainment sincerely invites you to join our team. With your musical talent, we will, in the shortest time, make you a top-tier superstar. Fanstars Entertainment is one of the 3 giants of Huago's entertainment companies. You didn't hesitate. You entered Fanstars Entertainment's contact number and dialed. The phone rang only a few times before it was answered. A mature female voice came from the receiver. Hello. Hi. May I ask who this is? Hello, my account name is Bufan. I received an invitation DM from your company. Is it convenient to talk now? At that moment, Li Xia at the headquarters emoji received a call. Her expression froze slightly. She hadn't expected that this creator named Bufan would actually call her. After all, it had been a few days since she sent the invitation DM, and she thought he wouldn't enter the entertainment industry. Hello, are you still there? Hearing no response on the other end, you asked again. Li Xia suddenly snapped back to reality. Then a joyful expression couldn't help but appear on her face. You see, when it comes to what is hottest online these days, it is undoubtedly this mysterious guy, Mr. Bufan. I am the Deputy Director of the Human Resources and Administration Department at Star Entertainment. Li Xia, may I ask if you are planning to join Star Entertainment? Director Li, I'm sorry, I don't have any intention of entering the entertainment industry for now, but I'd like to recommend a singer to you. I'm not sure if your company would be interested. Li Xia couldn't help feeling a bit disappointed. She forced a bitter smile and shook her head. What she wanted was Bufan. Mr. Bufan, here's the thing. I'm only the Deputy Director. If it were you coming, with your reputation, I could make the decision on my own. But if it is someone else, don't worry about that. The person I'm recommending has a top-notch singing ability. Moreover, I will compose and write songs for her. The executive office. I see what you mean. Okay, then I'll wait for your news. 5 hours later, the other party called Mr. Bufan. We've already discussed and agreed. The person you recommended can join the company, but the higher-up's opinion is that currently you only have 2 songs in existence, and one of them is a children's song. Don't misunderstand. Both songs are great, but the higher-ups still want to see more of your composing ability. I was wondering if it is convenient for you. Just as expected. With only 2 songs, they don't believe in your ability. Composing right. Your answer was simple and clear. Li Xia was feeling quite uneasy inside, but hearing Bufan agree so readily, a feeling welled up in her heart. Today, she had been running around for this matter. For a long time, she believed in Bufan's talent, but the higher-ups still had some doubts. But in the end, the company agreed to give Bufan a chance. As it happens, Huayin recently posed a challenge to several entertainment companies. They've been because of this challenge, inviting many lyricists and composers, but unfortunately none of them were satisfactory. In the end, they were all passed over. If Bufan can solve this challenge, the company will never doubt her again. Mr. Bufan, can we discuss the specific details in person? We still need you to come over here, write and compose the song on the spot. Li Xia said very sincerely. She also wanted to meet this mysterious guy and see what he actually looked like. You thought about it. At home, besides taking care of the kid, there wasn't much else to do, so you readily agreed. Okay, what time and where? The executive office. It would be best to come over tomorrow. After all, the sooner you come, the better it is for you. It'll better showcase your value. Then tomorrow afternoon it is. After hanging up the phone, you booked a plane ticket for 10 a.m. the next day. Before long, you unexpectedly fell into a deep sleep. When Shen Yuchu, who had been out, came back with Wang Wang, she saw you sound asleep. Wang Wang walked over to the sofa and gently nestled in your arms. In your dream, you only felt like a kitten was rubbing against your face. You felt a little breathless and woke up with a start. Wang Wang's cheerful laughter echoed in your ears. You looked down and realized it was your own precious daughter, pinching your nose with her soft little hands. Daddy, time to eat. You smiled knowingly, suddenly feeling that this kind of life was really nice. At that moment, the aroma of food drifted over from the dining room, making you feel a bit hungry. Shen Yuchu's figure then emerged from the kitchen, holding 2 bowls of rice in her hands. She glanced at you and said softly, seeing you hadn't woken up, I went ahead and made dinner. The colors, aroma and taste were all perfect. It made you hungry just looking at it. Hearing your praise, Shen Yuchu was a bit shy. She nodded and went back to the kitchen, bringing another bowl of rice to the table. The family ate dinner together. You placed a piece of crispy pork into Wang Wang's bowl, turned to Shen Yuchu and said, I need to go out tomorrow, not sure how many days I'll be gone for now. Shen Yuchu was drinking soup. When she suddenly heard your words, she choked all at once and couldn't stop coughing. You hurriedly handed her a tissue. Looking worried, Shen Yuchu took the tissue, turned around to wipe her mouth. Hearing that you suddenly had to go out, she was indeed a bit flustered. She didn't know if she should ask you, where are you going? Just a week ago, she wanted to run away, but now, hearing you were about to leave, she unconsciously felt a little reluctant. Still, she finally asked softly, Daddy, where are you going? You ruffled her little head. Daddy's going to find a job for mommy. Then you looked at Shen Yuchu. Sorry, I didn't ask for your opinion before deciding for you. I didn't have it all sorted out before, so I didn't tell you. Now a company has invited me to go talk. If this deal goes through, you can make a proper comeback. Starlight Entertainment should be pretty good. They let him sing. Shen Yuchu instinctively looked at you. You were serious as their eyes met. Shen Yuchu's almond-shaped eyes suddenly welled up with mist. Her eyes reddened slightly. Her beautiful eyes suddenly turned tender as water. That caught you off guard a bit. You quickly lowered your head and shoveled rice into your mouth. Shen Yuchu never imagined she would actually get to sing again one day, and that this man had chosen it for her on his own. Thank you. I love singing. I really love it. Shen Yuchu said softly, her voice growing more determined. She loved singing, and she also wanted Chuchu and Sister Yun to have a better life, to never be bullied again. Ever since meeting Zhao Chuchu, she had been worried about them. No need to thank me. If you love it, that's enough. You looked up with a gentle smile. The next morning, you too, go on back. It'll probably only be a day or two before I'm back. Don't worry. You hailed a taxi heading to the airport, then turned to say to Shen Yuchu. Shen Yuchu nodded. There was a hint of reluctance in her eyes, just before she couldn't wait to escape from you. Who would have thought that in just a few short days, she would feel reluctant to see you leave? It's just a couple of days away. Why does it feel like we're saying goodbye forever? You steel yourself and stop looking at her. Turn around and get into the taxi. The car drives away. The 2 figures in the rearview mirror slowly shrink. You close your eyes. You can't quite describe what you're feeling. 3 hours later, you've just gotten off the plane and already feel the warmth of the magic city. Compared to Jiangcheng, there are way too many people here. Following the surging crowd, you struggle to move your body. You keep walking until you reach exit 5. Only then do you breathe a little easier. Standing in front of the exit, you look at the large crowd holding signs outside. You search for your own name. Before coming, you had already set a time with Li Xia. She would pick you up at this exit. There are too many people holding signs on site. Many of them are fans picking up celebrities. It takes you a long time to finally spot a tall woman in a business suit. The sign she is holding is none other than Bofan. You quickly walk up to her. You wave at her. Hello, are you Director Li? I'm Bofan. My real name is Lufan. Sorry to keep you waiting. Li Xia looks at the person in front of her. A flicker of surprise flashes in her eyes, but she hides it well. I knew you were young, but I didn't expect you to be this young. You look like you just graduated from college, and you have a face that is perfectly suited to becoming a star. Li Xia can't help but feel a little regretful. If only I could sign you. How great would that be? Hello, I'm Li Xia. There are too many people here. My car is parked in the underground garage. It is lunchtime now. Let's find a place to eat first and then talk in detail. Okay, you nod and walk side by side with Li Xia toward the exit. Li Xia is indeed a seasoned professional. As she walks, she makes small talk with you. She thought a young person like you wouldn't be good at chatting, but after talking with you, she found that you could actually keep up with her topics. You talk with ease and confidence. You're nothing like the typical young person. This makes Li Xia regard you even more highly. Truly excellent people thrive everywhere. Of course, you have no idea. Li Xia thinks even more highly of you now. If you knew, you'd definitely be speechless. After all, with memories from 2 lifetimes, you're over 50 years old combined. If you didn't have even that much emotional intelligence, you might as well just find a rope. The 2 of them got in the car. You looked out the window at the bustling metropolis of Shanghai. Li Xia occasionally pointed out local attractions. Soon they arrived at a specialty restaurant. While waiting for the food to be served, Li Xia finally brought out the main topic. I'll just call you Mr. Lu. Who are you recommending this time? An amateur or professional singer? Have you heard of Shen Yuchu? Director Li. She used to be a singer, but later she left the industry. Now she is making a comeback, so to speak. When business came up, your expression turned serious. Li Xia frowned. She had heard Shen Yuchu's songs, a rising star 2 years ago. Her singing skills were indeed excellent, but the reason she frowned was that Shen Yuchu had been forced out of the industry because her relationship was exposed, and the person she was dating was apparently good-for-nothing pretty boy. That made things quite messy. Li Xia thought for a moment, brushed a strand of hair from her forehead behind her ear, then fixed her gaze on you. I know her. What is your relationship with her? Mr. Lu. Do you know why she left the industry? You looked into Li Xia's eyes and said calmly, spouses. She is my wife. Even the battle-hardened Li Xia, hearing your answer, was taken aback. Spouses. So he is that legendary pretty boy. You must be joking. Did Shen Yuchu divorce that guy and find another one? Seeing Li Xia's expression, you guessed what she was thinking and couldn't help smiling wryly. You're right. I'm the one who was with her when the relationship was exposed and left the industry. Li Xia suddenly didn't know what to say. She had heard of Shen Yuchu, but didn't know who she was with. As for idol boy bands like yours that lived off your looks, she naturally wouldn't pay attention. Now she was starting to wonder if you actually wrote those 2 songs. You didn't give her much time to think. When you saw her conflicted expression, you continued. Is it that hard to get her to join your company? If it is really a problem, I'll figure something else out. And my request isn't just for her to join your company. I also want her at your company. to have the top-tier resources and freedom, and no restrictions on the contract. In the end, it is about interests. I believe with my help, Star Entertainment can reach new heights. I still hope you'll consider it carefully. You finished speaking in one breath, calmly picked out the water glass and took a sip. Li Xia's face turned serious. She clearly looked troubled. She opened her mouth and said, in the end, we've never worked together before. Relying solely on those 2 songs you released, they don't hold that much value. I acknowledge Shen Yuchu's singing skills, but the entertainment industry isn't just about singing. I believe you know that getting her to make a comeback isn't hard, but demanding top-tier resources and contractual freedom, we've basically never signed such terms. Let us discuss this matter further. This is no small matter. Although Li Xia didn't outright refuse, her words strongly implied it was basically impossible. You can discuss it. Let me express my stance here. Not just the problem you're facing now. In the future, if you need songs, or even scripts no matter the genre, as long as you ask I can provide them. I still very much hope we can successfully collaborate. You asked me to come this time, precisely to see what I'm capable of, right? Why not make your decision after seeing it? You said calmly, looking completely confident. Li Xia gave you a long deep look. She had never seen someone so self-assured. So this is the legendary cat man. The world is ignorant. In the end, Li Xia left hastily after the meal. She was going to discuss with the company. Before leaving, she handed you a room card. Wait for my news, was the last thing she said as she left. You arrived at the hotel room. After a quick wash, you lay in bed thinking, if Star Entertainment doesn't work out, you'll go to another company. If that doesn't work out, worst case, you can just earn more money, take on the burden yourself, and start a company. Lie low with Shen Yuchu, and play it safe for now. You don't even notice how your perspective has quietly shifted from originally just wanting to coast by to now running around for Shen Yuchu. In such a short time together, you're thinking about the more and more, unconsciously becoming part of this small family. Li Xia's call came at 3 p.m. She was already downstairs and said you needed to go with her to Fangxing Tower. You didn't say much more, just headed downstairs to meet up with Li Xia. The Fangxing Entertainment Company is located in the most bustling area of the city. The entire building is Fangxing Entertainment property. Right now on the 18th floor of Fangxing Tower, Chairman Li Tian, HR Director Zhang Hao, and a few other Fangxing Entertainment managers are all present. Zhang Hao's face looks sour. Chairman, I have no complaints about Deputy Director Li's professional skills, but this time, I think she is putting way too much importance on this Lu Fan. He used to be a nobody artist with no resources, and now he is making such ridiculous demands. I think we're just wasting our time. In response to Zhang Hao's complaints, Li Tian waves his hand, a kind smile on his face. We still need to give young people a chance, right? Let's see his talent first this time. If he doesn't cut it, I'm sure my daughter won't have anything to say. Seeing the chairman's friendly demeanor, Zhang Hao can only suppress his frustration, but is grumbling internally. It is only because she is your daughter. You're just being biased. Li Tian sees Zhang Hao acting like a sulking kid, and laughs again. As the company's chairman, naturally he won't just go along with everything his daughter says. Actually, he has heard those 2 songs too. The only word for them is perfect, but he doesn't need to explain himself to Zhang Hao. As for whether those 2 songs were actually written by him, you can tell if it is a horse or a mule by taking it for a spin. Li Xia brings you to the meeting room right then. From the moment you walk in, you see quite a few massively popular stars from this world. Every single one of them is a top player in their field. Truly one of the big 3. The sheer luxury of it gives you a sense of high-class sophistication. Just looking at it. Entering the meeting room, you feel the eyes of everyone present on you. Their eyes betrayed a range of emotions. You naturally took the guest seat, one person facing a crowd, with a calm expression. Li Tian couldn't help but feel a hint of admiration rising in his heart. Such a young guy, and yet he could stay so composed in front of a setup like this. Good first impression. Alright, now that the main person is here, let's begin. Mr. Lu, right? We had a meeting to discuss your requests. Signing Shen Yuchu is fine. We can give her top-tier resources, but the contract can't be flexible. That we really can't do. Nobody signs a contract like that. You should understand what I mean. You nod. Of course I understand. So how long is the contract? Li Tian chuckled and looked straight at you. 5 years will groom her with the best resources, and whatever songs she wants to release, whatever events she wants to attend, we won't restrict her. You furrowed your brow slightly. Without any fear of his gaze, you looked straight back at him. 5 years is too long. I believe in my own ability, your resources plus my talent. Within a year, she'll be a top star. Maybe even less than a year. So the most I can agree to is 2 years. The remaining year will bring your company enough profit. That is all that matters. During these 2 years, you don't need to worry about Shen Yuchu's songs. And I can write songs for your company. Fangxing for free. But the number is limited. Anyone can talk big, become a top star within a year. Are you dreaming? As soon as you finished speaking, you saw the bald man sitting next to Li Xia. The corner of his mouth twitched into a smirk. With a contemptuous look, he said to you. You only glanced at him. You ignored him. You fixed your eyes on Li Tian. Li Tian narrowed his eyes. His fingers tapped lightly on the table. The smile on his face grew more obvious. It is good for a young man to have confidence. 2 years is not out of the question, but it all depends on your ability. The reason we invited you here this time is on one hand, to discuss collaboration. On the other hand, Huayin recently launched a nationwide campaign, requiring every company to participate, but only one song can be chosen. I want to win it. I wonder if you're up to the challenge. You nod slightly, thinking to yourself, isn't this exactly why I came? Deputy Minister Li will fill you in on the specific details. Then I'll be waiting for good news from you. As soon as your song gets the green light, I can sign the contract right away. Li Tian gave a faint smile and made a final decision. With everything settled, you relax a little. You stand up and shake Li Tian's hand. Then leave the meeting room with Li Xia. Li Xia let out a soft sigh. She never expected her father to agree to such an outrageous condition. But this event really is crucial. An event officially organized by the government. The company whose song gets selected will naturally win the government's favor. The benefits of that go without saying. When Li Xia looked at you, there was a complicated look in her eyes. She really hoped you could make a stunning debut. That would prove her judgment was right. At that point, all the gossip around the company would naturally die down. Take a look. These are the details for this event. You only have 3 days to create the song. I hope you get what you want. And I hope we can work together successfully. Li Xia took a document folder from the drawer and handed it to you as she spoke. You open the folder. The first thing that catches your eye is a big title, Ordinary Heroes. Seeing those words, your expression immediately turns serious. You continue reading. The office is very quiet. With only the sound of you flipping through the documents, your expression is the most serious it has been since you time traveled. You flip through the pages. There are several photos underneath. The first one shows a group of doctors and nurses in protective suits. The second shows 3 firefighters. Behind them is a raging fire that is being put out. The third shows several soldiers. Only their backs visible. You can't see their faces. The fourth shows a classroom about to collapse. A teacher is holding a child, handing him to someone outside. There is no one left behind him. He is the last one. After reading all the documents, you neatly organize them, put them away and take a deep breath. At that moment, Li Xia breaks the silence in the office. How is it? Can you do it? You only have 3 days. After 3 days, Hua Ying will end this audition. You nod. Don't worry. Leave it to me. I'll definitely have it for you. In 3 days, give them a satisfactory answer. With that, you put the documents away. You stand up. That is it then. Prepare some sheet music paper for me. I'll go back to the hotel and work on it slowly. I'll see you out. She doesn't. She wastes time. She knows. It is very difficult to create a good song. In 3 days, at 9 p.m., after taking a shower, you come to the desk. You spread the sheet music paper flat on the desk. You pick up the pen and think silently. You think for a long time before finally making a decision. This one it is. Just ordinary. The next day, you have a simple breakfast. Without notifying Li Xia, you take a taxi along to Fancy Entertainment. Li Xia is still busy working in her office. She is very surprised to see you visiting suddenly. You still have time to come here. You only have 3 days. Man, why aren't you busy thinking about the song? What song are you writing? You smile and under Li Xia's utterly shocked expression, you hand her the sheet music paper. Take a look first. Do you think this one should work? Li Xia looks at you like you're some kind of freak. The competent, mature woman rarely loses her composure. Are you kidding me? What good song can you write in one night? She is not just going to half-ass it, is she? Li Xia frowns and takes the sheet music paper. Yesterday, she thought this young man was steady and excellent. Today he comes to prove her wrong. She wants to see what he wrote in one night. Li Xia directs her gaze to the sheet music paper. When she sees the song title, she still looks calm. But then, when she slowly finishes reading the lyrics, she is completely stunned. What kind of divine lyrics are these? It says ordinary everywhere. Yet everywhere it reveals the extraordinary. Not a single word about heroes, yet every line speaks of heroes. These lyrics cut straight to the point. Then Li Xia eagerly looks at the musical score. A moment later, she suddenly looked up at you. Her eyes lit up. You really wrote all this in one night. You rubbed your nose. What else would it be? I stayed up all night to finish it. So, is this song any good? Li Xia's eyes grew even brighter. She stared intently at you. You're amazing. I made the right choice after all. Can you sing it for me? I want to hear how it sounds when sung. You nodded and closed your eyes, taking a moment to get into the mood. Then you began to sing softly. Maybe one day we'll drift apart. Maybe we'll meet again. After it ended, Li Xia was still lost in the song. It wasn't until you cleared your throat lightly that she snapped back to reality. She hurriedly wiped the tears from her face. Her eyes grew even more radiant, so radiant that you couldn't bring yourself to meet her gaze. You had to ask a little uncertainly. Absolutely perfect. Friend Lu, I never expected that you could give us such a huge surprise. The office door suddenly swung open. Li Tian walked in, clapping, his face clearly showing he was taken aback. As he spoke, behind him came Human Resources Director Zhang Hao. Zhang Hao was visibly stunned. He could hardly believe it. How long has it been? And you've actually written a song. Such a perfect one at that. Dad, why didn't you knock before coming in? Seeing who it was, Li Xia looked flustered. She secretly wiped her tears again and called out to Li Tian with displeasure. But Li Tian showed no sign of remorse. Still beaming though, the way he looked at his precious daughter was a little odd. It had been so long since his daughter acting so demure. If I hadn't come, how would I have known that friend Lu wrote such a great song? You were speechless. He'd gone from Mr. Lu to friend Lu just like that. You couldn't help but think to yourself, a businessman indeed. Anyone who brings him profit is family. You flatter me chairmanly. As long as you're happy. You said very satisfied. Now that Yang Lu has a song. So as long as this song is picked by Hua Yin, we'll sign the contract with Shen Yuchu right away. Now, let me first sign a cooperation agreement with Yang Lu. That way Yang Lu won't have to worry. Right? Li Tian nodded with a smile. You finally breathed a sigh of relief. You knew in your heart that this was pretty much a done deal. Your group signed the cooperation agreement on the spot. As long as the song gets selected, then the partnership you previously discussed with Starry Entertainment will go into effect immediately. After the signing, you said goodbye to Li Qian. Chairman Li, since the matter is settled, I'll take my leave now. Alright, I hope we have a good cooperation in the future. You nodded slightly, took the cooperation agreement, turned around and walked out of the office door. Let me see you out. Seeing you about to leave, Li Xia suddenly said. You noticed that she had been avoiding your eyes just now, as if she felt a bit embarrassed about her earlier fangirl behavior. For a mature woman like her, that was really. But now, you were leaving. From her expression, you seemed to catch a hint of inexplicable reluctance. I thought you still had work to finish. Yang Lu is not a kid anymore. Why does he need you to escort him? You had just turned your head before you could say anything. Li Tian across from you suddenly spoke up, seeing that you had no choice but to smile at Li Xia. With gratitude. Thanks for the kind offer. Director Li, I'll just take a taxi back myself. With that, you turned around and walked out of the office, gently closing the door behind you. Then you strode away. Meanwhile, Li Xia in the office was now like an angry kitten. Dad, what do you mean? He just delivered the song, and you turn around and tell him to leave. How could you be like this? Zhang Hao, who was still in the room, saw this scene and suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He swallowed hard and quickly said, I still have some work to handle. I'll take my leave now. Without waiting for Li Qian to say anything, Zhang Hao dashed out in a flash and shut the door tight behind him. Only once he was outside did he wipe the faint sweat off his forehead. Li Tian watched his daughter's expression without getting angry, but spoke with a bit of heartfelt concern. Xiaoya, you're not a kid anymore. It is time you found someone. That Lu kid is pretty good, but don't you forget, he has already got a wife, and as far as I know, he even has a daughter, right? Li Xia was silent for a moment before. She replied coldly, of course I know. I only saw him out because you invited him. That is all. The Ice Queen had returned to her aloof demeanor. This aura even made her father Li Tian a little uneasy. Alright. As long as you understand, I just remembered. I still have work to do. With that, Li Tian hurried off, but just as he stepped out the door, he suddenly poked his head back in. I mean it. Honey, you're 26. You really should find someone. Got it. No more pushing. I'm out of here now. Just as you return to the hotel, you hadn't even picked your flight yet. Li Xia called. Mr. Lu, I apologize. My father's tone wasn't great. I'm apologizing on his behalf. On the phone, Li Xia was expressing her apology, her tone a little cold, as if she was still angry at someone. You were a bit surprised. You really hadn't taken it to heart. Besides, Li Tian had already been quite tactful. As a big name in capital circles, he'd already shown you plenty of respect. As for whether he meant to discard you after using you, having seen all kinds of people in the capital market, you were well aware of that. No worries. I didn't think anything was wrong. You don't need to worry about it. Hearing you say that, Li Xia's tone softened a bit. Good. I'm glad you don't mind. By the way, are you on your way back to the hotel? I'm already at the hotel. I'm about to get myself together. You had booked a ticket and were about to head back to Jiangcheng, but there was a moment of silence on the other end of the line. Then Li Xia's voice came through again. It is like this. Mr. Lu Yu, you'd better wait another 2 days. If your lyrics get selected, I imagine Hua Yin will still need your help. After all, you wrote both the lyrics and the music, and you understand this song the best. Hearing Li Xia's words, your plan to go home was dashed. You suddenly felt empty inside. Alright, I understand. Then I'll stay a few more days. Let me know when the time comes. After hanging up with Li Xia, you put down your phone regretfully. You turned to look out the window at the scenery whizzing by. You were starting to miss the little one at home, thinking of Wang Wang, without even realizing it. A smile crept across your face for no reason, as if by telepathy. Shen Yuchu's call came in at that very moment. You picked up the phone. Wang Wang's voice immediately came through the line. It's that daddy. It was the little one. Even though you couldn't see Wang Wang, your face still broke into an affectionate smile. You answered. It is daddy. Miss you, daddy. Mom asks when you're coming back. Back home, Wang Wang was holding the phone with both hands, curled up in Shen Yucho's arms, saying sweetly. A blush immediately crept onto Shen Yucho's pretty face. She helplessly rolled her eyes. At the little one, it was clearly her who had insisted on calling daddy. So why was she dragging her into it now? She hadn't asked that herself. Well, you tell Mom. Okay, daddy still needs a few more days before he can come back. You chuckled to yourself. You guessed. It must be the little one who wanted you to come home. But she was using Shen Yucho as an excuse. When Wang Wang heard that, she was clearly a little unhappy. She started whining on the phone. The corners of your mouth lifted slightly. You shifted to a more comfortable position, lying on the bed, and asked Wang Wang, did you eat well today? When Wang Wang heard this, she immediately looked up at her mother, and then like a thief caught, red-handed, lowered her head and whispered, yes, but Wang Wang would rather eat dad's cooking. The little one's tone was extremely serious, so serious that it made Shen Yucho, who was eavesdropping, laugh in spite of herself. So young and already knows how to tackle. Ha! Indirectly saying my cooking isn't good. Then Shen Yucho heard from the other end of the line. Your loud laughter. In an instant, Shen Yucho's face grew even redder. She snatched the phone away. Alright. That is enough chatting with dad for today. Hey, that is not what I asked. I know everything okay at home. You heard her excuse and answered with a smile. Shen Yucho only felt more annoyed. Are you still laughing at this? Great. You've only been out for a day. What could possibly happen? Okay, no more talking. I'm hanging up. I need to make lunch. Hey, you can't do that. I haven't had enough time chatting with the little one. Goodbye, but Shen Yucho didn't give you that chance. She hung up the phone directly. Her face was now burning hot. If she kept talking, she was afraid she'd want to punch someone. Seeing Wang Wang still staring at the phone with a disappointed look, Shen Yucho decided that for lunch today, she would make a little bok choy that Wang Wang hated the most. Right, kids shouldn't be picky eaters. You heard the dial tone from the receiver. Despite the regret, you still had a smile on your face. This was the first time you had ever seen Shen Yucho have such a little tantrum. In the past, she always gave you a stifled feeling. How should I put it? You would call her someone lacking an independent soul. But now that situation is slowly getting better. She is becoming herself again. That is good. Waiting is a long process. In a few days, August would arrive. You had already been in Shanghai for 2 days. During this time, you talked on the phone with Li Xia a few times. The relationship between the two of you was no longer so distant. At least now, Li Xia no longer called you sir every other word, which made you cringe. You still got up early for morning runs these 2 days. Everything seemed calm. There was still no news from Hua Yin. You could only wait patiently. On the evening of the 3rd day, you received a call from a number that was both strange and familiar. Hey, is this old Lu? It is me, Chen Shen. Hearing that, you quickly sorted through the original owner's memories. It was the original owner's old college buddy. Crazy long time no see. Thinking about Chen Shen's character and personality in the original owner's memories, you spoke with a smile. Having a true friend actually doesn't seem so bad. Old Lu, what is up with you after getting married? Not answering calls. Not replying to texts too good for your bro now. On the other end of the line, Chen Shen's scolding came through, but the concern hidden in his tone made your heart feel warm. It is just that after the original owner got married, he was always trying to suck up to Chen Shuai and Ye Qian, and didn't even have time for his best buddy. My bad before. Be the bigger man and let it slide. Forgive me this once. Next time we meet, dinner's on me. I'll make it up to you. Deal. As you said that, you silently cursed the original owner again. Can't even tell friend from foe. What a fool. Such a disgrace to my name. Lu Fan. Haha, you said it. Then we'll talk when we meet next time. Cafe. With that, Chen Shen hung up. No sooner had you hung up than Li Xia called. Your song was picked by Hua Yin. According to Li Xia, the people over there took just one look and chose this song out of thousands of submissions. Li Xia sounded really excited. When she called, she said Hua Yin was planning to film an MV and needed you, the lyricist and composer, to be there to guide. You went downstairs. When Li Xia saw you, she tucked a strand of hair from her forehead, her eyes lighting up a little. You rubbed your nose, deliberately ignoring Li Xia's gaze. Let's go. It is getting late. If we wrap up early, we can still make lunch. Without another word, you slipped into the back seat. That big passenger seat up front. Too good for you. The director in charge of the MV at Hua Yin called and kept singing your praises. So do you have any ideas for the MV and the lead singer? Don't choke when you get there. Li Xia was obviously worried. You're young and haven't dealt with this kind of pressure before. Relax, I've got this. Your face showed no sign of nervousness. Li Xia glanced at you in the rearview mirror. Seeing you really weren't nervous, she dropped the subject. 2 hours later, the car pulled into the parking lot of a large building. The two of you walked side by side into the building. It must have been a meeting Li Xia had arranged in advance. Just as you entered the building, a group of people immediately came to greet you. Grandpa Li, why did you come down yourself? If my dad finds out, he'd chew me out. Li Xia quickly stepped forward, took the old man's hand, and said in a coaxing tone, that surprised you. A cool mature woman acting cute. Even a god couldn't resist. A smile spread across the old man's face, full of affection and indulgence. Lin cut it out with that act. Your dad would never dare yell at you if he didn't get beaten. He should be grateful. The cool woman blushed, which was rare. She pouted and said, alright, let's get down to business. So this must be young friend Lu. Truly heroes come from the young. You're quite impressive. Hello, sir. Thank you for the kind words. I'm Lu Fan. You nodded politely at the old man. Good, talented, and polite. Just as expected from the person who wrote this song. I'm the director in charge of this music video. Lin Silly, if you don't mind, you can call me Grandpa Li, just like Li. Then I'll gladly take you up on that. Grandpa Li. A faint smile never left your face. Such a sweet girl. Well, let's head upstairs. Lin Silly was very pleased. He even changed how he addressed you. He directly took your hand and walked toward the elevator, without any intention of introducing the others behind him. You had no choice but to follow. Still, you nodded to those middle-aged people. The elevator went straight up to the 20th floor. As soon as you stepped out, Ling Silly pulled you into the recording studio. Xiao Luli said you sing very well. Could you sing a bit first? We received this song but haven't heard it yet. The lead vocalist hasn't been decided either. Okay, you nodded in agreement. A cappella or piano. This song only needs a piano accompaniment. When it came to business, Ling Silly became noticeably more serious. He left you alone in the recording studio. Everyone else was taken out. As the staff turned on the microphone, the group of middle-aged people all looked forward eagerly. You walked into the recording studio, sat down, and began to gather your emotions. Once you got into work mode, you became very focused. From the outside inside the recording studio, your expression visibly changed. Ling Silly nodded upon seeing this. Now this is a true musician. Inside, you started playing the piano, and the intro of Just Ordinary began to play. The crowd outside immediately held their breath. Listening to the piano, they all turned their eyes toward the inside. Here across the shore, traveling far, parting and reuniting, joys and sorrows, people gathered them apart. The song ended. You took a deep breath, calmed your emotions, then stood up and walked out of the recording studio. The group outside was still staring at you. The next moment, everyone couldn't help but applaud you. Ling Silly, even more excited, stepped forward to shake your hand, his eyes burning with passion. Xiao Lu, this is the feeling. I think we don't need to change the lead singer. You should do it. I have a feeling that this song will stir up a wave of attention online. A storm of ordinary heroes. This is exactly the effect we wanted to see. Those heroes who quietly dedicate themselves deserve to hear it. With the old man's praise like this, even you, who are seasoned in these battles, couldn't help but blush a little. But you still shook your head and said to Ling Silly with sincerity, Grandpa Ling, I won't be the lead singer. I have a better idea. How about you listen? Ling Silly frowned. Is there a better lead singer than the lyricist and composer of this song? Seeing that Ling Silly was clearly reluctant, you stopped beating around the bush. You quickly stated your idea. It is like this. Grandpa Ling, I think this song is more suitable for children to sing. For one thing, children's voices are clearer and more ethereal. Having the flowers of our country sing about anonymous heroes will touch people's hearts even more deeply. Upon hearing your explanation, Ling Silly's eyes widened in shock. Oh my god, this guy is a genius. How did he not think of that? Kids naturally have a warm, approachable quality. If they sing it, paired with the footage he shot, it'll definitely strike a chord with people. Amazing, no wonder. He was a young talent he'd had his eye on. Now Ling Silly looked at you with even more intensity. Even the middle-aged men behind him seemed to have an epiphany. All at once, staring at you in disbelief. They had picked out those clips from thousands of options, tailored to the song's length. But they just couldn't settle on a lead vocalist. They never expected you to solve it with one sentence. Little Lu, you're a real prodigy. Any interest in coming to work at Huayin? Don't worry, Huayin won't let your talent go to waste. It was clear that Ling Silly had taken a liking to your talent. He wanted to bring you on board, thinking it would be a waste to leave someone like you out there. No, Grandpa Ling. I'm just a slacker. I'm already happy I could help out this time. You wave your hands repeatedly, refusing. Ling Silly was speechless. Is this what slackers are like these days? But he didn't push it. After all, you were right there, not going anywhere. He could always come to you for something like this later. By the time you walked out of Huayin building, it was already 1 in the afternoon. Your head was pounding by now. Once those people started talking about work, they got so hyped up. Absolutely like workaholics. It wasn't until Licia whined about wanting to eat lunch that the two of you managed to escape.
Lu,
don't you owe me a meal? Collaborating with Huayin is gonna make us rich. Licia was unusually playful, sticking out her tongue and teasing you. This mature lady was becoming less and less mature. You raised an eyebrow. With a family fortune like yours, you're gonna try to mooch off a regular guy like me. Have you no shame? Stingy. Licia rolled her eyes at you, then got into the car with a huff. You smiled and quickly followed. The more time you spent with this mature lady, the more you realized she had a really great personality. Nothing like the intimidating vibe she gave off at first. A classic case of cold on the outside, warm on the inside. In the end, you couldn't get out of that meal. Licia happily treated herself to a big feast on you. After the meal, Licia drove you to Star Entertainment. This time you're here to pick out the contract. It was also your original goal. Shen Yuqiu signing contract. The two of you got on the elevator. For some reason, you suddenly felt like Licia wasn't in a great mood. She seemed pretty down. Even though she just got a free big meal, you really can't figure out women too complicated. After getting off the elevator, you went straight to Li Tian's office. She had been waiting there for a while. The contract was already prepared and placed on the table. She had an ever-present smile on her face. Looking at you as you pushed open the door, she said, young friend, Lu, pleasure working with you. Here's the contract. Take a look and see if there is anything else to add. You nodded. You sat down at the desk and read through the contract on the spot. The contract was very formal. 3 copies it would take effect. As soon as Shen Yuqiu signed it, the terms were exactly as discussed before. Star Entertainment would provide Shen Yuqiu with top-tier resources and maximum freedom. In a word, Shen Yuqiu could do whatever she wanted. No one could force her to do anything, and that was exactly what you wanted to see. The contract period was 2 years. Whether to renew afterwards was entirely up to Shen Yuqiu. After finishing reading the entire contract, you put it away. You stood up, extended your hand, and shook Li Tian's thank you. Chairman Li, pleasure working with you. For giving such a contract, your impression of Li Tian improved quite a bit. At least he wasn't like those unscrupulous capitalists who fill contracts with hidden traps. You're welcome. I value your talent and you value our company's resources. It is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Also, you once promised to write songs for our company. I won't draw up a separate contract for that. I trust you. Young friend Lu Li Tian also stood up, shook your hand, and said, of course, I won't back out. But you also stated your point of view. Don't worry, but I have to set a condition first. I only write lead singles, and I decide who I write for. Completely on my own terms. Don't send just any random person to ask me for a song. You've got an attitude, but you've got the talent to back it up. Li Tian's opinion of you keeps getting better. But when she glances at her daughter, she lets out a silent sigh. What a shame. She is so young. Why get married so early? With your talent, Lu, if it weren't for the company's top artists needing songs, I wouldn't have come to you. After all, you know, someday with your reputation, everything you write will be a masterpiece. Regular people don't deserve it. Both sides reached a happy agreement. Then Li Tian suddenly changed the subject. Now that the contract is signed, when are you planning to head back? Lu, you don't understand why she is asking, but you answer immediately. I'm heading back to the hotel now to pack, book a flight and leave soon. After all, there is nothing left for me to do here. Chairman Li, Is there anything else you need to tell me? No, then I wish you a safe trip home, Li Tian quickly said with a smile. But the smile on her face seems to you like when she hears you're leaving. Why is she so happy all of a sudden? Without thinking much, you stand up to take your leave. Li Xia walks you all the way to the hotel entrance and doesn't follow ever since you stepped into Star Entertainment. She has seemed a bit down. Lu Fan, I won't see you off to the airport. You can go on your own. I have something to do. I'm heading off. You turn around, wave and say okay, take care. Then she turns and walks back into the hotel. Li Xia watches your retreating figure and feels inexplicably annoyed. She hits the gas and drives away. Finally, I can go home. I miss my little treasure so much. You quickly pack your bags, book a flight, check out, call a taxi. Done. In one smooth flow, at 6 p.m., with your hands full of gifts, you step into the familiar, run-down neighborhood, and your steps feel even lighter until you push open the long, mist door. The living room is silent. Shen Yuchu and Wang Wang don't seem to be home. You don't get to see the people you were longing to see. Right away, you felt a faint sense of disappointment. But then, the next moment, the door to the main house suddenly pushed open. Shen Yuchu came out, rubbing her bleary eyes, looking adorably dazed. The moment she saw you, she snapped awake. Her eyes widened involuntarily. As she looked at you, she was wearing a spaghetti-strap nightgown, with one strap slipping down her arm. Her hair was messy from sleep, her lips slightly parted, unconsciously striking the pose of a sleeping beauty. Right in front of you, both of you froze at the same time. In the soft light surrounding Yucho, you both simply looked at each other in silence. Then a brilliant smile spread across your face as you spoke. I'm home. Shen Yucho's face slowly flushed red. She stood there, not knowing what to do. Her heart fluttered with a bit of panic, yet also felt a sweet warmth surging up inside. She lowered her head and replied softly, while unconsciously pulling the strap that had slipped off her arm back up to her shoulder, quietly. Oh right, here, this is for you. You suddenly pulled a bouquet of lavender from behind your back. I happened to see someone selling them by the roadside, and they smelled really nice, so I just bought a bunch. Shen Yucho pressed her lips together. She stepped forward and gently took the lavender from your hand. Her face was already covered with a rosy blush. This was the first bouquet of flowers you had ever given her. Lavender, its flower language is redemption and hope. She really loved it. Thank you. Shen Yucho gathered her courage, lifted her head, and met your eyes directly. Her eyelashes fluttered softly. Have you eaten? You let out a gentle laugh. Not yet. You guys probably haven't eaten either, right? I'll make dinner. Go wake up Wang Wang. Shen Yucho originally wanted to cook herself, since you had just come back from outside, and must have been tired after a long day. But seeing the determination in your eyes, and remembering that your cooking was indeed much better than hers, she eventually nodded. I'll go call Wang Wang. She'll be really happy to know you're back. She has been asking about you every day. Saying that, Shen Yucho turned and went back to the master bedroom. This time, she didn't close the door. Instead, she left it open. You looked inside. Wang Wang was lying flat on her back on the bed, sprawled out, sleeping soundly. Shen Yucho gently picked her up, tiptoeing. She didn't even stir. It wasn't until Shen Yucho held the little Wang in front of you and kissed her on the cheek, whispering softly in her ear, Wang Wang, wake up, daddy's back. That Wang Wang suddenly moved. She slowly opened those cute almond-shaped eyes, looking around in a daze. Then a spark lit up in the little one's eyes. She reached out her tiny hands, waving them at you. It is daddy. Daddy, hold me. Wang Wang missed you so much. The little one, like a koala, once you held her, clung to your neck, refusing to let go, just hanging on there. Even when you went to the kitchen to cook, she wouldn't let go. In the end, Shen Yucho had to put on a stern face and used the new toy you bought as a bribe to finally peel the little one off and set her down on the sofa. Wang Wang played with the toy, but her big eyes kept glancing toward the kitchen, as if afraid your figure would disappear again. After bustling around for a while, the food was on the table. The family sat down at the table, happy and harmonious. Shen Yucho looked down and saw Wang Wang already holding her little chopsticks, slurping away heartily. A noodle disappeared down her throat in one slurp. At the same time, her eyes had turned into crescent moons. The way she ate made it seem like Shen Yucho had starved her for days. It left Shen Yucho both annoyed and helpless. Outdone, I have to admit defeat. What else can I say? This also made Shen Yucho speed up her own eating. Why was it that when it was just the two of them at home, they didn't have this appetite? The moment he came back, they inexplicably relaxed completely. Shen Yucho ate while her mind wandered. It was scary to think about. Before, they couldn't wait to stay away from this man, and in such a short time, they had been subtly corrupted by you. The only sound left at the table was slurping. It wasn't until Shen Yucho finished eating that she noticed you and Wang Wang had somehow already finished long ago, and the two of them were simultaneously staring at her. Shen Yucho's pretty face blushed again. She quickly wiped her mouth and stood up to cover her embarrassment. Then she gathered the bowls and chopsticks from the table. I'll do the dishes. You spend more time with Wang Wang. She stacked the bowl in front of you too, picked it up and headed toward the kitchen, watching Shen Yucho drift into the kitchen like a breeze. You shook your head this time. You really weren't trying to compete with her. What was she so flustered about? Daddy, come quick. Let's build blocks with Wang Wang. Wang Wang jumped off the stool, took your hand and led you toward the sofa. With your help, Wang Wang stacked the blocks into the shape of a little house, laughing with her sweet babyish voice. You deliberately asked about how things were at home. The little one told you everything she knew, especially when it came to Shen Yucho. The little one completely threw her mom under the bus. Mommy misses daddy too. I saw mommy often watching videos of daddy singing and secretly laughing. You couldn't help but hide a smile behind your hand. You really didn't mean to ask about that. The thing is, Wang Wang said it really loudly, completely unaware that Shen Yucho had already charged back from the kitchen. Right now, Shen Yucho's pretty face was as red as a ripe apple, but her eyes were filled with chill. She stared down at this little traitor who sold out her mom for her dad's favor. Wang Wang noticed that suddenly went quiet. She looked up, confused, and saw her mom's big red face. She let out an ah and hid in your arms, muttering over and over, "Can't see me." Shen Yucho couldn't help but laugh. She reached out and patted the little one's butt that was sticking out past your arm, while staring at your smirking face, and explained, "Don't listen to Wang Wang's nonsense. I did not." "Yes, you did. Mommy's lying. Lying isn't being a good kid." Wang Wang buried her little face deep into your arms, mumbling in a muffled voice. Shen Yucho looked about to blow her top. You immediately raised both hands in surrender and completely exposed the little one. Nothing. I believe you. A wise man knows when to back down. But poor Wang Wang was immediately scooped up by Shen Yucho and tickled. The little one's big eyes sparkled with tears. She reached out toward you, sitting stiff and proper in the distance, totally not expecting that you turn around and hand her over to mommy. For the peace and prosperity of this family, your little sweetheart would just have to take one for the team. The family played around for a while. In the end, Wang Wang looked wronged and pitiful. She took on everything alone, playing with building blocks by herself. You ruffled her little head. Then you stood up, You took a paper folder out of the suitcase and placed it in front of Shen Yuchou. Mission accomplished. Take a look. This is the contract from Fencing Entertainment. Shen Yuchou looked at you, your expression serious. Her eyelashes fluttered, slightly betraying the turmoil inside her. He had been away for just a few days, and yet he had already gotten a contract for her. Shen Yuchou lowered her head, picked up the folder and opened it, flipping through the contract inside, reading all the way to the end. Her hands began to tremble slightly. This was a contract she wouldn't even dare to dream of. Even the responsibilities and terms were favorable. Even if she had never left the industry and kept singing, she wouldn't have a contract like this now. Shen Yuchou had no idea how you pulled it off. In just a few days. What did you go through? How much did you sacrifice to get something like this? A signing contract beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Shen Yuchou lifted her head, looked at you with sincere gratitude. Tears shimmered in her eyes. She pursed her little mouth and just held your gaze like that. The gentle smile still lingered on your face, as if all of this was nothing. After a long moment, Shen Yuchou finally spoke softly. Lu Fan, actually, I don't need to sing either. Her voice was small, but there was no hesitation at all. It was very firm. You frowned slightly, confused. She clearly loved singing. She wanted to sing. What was this supposed to mean? You couldn't understand. What was going on in this woman's head? Haven't you always wanted to sing? Now you have the chance. Why are you backing out? Your tone turned a little heavier. This was the first time since you came here that you'd spoken to her like that. Having been a lifetime single dog, you naturally couldn't understand. Right then, Shen Yuchou's mind was a mess. She suddenly felt that just going on like this was fine. If she really went to sing, she was afraid things would change afterward. Afraid that life will never be like this again. Shen Yuchou pressed her lips together, lightly again, staring straight at you, tears sliding down one by one. After a moment, she said quietly, afraid that something bad might change in the future. This was the first time Shen Yuchou had ever spoken her fear out loud to you so directly. You paused for a second. Then your slightly furrowed brow instantly relaxed and you smiled. The smile was very warm. You picked up a tissue. Shen Yuchou. What kind of person do you take me for? I'm telling you seriously. Go ahead without any worries. No matter what happens, none of this will change. After all, I'm ready to be a full-time stay-at-home dad. Shen Yuchou. Never expected you to say that. And you even reached out to wipe her tears dry. Having not experienced this level of closeness in so long, she immediately shyly lowered her head. Her already faintly red face flushed bright red in an instant. She couldn't even spare a thought for previous tangled worries. She was still afraid of all these messy things, but now she understood that Shen Yuchou was probably afraid of making changes. After all, someone who hasn't gone out for a long time at home always has that kind of feeling. So you spoke up again. I mean it. Just leave Wang Wang to me. I'll take good care of her. And you've seen your contract. It is very flexible. You can come back whenever you want. Don't worry about things here. Just take care of yourself out there. As you were saying this, Shen Yuchou didn't hear a single word. In her mind was still the scene of you gently brushing her face. On the sofa, Wang Wang had already started, secretly watching her parents' interaction. She clearly saw on her mom's lowered face, the corners of her mouth already curling up slightly. And Dad was still rambling on and on. Little as she was, she didn't know what was happening. Only that Mom seemed happy now, and Dad was still worried about Mom. So she threw herself onto your lap, looking up with big blinking eyes, and said out of the blue, Daddy. The moment she said that, you froze solid. Shen Yuchou looked up, staring at the little one in shock. My heart is pounding so hard, it feels like it is about to jump out of my chest. Pretty please. Daddy. Seeing you didn't respond, Wang Wang started her charm offensive. She rolled around on your lap. You swallowed hard. You turned to look at Shen Yuchou, whose neck was already bright red. Her eyes darted away. Well, you have to ask your mom if she agrees. How were you supposed to answer that? Shen Yuchou was so shy she was about to lose it. She stood up flustered, got up and headed to the bathroom. I'm sleepy. I'll go wash up and get ready for bed. Shen Yuchou fled in a panic. Only you and Wang Wang were left in the living room, staring at each other. You had no idea what to do, but Wang Wang jumped off your lap, wrapped her arms around your neck. Mom said, as long as you're ready, it is fine. Did Shen Yuchou say that? You turned to look at the closed bathroom door, faintly hearing the sounds of washing inside. Then I guess it is okay. You took a deep breath of the little one's milky scent. To bolster your own courage, you told yourself, this is entirely for Wang Wang, not for any other reason. After a long while, Shen Yuchou finally came out of the bathroom. She silently returned to the bedroom. When she passed through the living room, she didn't even glance toward the sofa. Only then did you stand up holding Wang Wang. You went into the bathroom, helped the little one wash up, then quickly washed yourself. Only then did you come out holding the little one. Until this moment, your heart truly started racing. From the living room to the master bedroom, it felt like you walked that short distance for an eternity until you stepped fully into the bedroom. Your mind was a complete blank. Even in 2 lifetimes, you'd never experienced something like this. At this moment, you really wanted to ask for help. What should you do? Shen Yuchou had already burrowed under the covers, as if she were asleep. She lay on her side facing the wall, so you couldn't see her expression clearly, but her crystal clear, rosy earlobes betrayed her current state. You gently closed the door. The sound of the door made Shen Yuchou's body. My stomach even gave a little jolt, but she still didn't get up. You've totally given up now. At this point, being nervous won't help. Just lie back and take it easy. Thinking that way, you really did feel a lot more relaxed. You put Wang Wang in the middle and sat down on the other side of the bed. Pulling Wang Wang close, you started telling her a bedtime story. Today, Daddy is going to tell Wang Wang the story of Snow White. Your gentle voice echoed through the room. Shen Yuchou's eyelashes fluttered slightly, and her racing heart, as the story unfolded, slowly calmed down. Eventually, without even realizing it, she fell asleep. Just like her, Wang Wang also drifted off to sleep. As you told your story, the night was deep. You could see their breathing gradually settle. Only then did you turn off the light, crawl under the covers and lie down. The pillow was filled with that familiar faint, fresh scent. For the first time, you realized that the girl's pillow could smell so good. You pulled Wang Wang a little closer beside you. With that fragrance, you two quickly fell into a deep sleep. An uneventful night. The next morning, your internal alarm clock was still on time. At 6 in the morning, you woke up. Subconsciously, you pulled a soft, delicate body in your arms closer, then suddenly froze. When did Wang Wang get so big? You swallowed hard and looked down under the covers. There was no trace of Wang Wang. In your arms, it wasn't the little one, but Shen Yuchou. You were completely dumbfounded. How did she end up in your arms? That faint, fresh scent lingered at the tip of your nose. The soft, warm body in your embrace. Your peace of mind shattered instantly. Before you knew it, you leaned down until you were close to Shen Yuchou's pretty face and stopped right there, caught in a fierce internal struggle. Then you saw her long eyelashes flutter gently. Startled, you quickly sat back up, quietly pulled your arm out from under her neck, hunched over. You carefully got out of bed and scurried out of the bedroom, went to the bathroom to wash up. Your face was full of defeat. This early morning was just too torturous. What you didn't know was, right after you walked out of the bedroom, Shen Yuqiu still in bed opened her beautiful almond eyes and let out a slight sigh of relief. She covered her burning cheeks and crawled back under the covers, looking too embarrassed to show her face. Just as you sat up, Shen Yuqiu had already woken up. She didn't know when she had ended up in your arms, or how she'd been using your arm as a pillow. It was so humiliating. Not until she felt your breath on her face did she start to panic inside. What was he trying to do? Sneak a kiss? What should she do? Shen Yuqiu was scared to death at that moment. Too afraid to wake up, so she just kept pretending to sleep. Luckily you stopped in time, otherwise she really wouldn't have known how to face you. But after you actually pulled away, she couldn't help feeling a hint of disappointment. Shen Yuqiu didn't know if she was ready, only that her mind was in a mess. A long while later, Shen Yuqiu, still hidden under the covers, finally let out a deep breath, let things take their course. She stayed curled up until 8 o'clock. Only after hearing the door open again outside did she get out of bed, tidy herself up and leave the room. You had already arrived in the kitchen to start cooking. When you saw Shen Yuqiu come out, you greeted her with a slightly awkward expression. Morning. Shen Yuqiu's expression was also a bit off. She didn't even meet your eyes, only giving a soft reply. After that, she went into the bathroom to wash up. You didn't think much of it and turned back to making breakfast. But to your surprise, Shen Yuqiu finished washing up quickly and came straight to the kitchen. Let me help you cook. Shen Yuqiu's expression was natural. She expertly took the basin from your hands and started rinsing the rice. You were just slightly taken aback, but quickly recovered and gladly accepted her offer. You turned aside and began washing the vegetables. The two of you worked in perfect sync, like a couple who had lived together for years. 20 minutes later, a pot of golden millet porridge and 2 small side dishes were successfully prepared. You took off your apron, washed your hands, and walked naturally into the master bedroom, where you woke up Wang Wang, who had ended up sleeping at the foot of the bed, and scooped her up. After the family had a pleasant breakfast, you looked at Shen Yuqiu and said, "By the way, are you supposed to report to Starry Entertainment in early August?" Hearing this, Shen Yuqiu sat down on the sofa as well. Her beautiful eyes glanced lightly. "Before that, I need to go pick up Chuchu first. Then go find Sister Yun. If they knew I can make a comeback, they'd definitely be really happy," Shen Yuqiu said, a genuine smile spreading across her face. Quitting the entertainment circle so abruptly before, the two people she felt most sorry for were them. Now, even if not for her own drink, for the sake of those two, she had to give it her all. You nodded roughly, Wang Wang's hair, but your mind was elsewhere, thinking what song you should write for Shen Yuqiu. When the time came, this was her first battle in her comeback. It had to be fought brilliantly. Shen Yuqiu's voice was excellent, whether sweet songs or melancholic ones. She could handle both, so there were too many choices. For a moment you couldn't make up your mind either. After thinking for a while with no result, you thought of another matter. By the way, how about we buy a car in a few days? Let's buy 2. In another month, Wang Wang will start kindergarten. It'll be convenient for drop-off and pick-up. Also, although Starry Entertainment will provide you with a van when you're free going out, you still need a car. Shen Yuqiu thought for a moment. She also thought buying a car was a good idea. Before, she stayed home and never went out, so having a car didn't matter. Now she'd be going out often, and not having a car would indeed be inconvenient. But she was worried you didn't have enough money. After all, the earnings from your first 2 videos had been spent on buying a lot of furniture. You also went out once, and she didn't know how much was left. Wang Wang was about to start kindergarten soon, which would be another expense. After pondering, Shen Yuqiu looked up, a hint of worry showing on her face. "Let's just buy one for now. It'll be convenient for you at home to take the child around. I have a company car for now. Probably won't need it. Once you've earned some money, then you can think about buying a car," Shen Yuqiu thought. When she releases songs and albums and starts earning, she'd consider these things. Thinking about this, Shen Yuqiu felt a bit worried. She herself wasn't sure when she'd get to sing. Although the contract with Starry Entertainment offered top-tier resources, there was also a clause about freedom of song selection. She didn't know how you negotiated with a company. They gave you top resources, so why didn't you help her get songs? She was puzzled. After all, she barely knew any lyricists or composers. Thinking about lyricists and composers, Shen Yuqiu suddenly froze, then looked at you, who seemed calm. He seems to know how to write songs, even though she didn't know when he learned. The 2 songs on Shadow, one of them was taught by you to Wang Wang on the spot. You naturally knew about Shen Yuqiu. As worry about not buying a car. Calmly, you wave your hand. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about not having enough money at home. Let a bullet fly for a while. Money will come in a few days. On Sunday, as long as the ordinary MV goes online at 8 AM sharp. Co-released by Huayin and Bifan's accounts, with simultaneous reposts from multiple other departments. The lineup is unprecedentedly luxurious. The co-release of Bushu Wu. Right. What the audience wants to see is still quality. Only if the quality is up to standard will people pay for it and pay attention to the story behind this MV. Who is Buke? There's a saying circulating online now. If the lyrics and music are by Bufang, it is bound to be a masterpiece. Fang Fang. Seeing that the lyrics and music of this MV were all by Bufang, everyone instantly became interested. This mysterious guy doesn't act unless, but when he does, it is always astonishing. So the viewers clicked on this MV one after another, wanting to take in the grand scene, until the music and the last piece of footage faded away. Bufang's figure never appeared. You were still so mysterious. But everyone was satisfied. These pieces of footage, every figure in this video, were deeply engraved in everyone's hearts. Even long after the main feature was released, no one had given it a like yet. Not a single comment. Everyone seemed to have vanished. At this moment in the meeting room of Huayan, Ling City kept staring at the real-time data online. He didn't understand why over 100 million people were watching at the same time, yet not a single like. Did everyone disapprove of this video? Ling City felt a little disappointed. He wiped his slightly reddened eyes, having a hard time accepting this outcome. But the next moment, the video's metrics suddenly took off. Likes and comments erupted like a flood, spiraling out of control. For the first time ever, in such a short period, the numbers were skyrocketing at an explosive rate. Within just a few breaths, the like count surged from 100,000 to 5 million, then to 10 million. The platform experienced its first ever lag. Even so, nothing seemed to stop the massive wave of likes and comments from netizens. At first they were just curious about this MV launched by Huayan. When they saw it was written and composed by Bufang, they felt anticipation. But now, after watching it all the way through, they were completely moved. Empathy was the most direct feeling in everyone's heart. The video shot from the bottom straight to the trending list, firmly holding the #1 spot. In Huayan's meeting room, a sudden burst of cheers erupted. Lindsay clenched his fists in excitement, silently watching the rapidly climbing numbers. So everyone did feel something. They just hadn't had time to process it yet. Half an hour later, this buzz wasn't just on the combined rankings of Xiaodoxin, Yohegang, and Gentingshi, but had also spread to Weibo. The Weibo trending list was all topics about this MV. Netizens were discussing it endlessly. Then, some netizen not sure who was the first, saw that Huayin had uploaded a pure version of the song, just ordinary, and set it to free. At that moment everyone who had watched the MV rushed to comment and rate it under Huayin's platform, downloading it and adding it to their favorites, pushing up the download count, and hitting like, share, and subscribe. Within that single day the entire Chinese entertainment industry was shaken, no matter which entertainment company or individual. After watching this video, they silently reposted it. Such buzz. They're incredibly envious, but they can't even begin to match it. All they can do is quietly ride the coattails of that heat, forcing their way forward in life. And now Shen Yuqiu, curled up in your arms, sobbing softly, clutching the corner of your shirt, wiping her tears and snot all over it, looking all pitiful and wronged, making your heart ache for her. It is just watching a video. She cried. That is fine. Why does she look so wronged? Shen Yuqiu finally realized what you had been busy with outside these past few days. Creating such a song and working with Huayin to help her secure that unrealistic contract. What exactly did you go through? She had no idea. What upset her was that you did so much outside, and didn't even tell her when you came back. Did you suffer any losses because of this? Did anyone give you a hard time? And how much energy did it take to create such a song? Meanwhile, at the city center, Tianmei Entertainment's branch office, Liu Li's face was so gloomy, it looked like it could drip water. Her agent sister Qin also looked terrible. The room was filled with a stifling atmosphere. Only Zhao Chuchu was off to the side, secretly smiling, looking quite smug and gleeful. Liu Li shot a sharp glance at her agent. She grew more convinced that this aging woman was utterly useless. Sister Qin wasn't her song originally, set to launch on Huayin at the end of July. What is going on now? The song got pulled. They told me to launch it in early August instead. The company's promotion has already been released. I just bought trending topics, and then they not only delayed my song without a word, but also hijacked all the trending topics. Sister Qin, you've always been in charge of this. You need to give me an explanation. Sister Qin's face grew even darker. She was already in a bad mood over what happened. Now Liu Li was yelling at her, and she became even more furious. You want an explanation from me? If you've got the guts, go talk to Huayin. Why are you taking it out on me? Who knew some bufan would pop out of nowhere? One song actually made Huayin release their MV early. If she didn't still depend on Liu Li for her livelihood, Sister Qin wouldn't even bother with her. So what do we do now? Liu Li's tone was still sharp, and Qin frowned. They were in the same boat now. She couldn't afford to fall out with them yet. She let out a sinister laugh. This is what we do. Hearing this, Liu Li knew there was no other choice. She silently cursed Bufan in her mind. It was all his fault for stealing the spotlight. That should have been hers. When Liu Li turned around and saw Zhao Chu nearby, covering her mouth and snickering, she became even more furious. Zhao Chuchu, can't you see the mess over here? Get over here and clean it up now. Her voice was shrill and piercing, making Zhao Chuchu couldn't help but dig at her ear. Oh, sorry about that. My contract expired today, and I've already submitted my resignation. I'm done playing maid, Zhao Chuchu said, bursting into laughter, then sat back in her chair, crossed her legs and leisurely sipped her tea. Liu Li shot up from her seat, pointed at Zhao Chuchu, her face cycling through shades of blue, purple, and white, and couldn't get a word out for a long time. Now, after lunch, your family of 3 happily took a cab out. In the afternoon you arrived at the forest store right on time. Welcome, sir. Ma'am, do you have any model in mind? The salesperson, Size lit up with several years of sales experience. She knew that 80% of families like this making a car visit would close a deal. You nodded. You and Shen Yuqiu had done some homework at home beforehand, picking out the model you wanted before coming. Do you have the H9, the top trim? Yes, we do. Hearing that you indeed had a model in mind, the salesperson, Size grew even brighter. The cheapest H9 top trim would still be over 30 grand out the door. Sir, we actually have the H9 top trim in stock right now. 2 of them. In fact, one in flowing sand gold and one in gentian purple. Which one would you like to see first? The salesperson chatted away as she led the 3 of you into the store. Gentian purple. It looks deeper. That is exactly what you'd already decided at home. Gentian purple looks classier. And you won't lose face when you are out and about. Sir, you have great taste. Gentian purple really suits your wife. Style, the salesman said, as he led you to the car and introduced. This is the top tier, H9 in gentian purple. Sir, go ahead and sit inside to try it. You let out a chuckle. Let me hold the one, yo. You noticed that when Shen Yuqiu saw this car, her eyes lit up noticeably. Clearly, she was quite pleased with it. Shen Yuqiu was a bit shy. Her cheeks slightly flushed, but she mustered up the courage and handed Wang to you. Then sat inside. She had fantasized before about having a car of her own, thinking that today it had actually come true. The car was great, sleek lines yet still bold. Seeing Shen Yuqiu couldn't bear to let it go, you felt even happier. You grandly pulled out your bank card and driver's license, handing them to the salesman. This is the one. Full payment card swipe. The salesman's grin stretched almost ear to ear. Yes, sir. I'll make sure you get the biggest discount. Let me go prepare the paperwork. You didn't wait long. The salesman came back with the purchase contract and all the necessary documents. Everyone walked over to the table in the lounge and sat down. Sir, for full payment, we can offer you a price of 385,000 RMB, including insurance and license plate registration. And we'll throw in a full set of seat covers and a car cover. You can pick up the car tomorrow. You nodded. Without a second thought, you entered your PIN. After all the paperwork was done, you arranged with the salesman to pick up the car tomorrow morning, then left the store feeling pleased. You got home at 5 p.m. Just as you walked in, you got a call from Li Xia, Director Li's office. Now the internet is flooded with news about that MV and you. You're completely famous now. Congratulations to us both. I'm not exactly looking for that kind of fame, but your company must have gained a lot from this, right? You said with a grin. We owe it all to you, our great talent. Let's get down to business. When is Shen Yuqiu coming to check in? On the other end of the line, Li Xia teased you, then asked with a laugh. You glanced at the sofa, pricking up her ears. Shen Yuqiu, who was eavesdropping on your phone call, smiled. In a couple of days, at the latest. The third, there are still some things at home. I'll head over once I've taken care of them. Okay, then I'll be here waiting for her arrival. Li Xia was curious. What kind of woman could make you go to such lengths for her? What would her personality be like? The Force dealership was very efficient. At 10 a.m. the next day, the salesperson called to inform them that the car had been registered and insured. It was ready for pickup anytime. The task of picking up the car was given to Shen Yuqiu. You didn't go with him. Instead, you stayed home looking after Wang. Shen Yuqiu arrived at the Force dealership. She successfully picked up the car. After taking it for a test drive, she drove into the city. She wanted to find Chuchu and Sister Yu. and bring them both to Star Entertainment. Shen Yuqiu had already made up her mind. She would report to Star Entertainment tomorrow. Even though you said she could go later, she didn't want to. She had her own little agenda, besides singing being her dream. She also didn't want to be just a pretty face, relying solely on you. At that moment, Shen Yuqiu didn't know that Zhao Chu had already resigned. She drove to a spot near the Tianmei Entertainment building and only then called Zhao Chu. She wanted to surprise her. The call was quickly answered. Shen Yuqiu had a smile on her face. Her voice even sounded bright. Guess where I am? Zhao Chu was in her rented room, packing her things after resigning. She planned to head back to her hometown. She had already decided. It was at that moment that she received Shen Yuqiu's call. Sister Shen, where else would you be if not at home, silly? I'm downstairs at your company. Come down quick. I have something to tell you. Then Sister Shen, wait a moment. I'll be right there. Zhao Chu suddenly got a bit flustered. Why did Sister Shen come all the way to her company building? She didn't quite know how to tell Shen Yuqiu about her resignation and return to her hometown. Luckily, Zhao Chu's rented apartment wasn't far from Tianmei Entertainment Tower. Soon, she ran downstairs, panting heavily. She looked around left and right until she heard a voice. Chu, I'm over here. She turned to look and saw Shen Yuqiu getting out of a brand new car. She was waving at her. Sister Shen, you bought a car. Zhao Chu's eyes curved into a beautiful smile. She quickly walked over to Shen Yuqiu, staring at the brand new car beside her. She was utterly stunned. That man actually bought Sister Shen a car. Wasn't he treating her badly? Shen Yuqiu smiled and nodded. She took Zhao Chu's hand. Just bought it. I came today to talk something over with you. Are you free? Zhao Chu then noticed. This time, Shen Yuqiu seemed different from the last time she'd seen her. Her skin was much more radiant. Her face was a little rounder. Her complexion was noticeably better. Most importantly, that confidence about her seemed to have returned. Seeing her former assistant, Shen Yuqiu's eyes sparkled with hope. She directly took her hand. Chu, come back and be my assistant again. Let's get Sister Yun on board too. I'm making a comeback. As soon as she said this, Zhao Chu froze. She couldn't believe her ears. But the next second, she jumped up excitedly. I knew it. There's always a way out. I just resigned. We can fight side by side again. Yet Shen Yuqiu was stunned. She only then realized that Chu had already quit. Instantly, a huge wave of guilt and sorrow washed over her. I'm sorry. I was way too stubborn before. It is all because of me that I dragged you and Sister Yun down. You have to look to the future. I'm making a comeback now. Then she asked, do you know where Sister Yun is? Let's go find her now. Zhao Chu immediately gave the address. Got it. Sister Yun must be at the hospital taking care of Ma. Shen Yuqiu wasted no time. She directly told Chu to get in the car. The two rushed to the hospital. But in the car, Zhao Chu looked at the brand new interior and suddenly asked curiously, does he know you're making a comeback? Shen Yuqiu nodded. The corners of her mouth lifted involuntarily. He knows. He even helped me negotiate the contract for this comeback. And he bought me this car too. One sentence left Zhao Chu sound with her mouth slightly open. He negotiated a contract for you. How is that possible? Sister Shen, you're not joking with me, are you? Shen Yuqiu shook her head. She dropped an even bigger bombshell. He negotiated the contract with Fanxing Entertainment for me. And it is the top-tier kind. Zhao Chu was completely dumbfounded. She couldn't figure it out. How could that man possibly land a top-tier contract? Seeing her silent, Shen Yuqiu continued. He has been really good to me now. Don't treat him that way anymore. Zhao Chu snapped back to reality. She pursed her lips and teased Sister Shen. Fiercely protective of your man. Ha, I'm jealous. The kind that can't be soothed. Shen Yuqiu's pretty face flushed, but she didn't deny it. Soon they arrived at the hospital. Standing outside Ward 302 of the inpatient building, Shen Yuqiu felt uneasy. But the moment she knocked and saw Sister Yun, her tears almost spilled out. Sister Yun, who originally had jet black hair, had actually grown white hairs. Her tough face was etched with weariness. This appearance was exactly like how Shen Yuqiu used to be. When Sister Yun saw Shen Yuqiu, she also froze completely. She stared blankly at her. The two looked at each other, momentarily speechless. It was Zhao Chu who first ran in to break the ice. Sister Yun, Sister Shen and I came to find you. Sister Yun finally snapped out of it. Frantically wringing her hands, she said, why didn't you say something beforehand? Look at me like this. She forced a smile and said Mom's health is still okay. One more surgery and she'll be fully recovered. But there was a trace of bitterness hidden in that smile. She had reached the end of her rope. She still owed over $100,000. The money for the next surgery. How was she supposed to come up with it? Shen Yuqiu walked into the ward, head down, biting her lip, like a child who had done something wrong. But Sister Yun walked over to her, took her hand. A relieved smile spread across her face. You came to see me. I'm really happy. Seeing you like this now makes me even happier. It means you're doing pretty well. Back then, Sister Yun holding you back was for your own good. Don't hold it against me. In that moment, Shen Yuqiu couldn't hold it together anymore. Sister Yun, I'm sorry. She threw herself into Sister Yun's arms. Tears streamed down like raindrops. Sister Yun gently patted her on the back and soothed her in a soft voice. No need to apologize. What mother would blame her own child? I've truly treated you like my own daughter. Hearing this, Shen Yuqiu cried even harder. Sister Yun just kept holding her, patting her until she had cried herself out. She lifted her red, swollen eyes and looked at Sister Yun's gentle smile. Shen Yuqiu pursed her lips. Sister Yun, I'm making a comeback. Will you still be my agent? Hearing this, Sister Yun froze for a moment. Her brow instantly furrowed. What about your child? Don't worry. That guy is taking care of her. In Sister Yun's eyes, Lu Fan was hardly the kind of teacher who knew how to raise a child. But Shen Yuqiu nodded firmly. Lu Fan is Wang Wang's father. He'll take good care of Wang Wang. I trust him. Sister Yun rubbed her temples, pushing down the doubts in her mind. Even if he can take care of the child, making a comeback isn't easy. Do you have a company that will sign you? And what kind of resources will the company give you?
Before she even finished,
Shen Yuqiu immediately pulled a contract out of her bag and handed it over. Sister Yun, look, this is the contract from Star Entertainment. Seeing the name Star Entertainment, Sister Yun froze instantly. That was one of the 3 biggest players in the country. She took the contract, half doubtful, and started flipping through it carefully. But the more she read, the more shocked she became. Towards the end, her hands were already trembling slightly. What kind of dream contract is this? Did Shen Yuqiu kidnap the boss of Star Entertainment? Top-tier resources, no restrictions on freedom, a short 2-year contract. This is practically a one-sided deal. Sister Yun's head shot up. Her voice was shaking. Is this real? There is even Star Enter. Shen Yuqiu quickly, afraid she wouldn't believe her, but Sister Yun was completely stunned, just staring blankly at her. The terms in this contract, she had never seen anything like it in her whole career. As an agent, it is too absurd. Is Star Entertainment crazy? Sister Yun, I'm going to reporting tomorrow. Seeing that she still didn't believe, Shen Yuqiu had to emphasize again. This time, Sister Yun finally believed her, but the shock on her face didn't fade at all. Yuqiu, tell me honestly, how did you manage to sign this contract? Shen Yuqiu finally breathed a sigh of relief. Her cheeks flushed slightly. Lu Fan went to Shanghai to get it for me. He wrote a song for Star Entertainment. One sentence made Sister Yun question her entire life. Lu Fan writing a song got you a contract is insane. That is absolutely ridiculous. It is beyond any reasonable expectation. Yuqiu, don't blame me for not believing him. He can write songs. Even if he can, what kind of song could be worth a contract like this? Don't let him fool you. He really did write a song. Seeing Sister Yun still didn't believe, Shen Yuqiu immediately took out her phone and opened the account called Bu Fan on the platform. Sister Yun took the phone, half believing, half doubting. Zhao Chuchu, beside her, leaned into. The next second, oh my god, over 100 million likes. Zhao Chu shouted dramatically, then quickly covered her mouth. This is a hospital room. Even Sister Yun was stunned. What kind of video has over 100 million likes? Then she saw the account name, Bufan, followed by Huayin, co-created, Bufan and Huayin. Sister Yun was instantly confused. She looked up, and an absurd thought popped into her head. Bufan is Lu Fan. Zhao Chuchu also gasped under her breath. Ah, Bufan, that guy who is the hottest and most mysterious on the whole internet right now. Seeing the shock on their faces, Shen Yuqiu's face turned even redder.
Yeah.
Now Sister Yun finally snapped out of it completely. With a complicated look, she handed the phone back to Shen Yuqiu. Shen Yuqiu has a bright future ahead. Of course, she was happy for her. But the next second, she let out a sigh. Yuqiu, with your background, you can definitely find a better agent. I'll just step aside. Why? Sister Yun, are you abandoning me? Shen Yuqiu exclaimed. Sister Yun glanced toward the hospital room, her face full of helplessness. You saw it. Your mother needs looking after. I really can't leave. We can hire a nurse. But Sister Yun looked reluctant. She didn't have the money to hire one. Yuqiu, don't try to talk me out of it. This is a great opportunity. You have to make the most of it. Stop being so willful from now on. With that, Sister Yun forced herself to turn away. She wouldn't look at her anymore. Shen Yuqiu bit her lip. She didn't understand. Why was Sister Yun so unwilling to come with her? She came with hope, and left disappointed. Shen Yuqiu stayed silent the whole way back. After dropping off Zhou Chu, she drove home alone. But when the door opened, and you saw her, you couldn't help but freeze. She was crying. Did it go smoothly? You asked directly. But the moment you finished, Shen Yuqiu's face instantly fell. She plopped down onto the sofa. Seeing you feels like finding my only support. My eyes start to well up again. Sister Yun wouldn't go with me. You frown. Why? Isn't that stern woman in my memory the one who dotes on Shen Yuqiu the most? Then Shen Yuqiu tells you everything that happened at the hospital. All pitifully, you listen silently, until she finishes. Then you nod thoughtfully. I see you suddenly stand up. You know, you're such a fool. Stay home with Wang Wan. I'm going out. Where are you going? Shen Yuqiu looks unhappy. Not sure if it is because you called her a fool, or because she doesn't want you to leave. You turn back with a slight smirk. I'm going to find someone who is very important to you. With that, you walk out the door. First you find the housekeeping company, then you drive straight to the hospital. But you don't go directly to Sister Yun. Instead you first find the attending doctor. After learning everything about Sister Yun's mother from the doctor, you head up to the inpatient floor. Arriving outside room 302, you compose yourself. Your face turns into a cold, indifferent expression. You knock softly on the door. The next second, the door opens. Sister Yun appears with slightly reddened eyes. She freezes for a moment when she sees you, but you speak calmly and assertively. Sister Yun, aren't you going to let me in? Sister Yun frowns, but still steps aside to let you in. As soon as you step into the room, an elderly woman with graying hair and a thin bony frame looks over. Is this your friend? Before Sister Yun can answer, you quickly walk to the bedside, grasping the old woman's hand. Auntie, my wife is Sister Yun's friend. She came by before. Saw you were sleeping. Hearing this, the old woman immediately shows a warm, kind smile. Oh, so you're Xiao Yun's friends. You're so thoughtful. You immediately respond. We're the lucky ones to have Sister Yun as a friend. My wife talks about how wonderful Sister Yun is every day at home. I'm sick of hearing it. You're starting to nag. It is just that this time, my wife wanted to go with Sister Yun, but she worries about your health. She doesn't want to go. You don't know. My wife came home crying, so heartbroken. Sister Yun behind you suddenly changed her expression. In her mind, you're a persuader sent by Shen Yuqiu. What job? Sister Yun's mother didn't know the specifics of her daughter's job. Upon hearing this, her graying eyebrows immediately furrowed. Mom, don't listen to his nonsense. There is no such job. Sister Yun shot you. A glare and quickly explained. But the old lady wasn't stupid. She promptly grabbed your hand back. Young man, tell me, what exactly is this job? You pretended to be troubled. You glanced at Sister Yun, then slowly began to speak. Auntie, this job requires business trips. We originally wanted to hire a nanny for you, but Sister Yun couldn't bear to leave you. She insisted on taking care of you herself. Xiao Yun, you, this child. The old lady heard this, immediately turned to look at her daughter. The job requires business trips. Then you should go. Sister Yun got anxious, and she hated you even more in her heart. You know she wanted to stay here. The real reason is that he can't leave. Where would he get the money to hire a nanny? They don't even have the money for the next surgery yet. Just then, you calmly spoke up. Sister Yun, let's go outside and talk. After saying that, you smiled at the old lady, then turned and walked out of the hospital room. Sister Yun gritted her teeth and followed. In the hallway, Sister Yun glared at you angrily. What exactly are you trying to do? But you looking down on her, as if stating a fact. You can think of me as a bad guy. I just don't want to make Shen Yuqiu sad. If you don't go with her, she'll keep worrying about you. At that point, even if she is fully enthusiastic, she can only give half of it. You paused, dropping a bombshell. By the way, I already paid for Auntie's next surgery, and I found a home care nurse for you. Here's the number. You pick who you want. You're throwing charity at me. Sister Yun let out an angry laugh, but you just shrugged like a thug. You're overthinking it. It is a loan from now on. It'll be deducted from the salary Shen Yuqiu pays you. You meet her eyes directly and say word by word. You and Chu Chu were brought in by Shen Yuqiu. This has nothing to do with the company. I don't care how much she pays you. Either way, this is my money, and you have to pay me back. You spread your hands, with an air of I couldn't care less. Anyway, I've already paid for the surgery, and the nurse. They won't give refunds. What you do next is up to you. With that, you didn't give Yun any time to react. You turned and left Lu Fan. Don't tell Shen Yuqiu. When you were almost at the door, Sister Yun's voice came from behind you. You didn't look back, just waved your hand, and quickly walked away. In the hallway, Sister Yun stared at the direction you disappeared. Her eyes were complicated. It was a long time before she returned to the ward. Xiao Yun, that young man is gone. Seeing her come in alone, the old lady patted the edge of the bed, motioning for her to sit down. Don't blame him. He is a good person. Mom has seen a lot of people. I can tell what kind of person he is just from his eyes. The old woman held her daughter's hand, speaking earnestly. Mom knows you're filial, but there are many roads in life. Pick the wrong one and you'll regret it. My health is pretty good, right? One more surgery and I'll be fully recovered. Even the doctor says the risk is low. Go ahead. If you end up regretting it because of me, that would truly break Mom's heart. Sister Yun lowered her head and was silent for a long time. Finally, she nodded slightly. As for you, You had just gotten home. Shen Yucho came over, her little face full of curiosity, but you deliberately didn't look at her. Wang Wang, what do you want for dinner? Shen Yucho's expression froze instantly. She looked at you in disbelief as you walked right past her. Anything dad makes is good. The little one was really supportive, completely oblivious to her mom's fallen expression. Then dad will go cook now. You gave the little one a kiss and turned to walk toward the kitchen.
Loof.
I'm mad. Shen Yucho pouted, face full of grievance. Her expression seemed to accuse you. How dare this guy ignore her like that? Did he have no idea how anxious she was waiting at home? You turned around looking innocent. What is wrong? That question made Shen Yucho even angrier. You called her dummy so sweetly when you left. Now you come back playing dumb. She plopped down on the sofa in a huff, arms crossed, turning her head to glare at you. You smiled, decided to stop teasing her. Make sure to take those 2 loyal bodyguards with you tomorrow. With your temper, if you don't bring them, you'll get bullied to death. Shen Yucho's eyes suddenly lit up. The speed of her mood swing amazed you. Sister Yun agreed. What do you think?
Alright.
I'm going to cook now. Don't bother me. Shen Yucho never got to ask how you pulled it off, because every time she asked, you'd play dumb. But that didn't matter at all. The way she looked at you grew brighter and brighter. She probably thought to herself, ever since you changed, there seemed to be nothing you couldn't do. Early the next morning, Shen Yucho got up. You also for once didn't go for a run. The 2 of you silently made breakfast together in the kitchen. Wang Wang was still asleep. Shen Yucho was afraid she couldn't bear to leave if she saw her wake up. Breakfast was ready. She ate quietly. You sat beside her. Make sure to call often when you get there. I'll probably miss you tonight. If anything happens outside, make sure to let me know. Don't keep it all to yourself like a fool. Shen Yucho slowly sipped her congee. Listening to you talk, she suddenly felt a pang of loss. She didn't really want to leave anymore. She ate this meal extremely slowly, until her bowl was completely empty. Just then, her phone rang. You reminded her, and she snapped out of it. She picked up the call. Hello, Sister Shen. I'm all set. Sister Yun is with me. When are you coming? I'll be there soon. Just hang on a little longer. Okay, then I'll see you downstairs at my place. Don't be late. The call ended. Shen Yucho looked up at you. The complicated look in her almond-shaped eyes made your heart skip a beat. You had to admit, Shen Yucho was truly beautiful. You quickly turned your head toward the luggage in the living room. Time to go. Don't keep them waiting too long. I'll just take one last look at Wang Wang before I leave. Shen Yucho averted her gaze. Her voice was very soft. You nodded and walked into the bedroom with her. The little one was fast asleep, sprawled out like a starfish, completely unaware that her mother was about to leave on a long trip. Shen Yucho leaned down and kissed her little face again and again. Then she buried her face in the crook of her neck and nuzzled her. Only then did she reluctantly stand up. She kept looking back as she walked out of the bedroom. You silently followed her, helped her load her luggage into the car, watched her sit in the driver's seat. Then you closed the car door and walked around to the other side. I'm off. Shen Yucho turned her head to look at you. Remember to come home often, otherwise the little one will throw a fit. Got it. The car started. Suddenly, Shen Yucho turned her head again. Her expression was dead serious. Lu Fan, I like you. As soon as the words left her mouth, before you could even react, the car sped away. She drove all the way to the city center. Zhao Chuchu had already been waiting impatiently. The sister Yu next to her shook her head. This girl is still so impatient. Sister Shen, you're here. Seeing Shen Yucho's car. Chuchu, have you been waiting long? Shen Yucho took Zhao Chu's, then she looked at Sister Yun meaningfully. Not long. Mainly this girl was too impatient. Sister Yun had a smile on her face. She never imagined that the 3 of them would have a reunion like this. And all this was because of that man who looked like a pretty boy. Sister Yun, thank you for coming. Without you and Chuchu, I wouldn't know what to do. Enough, you're a mother now. Still acting like a child. Sister Yun patted her hand with a composed expression. You should be thanking your man instead. Anyway, let's go get the luggage. This made Shen Yucho blush instantly. She still didn't know. How did you convince Sister Yun? The 3 of them didn't have much luggage. The car easily fit everything. After getting in the car, Zhao Chuchu waved her hand and shouted excitedly, let's go. The bright road ahead. We're coming. The car sped all the way toward the Magic City. At the same time, at the Starry Entertainment building in the Magic City, Li Xia arrived at the office early, but was restless all day. She barely made it to noon. She calculated the time and immediately went downstairs. She arrived at the entrance of the building, just wanting to see what kind of person was the wife that guy doted on so much. What kind of person she really was. She didn't wait long. A car with Jiangchang plates pulled into the parking lot. Li Xia narrowed her eyes slightly. 3 people got out of the car. One was chattering, youthful and lively. Another was older, with a face full of affection. Seeing these 2 friends, she knew Shen Yucho's personality is definitely not bad. Then she turned her gaze to the woman in the middle. An oval face with almond-shaped eyes. A gentle smile lingered on her face. It made you feel for her just looking at her. No wonder that guy Lu Fan was so captivated. Li Xia composed herself. She hurried forward. Hello, you must be Shen Yucho. I'm Li Xia, deputy head of HR at Star Entertainment. Welcome aboard. Hello, I'm Shen Yucho. Shen Yucho's voice was soft and sweet. She was also sizing up this elegant woman. Genshin, what great presence. Genshin, nice voice, and surprisingly pure and clean as a person. But Li Xia was thinking to herself, such a lovely woman. How did Lu Fan manage to whisk her away with a contract back then? She unusually looked away first. Then she turned to Zhao Chuchu and Sister Yun. And you two are? Zhao Chuchu, my assistant. Sister Yun, my agent. Shen Yucho answered earnestly, but she felt that this elegant woman was being very polite to her. Yet her reaction seemed a bit off. Shen Yucho tilted her head in confusion. Suddenly, as if she thought of something, her eyes dimmed a little. Bringing your own team. Ha, that works. Saves trouble. Li Xia nodded to the 2 of them, then turned back. Alright, let me give you a tour first. After all, you'll be working here for the next 2 years. After the tour, I'll take you to the apartment. They followed Li Xia into the building. Zhao Chushu was completely blown away along the way. This place was way more luxurious than Tianmei Entertainment. In Jiangchang, they could spot trending celebrities everywhere. This was nothing like the Tianmei branch. You see, back in Jiangchang, even a second-tier singer like Liu Lei could throw her weight around. Li Xia took them straight up to the 11th floor in the elevator, enthusiastically explaining that this floor was all recording studios, filled with top-notch professional equipment. Next, let's go to the 12th floor. That is where the exclusive lounges for singers are, for composing and receiving notifications. Along the way, people kept greeting Li Xia, all with faces full of strange flattery. Shen Yucho was even more confused. Why, when these people saw her, did their eyes carry such envy? Shen Yucho didn't understand. Wasn't Li Xia just the deputy director of the Human Resources Department? Why did everyone look at her so strangely? Even more bizarre, she saw a man, wearing a badge that said Director of Human Resources. A bald man, who voluntarily stopped to greet Li Xia. He even greeted her. Shen Yuchu responded, a little flattered, thinking that this director Zhang Hao had such a good temper. After all, back at Tianmei, every boss had their nose in the air. Just then, Li Xia stopped at the end of the hallway. She pointed to the room in front of them. This is your private lounge from now on. Shen Yuchu looked up. The door was tightly shut, with a keypad lock on the door plate. Her name was written clearly. As Li Xia entered the code, she explained, the initial code is 66. You can change it later. Come on, take a look. The door opened. They walked into the room. Zhao Chuchu immediately let out a whoa. This lounge is huge. The decor is so luxurious. Even Shen Yuchu was stunned. She had never seen such a lavish lounge. Zhao Chuchu felt like she could faint from happiness. Thinking back to the cramped room at Tianmei, there was truly no comparison without harm. If it weren't for outsiders, she would really want to flop onto the sofa and roll around. Li Xia smiled at their delighted expressions. Not everyone gets this treatment. Top-tier resources. So of course the lounge needs to be top-tier as well. Hearing this, Zhao Chuchu suddenly felt that Lu Fan wasn't so bad after all. By the time they came out, Zhao Chuchu was still basking in joy. Just then, the door next to them suddenly opened. An elegant noble woman stepped out in high heels, followed by a young assistant. When the woman saw them, a flicker of surprise crossed her face. Then she greeted Li Xia. Sister Li, you're personally showing people around the rooms. I'm heading out. Lena, there's a meet and greet this afternoon. Sister Li, you're busy, I'll be off now. After Lena finished speaking, she cast a glance at Shen Yuchu, then walked away gracefully on her high heels. Let's go too. Li Xia turned around, a smile back on her face. The upper floors are all meeting rooms, so I won't take you up there. Let's head straight to the apartment. We'll drop off the luggage, and then grab a meal. It is my treat. Shen Yuchu got the feeling she was being a little too warm. She had a good impression of the company today, but everything felt a bit off. Once they got in the elevator, Shen Yuchu quietly asked, Director Li, do you know Lu Fan well? Li Xia's smile froze. So that is how it is. Shen Yuchu's eyes narrowed slightly, a strange feeling stirring deep inside her. We're on decent terms. I was the one who received him when he came, and I've been handling the collaboration all along, so I got to know him a bit. Li Xia quickly regained her composure. Shen Yuchu just gave a soft in reply, then fell silent. They went downstairs, and Li Xia led the way in her gray Mercedes. Shen Yuchu followed slowly in her own car. As soon as Zhao Chuchu got in the car, she started gushing about how great everything was, without a care only when Sister Yun shot her look. Did she finally quiet down? Shenjie, what is wrong? Zhou Chu leaned over the front seat. Curious. I'm fine. Chuchu keep telling me about it. You say you're fine. Zhao Chuchu was puzzled. She turned to Sister Yun for help, but Sister Yun just smiled at Shen Yuchu and said nothing. She could see it right away. Someone here had fallen into a jealous fit. Back at home, you're totally stressed out. Your wife has only been gone half a day, and your daughter Wang Wang is already crying for her mom. You coax and plead, but she just cries even harder, shouting, Daddy's a bad guy. He hit mommy. You force a grin and sing Little Tiger, but Wang Wang's little teardrops keep falling one by one. She kicks her feet stubbornly, like she won't stop until she sees her mom. You scratch your head. What do you do now? It is not like you can just call Shen Yuchu back right away.
She'd laugh her head off at you.
Just then, the phone on the table suddenly rang. You glanced at it, and the next second, your eyes lit up. A lifesaver. It was a WeChat message from Shen Yuchu. Just 2 words. You there? You quickly replied. Of course I am. Had lunch today with Minister Li. Without thinking twice, you quickly tapped the video call. Shen Yuchu's cool, pretty face appeared on the screen. You immediately put on a sycophantic smile and pointed the phone at Wang Wang. Mommy, Wang Wang misses you. But Shen Yuchu's face instantly turned cold. Lu Fan, is this what you call taking good care of Wang Wang? You pretended not to hear. Then you saw Wang Wang looking at her mother wiping her tears pitifully. Mommy, did daddy hide you away? Don't you want Wang Wang anymore? Shen Yuchu immediately softened her voice to soothe Wang Wang. Be good, sweetie. Mommy just went out to work. I'll be home soon. The little one actually stopped crying. Bit by bit, your heart instantly took a 10,000. Turn below. You made faces and sang, but none of it worked as well as her one sentence. After soothing his daughter, you turned the phone toward yourself, eyes shifty. But Shen Yuchu immediately threw a question at you. Can you really take care of a child? You got flustered. Who do you think you're looking down on? Today was just an accident. If I go out, you wouldn't be able to calm Wang Wang down either. But Shen Yuchu just gave you a deep look. Her eyes slightly narrowed. Then she asked, feigning indifference. You were pretty close with Minister Li. Not bad. You answered casually, completely unaware you were already dancing on the edge of death. Not bad. Shen Yuchu repeated it softly. You inexplicably felt a chill run down your spine. You pulled your clothes tighter. But the next second, she shot you a glare and hung up the video call. Only then did you realize belatedly. She was angry, out of nowhere. You were totally caught in the crossfire. For the next 2 days in a row, Shen Yuchu called home every day. But each time she only talked to her daughter. She wouldn't give you the time of day. Like you owed her 8 million. Yet you had no idea. That's right then. Shen Yuchu's career was in dire straits. The company hadn't given her any jigs. Her manager, Sister Yu, had reached out to every songwriter. But as soon as they heard he was planning a comeback, they all politely turned her down. A washed-up singer who'd been out of the scene for 2 years. Who would write songs for him? They had already been abandoned by the entire industry. Meanwhile, Shen Yuchu was still agonizing over composing. She'd been trying all day and night, but still couldn't find inspiration. She couldn't help thinking of you. If you were here, you'd definitely write a better song. Thinking of this, she couldn't help feeling a bit frustrated, feeling like she wasn't as good as you in any way. Just then, her assistant Zhao Chuchu suddenly sat up. Sister Shen, why don't you go ask Lu Fan? Shen Yuchu hesitated. She had left specifically to stop relying on you. She thought for a long time before finally speaking. Let's wait another 2 days. If it doesn't work out, I'll call him then. But what she didn't know was, at that very moment, in the meeting room of Star Entertainment, a meeting that would decide her fate was taking place. In front of Chairman Li Tianlei, an invitation document. Star Song Gala, the most famous styling show in Huago. We have 2 slots. Let's discuss. Who should go? A refined man with gold-rimmed glasses. Operations. Director Yin Ping spoke up first. I think Chen Chen could go. She is sweet-looking and popular. Most people nodded in agreement. Li Tian immediately made a call. Chen Chen gets 1 spot. What about the other one? As soon as he finished speaking, HR Director Zhang Hao suddenly stood up. Chairman, Shen Yuchu. Li Tian then remembered. Isn't she the one you recommended? But before he could say anything, that critic jumped in again to object. Director Zhang, even an amateur will be better than her. She has no popularity, no work to speak of. She quit the industry to get married. The audience's impression of her is terrible. But Zhang Hao argued forcefully. That is exactly why. We should pick her. I've heard her earlier songs. She's a great singer, and she's beautiful too. Why can't we pick her? Yin Ping frowned full of contempt. Director Zhang, you're in charge of HR. I'm in charge of operations. I know better than you. that what the singer needs most is popularity. We're not a charity. Why should we give her a stage? But then Zhang Hao suddenly grinned smugly and dropped a bombshell. Director Yi, you're talking about popularity. Then do you know who recommended Shen Yuchu? Let me ask you, Director Yin, how popular is Bufan? What if he writes songs for Shen Yuchu Bufan? Hearing that name, Yin Ping immediately, shut up. Did he dare say Bufan wasn't popular? That was a top streamer with over 100 million likes on his MV and 50 million fans. Yin Ping glared at Zhang Hao gloomily and asked reluctantly, are you sure Bufan will write songs for Shen Yuchu? Just then, Chairman Li Qian finally spoke up and sealed the deal. Stop arguing, notified Chen Chen and Shen Yuchu. The meeting adjourned. Zhang Hao walked out cheerfully, having finally gotten one over on his rival. He couldn't be happier. At the same time, the entire entertainment industry was stirred up by the launch of Star Music Festival. After the meeting, many people from the company were buzzing about the Star Music Festival launch, but the lack of planning silenced the organization. At the same time, Liu Li from Tianmei Entertainment also got the news. Her agent, Sister Qing, burst in excitedly and shouted, Liu Li, great news. The company is letting you go on Star Music Festival, and they're even getting a famous songwriter to write a song for you. Liu Li froze instantly, the nail polish in her hand smeared. She whipped around, her eyes full of disbelief. The Star Music Festival, that can push me into the top tier. After getting a positive answer, she jumped straight up from her chair. I'm about to blow up. When she heard the name of the person writing the song for her, she got even more carried away. Music godfather Wu Mian. That is a sure thing. Me and Wu Mian. A power duel. Haha. Sister Qing looked at her arrogant manner, could only sigh helplessly. Just as Liu Li was getting carried away, your wife Shen Yuchu also got a call from the company. Same content. Participating Star Song Festival. In 3 days. After hanging up, she was completely dumbfounded. Her assistant, Zhao Chuchu, was even more excited to the point of craziness. Grabbed her shoulders and shook her heart. Sister Shen, really? Star Song Festival. But after the excitement, a huge problem lay before them. They had no song. Agent Sister Yun's face was full of gravity. Having the Star Song Festival as a stage is a good thing, but we must have a great song. They immediately divided the work. Sister Yun frantically contacted lyricists and composers she knew before, while Shen Yuchu could only bury herself in writing, hoping to create a miracle. At this time, you knew nothing about it. You were still at home teaching your daughter Wang Wang to sing nursery rhymes. You were wearing a big bad wolf headpiece, making her giggle. After putting Wang Wang to sleep at 7 p.m., you finally got some quiet time. You kept thinking, what song to prepare for Shen Yuchu? But there were too many hit songs in your mind, and you lost your train of thought instead. Feeling irritated, you opened your phone, and all you saw when scrolling were your songs. Fans even turned Wang Wang's expressions into memes. You looked at your phone, couldn't help a dry smile. Babe, how is it going on your end? When will you ever reach out to me first? You kept scrolling through videos, and found that besides your songs, the hottest thing online was the Star Song Festival. They say this competition is once a year. Whoever goes on it blows up. The format is simple and brutal. Head to head lose and you're out. You had zero interest in it, and even found the algorithm a bit annoying. Swipe a few times and then shut it down and go to sleep. But the very next morning, a phone call directly wakes you up. It turns out to be Shen Yuchu's assistant, Zhao Chushu. Her voice on the other end is extremely low, like she's sneaking around. You need to do something. Shen, she's gone crazy. You furrow your brow, instantly wide awake. What happened? Shen wants to join Star Song Summit, but we don't have a song to write one. She hasn't slept all night. You suddenly get a headache. Only then do you remember. The contract clearly states you're supposed to write songs for her. Here you are, racking your brains, while over there, the house is on fire. Got it, I'll call her. After hanging up, you immediately dial Shen Yuchu. She picks up, her voice exhausted. Hello, is Wang Wang missing me? Your heart aches, you deliberately say. Wang Wang doesn't miss you. Can't you just call me? I'm your husband after all. This is the first time you've called yourself her husband in front of her. Dead silence on the other end. You sigh and break the silence. Why didn't you tell me you're joining Star Song Summit? Things that can be handled easily. Why make yourself so tired? In your eyes it's just a simple matter. But as soon as you finish, the other end suddenly bursts into muffled sobs. She's crying. You're completely stunned. What did I say, feelings? This stuff is way too hard to deal with. Just as you're at a loss, on the other end of the line, a tearful roar suddenly erupts. Lu Fan. Her voice is full of grievance. It makes your heart clench. You freeze. This is the first time you've heard her call you by your full name like that. Do you think I'm completely useless? That I only rely on you? You instantly realize that this is exactly how she's been thinking. It was your negligence. You hurriedly interrupted her with an apologetic smile. I'm sorry. I wasn't blaming you. I was just worried about your health. But the moment you said that, Shen Yuchu on the other end of the phone actually laughed. Her laugh was hurt and tinged with stubbornness. Then your voice became incredibly firm. You and Wang Wang are the best gifts heaven has given me. You are my wife, one of a kind. No one can replace you. These words hit like a bomb. It exploded inside her heart. Shen Yuchu's face turned bright red instantly. She let out a soft hum. Her mood clearly improved. Zhao Chuchu, who was watching from the side, had her eyes nearly popping out. You struck while the iron was hot. Don't let your mind wander like that anymore. I'll send you the song tonight. Shen Yuchu listened to your cocky words and burst out laughing. Then let me see what kind of song you, Mr. Lu, can actually write. She completely gave up, no longer tangled up in it. Once that tense string was let go, sleepiness hit her immediately. After hanging up the phone, you finally breathed a sigh of relief. Calming down your wife is harder than calming down a kid. Then you took out paper and a pen, but found yourself stuck again. There were too many epic songs in your head. Which one to choose? Just as you irritably opened the window, a young couple downstairs was saying goodbye. The boy was dragging a suitcase. The girl's eyes were teary. Love rises with the wind. When the wind stops, the emotion lingers. A flash of inspiration struck you. You had the answer in an instant. You quickly walked to the table and wrote down 3 characters. The wind rises. Notes flowed from the tip of your pen. You were completely immersed in it until your daughter Wang Wang called out, Dad, I'm hungry, which pulled you back to reality. You instantly broke into a smile. My little treasure is hungry. Daddy will cook right away. Your daughter's words are absolute orders. You didn't dare delay for even a second. You turned around and went straight into the kitchen. 2 hours later, the father and daughter, well fed and content, lay down directly on the sofa. Just then, Shen Yuchu's video call came in. Dark circles under her eyes, her face full of exhaustion. Seeing the two of you lounging around, she immediately put on a pitiful expression, her almond eyes glistening with tears, as if accusing, as if saying, I'm out here working hard, while you're at home enjoying yourselves. How could you withstand such a test? You immediately threw your hands up in surrender. I haven't been idle. The song is already written. Wang Wang also learned. You raised your little hand and said in a babyish voice, Wang Wang hasn't been idle either. I watched 2 fewer episodes of cartoons and learned 5 more numbers. Shen Yuchu burst out laughing. She admitted she can't compete with this little minx. Alright, our Wang Wang works the hardest. Come here, let mommy give you a kiss. The little one immediately blew her a kiss. You saw your chance brazenly leaning in. Haha, don't I get a reward too? The little one cheered on from the side. Shen Yuchu's face turned bright, red instantly. Finally, unable to withstand your enthusiasm, she gave a symbolic peck. Your heart soared with joy. You rushed into the bedroom and brought out sheet music. See, I didn't lie to you. The song's really written. Shen Yuchu rolled her eyes at you, full of charm, but inside, she was utterly astounded. It has only been a few hours, and the song is already out. This man is simply a prodigy. The family of 3 chatted a bit longer. Only then did you send her the complete score as a photo. You put down your phone, ready to take the kid out. Shen Yuchu's video call came again. When you answered, she stared directly at you with burning eyes. What is up? Your voice stammered. She mimicked your tone and asked back. Can't I call you if there is nothing wrong? She's not only beautiful, but also holds a grudge. You laughed awkwardly, but then she suddenly spoke. What exactly are you hiding from me? You scratch your head, face innocent. Shen Yuchu's face flushed. Her voice grew louder. I mean these songs of yours. For these you can only try to bluff your way through by touching your nose. What if I said I suddenly had an epiphany? Believe it or not, Shen Yuchu gave you a long deep look. She didn't press further. She looked down at the lyrics for a long moment. Then she spoke softly and sweetly. Thank you. Then she looked up and smiled. Her eyes were incredibly determined. I won't let this song be buried. The video call ended. Shen Yuchu knocked on Zhao Chuchu's door. Zhao Chuchu looked pleasantly surprised. Sister Shen, we have a song. Is it from Lufan? Oh man, this little girl let it slip. So it was her who leaked her predicament. Then Sister Yun was also called back by a phone call. Hearing they had a song, she was extremely excited. These past few days, she had been hitting walls everywhere. Now she finally didn't have to kowtow to anyone. The 3 of them rushed to Star Entertainment and headed straight to the recording studio. On the 11th floor, Shen Yucho decided she would weld herself here. Time flew by. Zhao Chucho took care of the background music and copyright. Only then did Shen Yucho come out of the recording studio. But just as they were about to go eat, the door opposite also opened. A girl walked out. She was startled when she saw Shen Yuchu, but still nodded friendlily. Shen Yuchu smiled back. However, the man behind her turned his nose up, wearing gold-rimmed glasses with an arrogant look. Shen Yuchu didn't recognize him. She turned around and left, but the man gave a cold snort. No sense of discretion. You don't even know to greet a superior when you see one. The girl named Chen Chen quickly explained. Uncle, she just got here. How could she recognize you? It turned out this man was the company executive Yin Ping, and Chen Chen was the singer who would compete with Shen Yuchu in the Star Song Festival. Even more unexpected was, Chen Chen was actually thinking to herself, she got a song from Bufan. It shouldn't be bad, right? Turns out she is also your fan. Over the next few days, Shen Yucho practiced like crazy, leaving early and coming back late every day. Yunjie posted her comeback announcement online. However, most of her mere few thousand followers were still bot accounts. The announcement went out, but it sank like a stone in the ocean. No ripples at all. Only a few old fans and some sharp little marketing accounts noticed. As soon as they saw the 3 words Star Song Gala, the traffic would pour in, right? So news of Shen Yucho's comeback began to appear across the internet, but most people didn't care at all about this faded star until the 7th of August. The Star Song Gala officially kicked off at the Magic City Stadium. However, the director of this year's Star Song Gala, Ren Chao, was very worried because the song by Bufan had been dominating the trending list. So the traffic for their Star Song Gala couldn't compare to previous years at all. But the annual Star Song Gala couldn't be postponed just because of one person. He had no choice but to tough it out and start this year's gala. Too bad they couldn't get in touch with Bufan. If they could get him to sit in as a judge at the Star Song Gala, the traffic would explode. But he never expected that. The big shot he couldn't even invite was right now sneaking around like a thief, holding a baby and quietly sitting in the audience. That is right. You hid it from your wife Shen Yuchu. Secretly bringing your daughter Wang Wang to Magic City just to cheer her on. In person, the little cutie in your arms was super excited because she would soon see her mom. You looked at the light sticks waving all over the venue, but not a single one was raised for your wife. You quietly opened the live stream, and the comments were flooding in. And again, not a single person supported Shen Yucho to win the championship. There were 4 trending spots, and one of them was that Lily who dared to lay her claws on your daughter. At the same time, backstage, undercurrents were swirling. Lily's face turned pale, staring intently at Shen Yucho. How are you here? Bestie Zhao Chuchu directly rolled her eyes and retorted on the spot, making her lose all face. Lily looked at today's radiant Shen Yuchu and actually recalled the fear of being suppressed by her for years. That feeling was like the return of a queen. She was defeated before the battle even started. Just then a word from her agent woke her up. Just a Shen Yuchu. She has got nothing now. Lily instantly regained her composure. Yeah right, what does Shen Yuchu have to compete with her now? Besides, she had a song from the godfather of music. With that thought, she gave Shen Yuchu a scornful glance. Then the stage lights outside blazed on. The host stepped up. 4 veteran music mentors took their seats. The competition officially began. The rules were brutally simple. 16 contestants. The audience would randomly call out to pair them up. No one could rig it this time. As the screen scrolled rapidly, 8 matchups were instantly formed. You looked at the match list and smiled. The next second, the host's voice echoed through the venue. Let's welcome the contestants for the first match. Shen Yuchu vs. Lily. The moment the words were spoken, a spotlight hit. Your wife Shen Yuchu and her arch rival Lily slowly walked onto the stage. A fateful showdown was imminent, but you noticed Shen Yuchu's hands trembling slightly. Sure enough, Shen Yuchu was starting to get nervous. Lily, on the other hand, looked grim. She hadn't expected the first match to go down like this, and to be pitted against Shen Yuchu. The audience erupted. Everyone was whispering about who this stunningly beautiful stranger was. You could see right away how nervous Shen Yuchu was. So you lifted your daughter Wang Wang high up in the air. In that moment, Wang Wang turned into a cheering sign. Her face curled into a crescent moon smile. She shouted with all her might, "Go mom!" On stage, Shen Yuchu suddenly spotted the familiar figures. She covered her mouth instantly. It was him and their daughter. All her anxiety disappeared in a flash. Her eyes blazed with unprecedented brilliance. She also curved her eyes, mirroring her daughter's crescent moon. Smile that tenderness melted the hearts of everyone in the audience. Then the host announced Shen Yuchu would sing first. The stage lights dimmed, only a single beam of light shone. On her, the intro music began. The venue fell silent instantly. Just then, the song title appeared on the big screen. The Wind Rises, and in the composer and lyricist column, 2 bold characters, Bofan. The entire audience gasped. This unknown singer had actually managed to get the mysterious Bofan to write a song for her. Backstage, Lily was dumbfounded. Her hands trembled uncontrollably. The next second, Shen Yuchu's ethereal voice began to fill the air. I was once lost in the vastness of the world, and drunk on love, and drowned in the dreamlike words within, not knowing truth from lies, making no struggle, unafraid of being laughed at. You could hear a pin drop in the venue. Everyone was completely immersed, as if seeing their own lost youth. Shen Yuchu was fully absorbed. Her gaze crossed the sea of people and looked toward the audience. They are the 2 most important people to her. In the end, I gave youth back to her, along with the midsummer that sprang from my fingertips. What my heart moved toward drifted away with the wind. In the name of love, are you still willing a divine song? Everyone, whether at the scene or in the live stream, saw that spring had returned. Countless familiar yet unfamiliar faces flashed through my mind, finally settling on the most unforgettable person from that youthful time. So this is what the Wind Rises really means. What it stirred up was the wind buried deep in their hearts. Called youth just then. A thud came from backstage. Lily collapsed onto the floor, her face ashen, her lips trembling. She didn't even have the courage to go on stage and sing. With flawless vocal technique and this unbeatable song, Shen Yuchu utterly tore apart her pride. Qingjie. The agent gave a bitter smile. Outclassed is outclassed. Even the judges on the panel showed looks of envy. The music faded. The entire venue fell into dead silence. Shen Yuchu looked at the audience, a bit at a loss. You slowly opened your eyes and saw her nervous expression. You smiled. At that moment, Wang Wang reached out her little hand and clapped hard for her mom. The next second, applause surged like a tidal wave. Thunderous applause filled the venue. The audience, tears in their eyes, offered their most fervent support to Shen Yuchu. Stage at the same time. The comments on the Star Song Fest livestream went absolutely crazy. As expected, this is no mere Wind Rises. It is bound to be a masterpiece. Shu Zhang is really amazing. This isn't the Wind Rises. This is a tornado. At that moment, no one remembered the disdain they had for Shen Yuchu earlier. They originally thought she was just there to fill a spot. The opening act was an absolute bombshell. Then Shen Yuchu bowed deeply. She took one last reluctant look at you and your daughter before retreating backstage. But the contest went on. Lily was next. At some point, she had already gotten back on her feet. Watching Shen Yuchu brush past her, all that was left inside her was a deep sense of powerlessness. She didn't even know how she managed to walk onto the stage. When the music started, she snapped back to reality, but it was already half a beat too late. Boos immediately erupted from the audience. That only made her even more panicked. The tune she sang went completely off. Key after she finished the song, the sparse hesitant applause from the crowd made her want to cover her face and flee. Backstage, director Ren Chao didn't care at all. As long as the ratings were through the roof, that was enough. The final voting result was no surprise. A crushing 5-0 votes victory. Just then, a message from Shen Yuchu came through. She asked to meet you at the backstage exit. You read it and immediately picked up Wang Wang and left early. But backstage, the moment Shen Yuchu appeared, Zhao Chuchu gave her a big hug. It is okay. Stop crying. Things will get better from now on. Shen Yuchu held her hand, her eyes full of determination. Let's go. Lu Fan is waiting for you at the door. Right now, all she wants is to see you instantly and hold Wang Wang in her arms. Outside the exit, it was already dark. As soon as Shen Yuchu stepped out, she saw you from afar, holding Wang Wang standing straight under the streetlight. At that moment, a feeling called happiness rushed into her heart, simple yet incredibly warm. Mommy Wang Wang broke free from your arms and ran toward Shen Yuchu with little steps. Shen Yuchu immediately crouched down and pulled her daughter tightly into her embrace. You walked over, looking at her with a smile. So, was this surprise good enough? Shen Yuchu's cheeks flushed, but she looked straight at you, her almond-shaped eyes curved. Very surprising. But none of you knew, this heartwarming scene had been completely caught by a pair of eyes. Lily's she was holding her phone, watching your figures walk away. A venomous glint flickers in her eyes. A brilliant plan to ruin Shen Yuchu takes shape in her mind in an instant. What she can't have, Shen Yuchu won't get either. At the same time, the internet had already blown up. Everyone was curious. Bu Fan, where on earth did he find a treasure like Shen Yuchu? But when they clicked on Shen Yuchu's Weibo, all they saw was a comeback announcement. Turns out she was a popular young star 2 years ago, with her content widely reposted. She left the industry because her relationship was exposed. As soon as this hot topic emerged, unscrupulous media immediately smelled blood and began wildly hyping it up. For a time, opinions online were sharply divided. Some felt that since she had left the industry, she shouldn't come back. Others felt that as long as her songs were good, her private life was nobody else's business. Some argued that once you quit, you should cut ties and never return, until a knockout statement appeared. Just ask if the songs are good or not. Instantly, all the critics fell silent. All they could force out was, they're good too. Just then, Fangsing Entertainment finally stepped in. A single announcement exploded across the internet. Not only congratulating Shen Yuchu on advancing, but also dropping a bombshell. In the next round, Shen Yuchu will still perform Bufan's songs. After appearing on Star Song Festival, she will also release a full album written by Bufan. What Buchu is taking over the whole album. Bufan is writing the entire album. The topic of Shen Yuchu and Bufan instantly shot to #1 on trending. However, a more vicious post was quietly climbing. Shen Yuchu, secret search for Bufan's song. She suddenly appeared at #10 on the trending list. The headline was shocking. Shen Yuchu had an extramarital affair with mysterious singer Bufan. The post confidently claimed that to make a comeback, she used her looks to seduce Bufan. Countless marketing accounts frantically reposted. Bufan is no good either. Although some fans firmly believed in Bufan's character, their voices were quickly drowned out. In just 1 hour, this post and Shen Yuchu's Weibo were pushed to #1 and #2 on trending, and at this moment, you had just finished your morning round completely unaware of all this. On the other side, Shen Yuchu, with dark circles under her eyes, dragging herself out of the room with no energy. She could sleep last night. Her mind was full of the scene of you holding her hand at the hotel. When Sister Yun and Zhao Chuchu saw her like that, they thought she had stayed up all night because of the trending topic. Zhao Chuchu rushed up to her with worry in her eyes. Sister Shen, what did Lu Fan say? Isn't she going to come out and clarify? This kind of thing is best for Lu Fan to clarify herself. If Shen Yuchu makes a statement, it will only backfire. But Shen Yuchu's mind was a total mess. She looked at Zhao Chu blankly. What clarification? What is wrong with Lu Fan now? Zhao Chuchu was speechless for a second. That is when she realized Shen Yuchu had no idea what was going on. She stomped her foot in frustration. Sister Shen, you're still thinking about him. He is fine, but you're the one in trouble now. You need to check your Weibo. Only then did Shen Yuchu realize something was wrong. She took out her phone and opened Weibo instantly. A flood of private messages and comments poured into view. When she tapped on those malicious private messages, her hand trembled involuntarily. Chu Wanning, go to hell. A public figure. Being a public figure. 9 out of 10 messages were insults against her. She exited the private messages and finally saw that post along with countless reposts by marketing accounts. After a moment, Shen Yuchu put down her phone and continued eating breakfast. Her expression was eerily calm, as if nothing had happened. But her being like that made Zhao Chuchu even more worried. Sister Shen, aren't you going to do something about it? But Shen Yuchu just patted her hand, trying to comfort her instead. Chuchu, the innocent are always innocent. But public opinion never cares if you live or die. Shen Yuchu's eyelashes trembled slightly. Inside her emotions were raging. But she knew, since you released the song anonymously, you didn't want to reveal your identity. So she couldn't expose you. At this moment, the whole internet was waiting for an explanation. They waited for a long time. And finally Shen Yuchu's Weibo was updated. Everyone couldn't wait to click on it. And then they all froze. There was no long public relations statement. Just 4 simple words. The innocent will prove their innocence. Now the online comments instantly became more aggressive. Meanwhile, inside the TMA Entertainment building, Lily was grinning from ear to ear, even though she got yelled at by the company. Seeing Shen Yuchu successfully dragged down by her, she felt immense joy. The online comments were all the same. All paid trolls and influencer accounts she hired, but as long as they could take down Shen Yuchu, She thought it was worth it. Sister Ching next to her, however, looked grim and thought Liuli had gone crazy. Liuli, you're framing her. If Bufan investigates this, you'll be completely finished. But Liuli scoffed dismissively. How am I framing her? If they had nothing going on, why would Bufan write a song for Shen Yuqiu? See, they didn't even explain, and they say the innocent will prove their innocence. Sister Ching watched the crazy Liuli and was already planning to ditch her. Meanwhile, you were leisurely taking a shower in the hotel. Outside, your phone kept ringing like it was urgent. You had to quickly finish up, wrap the towel around yourself, and came out seeing the caller ID. You were a bit surprised. Director Li, what brings you to call someone as idle as me today? Li Xia's annoyed voice came from the other end. Idle. The trending topics almost belong to you now. You scratched your head. Seems like that is true. Get to the point. What exactly is going on? Li Xia gritted her teeth, her tone getting worse. It is about that special someone of yours. Shen Yuqiu has been dragged through the mud, and you're still sitting calmly. Shen Yuqiu is being slandered. You immediately turned serious, your tone becoming unprecedented serious. What happened to Shen Yuqiu? At that moment, Li Xia on the other end felt a bitter pang in her heart. Whenever it concerns Shen Yuqiu, CV, this man, becomes extremely serious. She let out a cold snort. Trending topics. Go see for yourself. Then she hung up the phone directly. You frown, not understanding what is wrong with this woman again. But there is no time to think about that now. You quickly open Weibo. The first thing you see are the trending posts. The moment you see the headlines, your face darkens. After reading through all the posts and then the comments under Shen Yuqiu's Weibo, your face is completely black with rage. You laugh out of sheer anger. Do they really think they can mess with my woman? And that stupid woman. Something this big and she didn't even tell me. She handled it all on her own. You just want to confront that idiot, face to face. Does she even see me as her husband? But before that, you have something to do. Since someone wants to play, let's play hard. Liuli never imagined that a slap in the face would come so fast. So hard. She hadn't been happy for long before she was suddenly thrown into panic. She never imagined that a mysterious Bofan was actually the pretty boy. She looked down on. At 10 a.m., the whole internet was still buzzing about Shen Yuqiu's downfall. But who knew that Bofan's short video would suddenly blow up as the other protagonist of the incident, the mysterious big shot with millions of followers. The moment he posted a video, he didn't even need the platform to push it. Fans themselves sent it trending. Bofan actually showed his face to speak up. No one expected that he would step up without hesitation at this critical moment. But when everyone clicked the video, they were instantly dumbfounded. This was no self-defense video. It was clearly a lovey-dovey declaration, plus a call-out. In the video you look grim. Hello everyone, I'm Bofan. I just woke up and saw some really nasty comments online. A lot of people are questioning why I wrote songs for Shen Yuqiu and even spreading rumors that she is having an affair. You look into the camera, your voice suddenly rising. I just want to shout one thing. I'm writing songs for my own wife. Damn it, what is the problem? My wife doesn't want to bother with you people, but I won't put up with your crap. Innocence clears itself. Not happening. You let out a cold laugh, your eyes sharp. I originally wanted to get along with you all as an ordinary person, but all I got was distance. Sorry, I'm done pretending. I'm coming clean. My name is Lufan. Back then, Shen Yuqiu and I both left the entertainment industry because we were in love. Then we got married, and we've been together ever since. As for why I go by Bufan, now you know happy. And I want to say to the person who posted that thread and those clickbait accounts, sorry, but I've already gathered evidence. Not one of you is getting away. Oh, and all those paid trolls too. Every single one. You're all getting a lawyer's letter. As soon as the video came out, the entire internet was shocked beyond belief. All that arguing, and it turns out they were already married. No one expected that the mysterious Bufan was actually Lufan. Absolutely insane. This video spread like wildfire. Your fans went absolutely crazy, sharing the video all over Weibo. Hahaha, I'm right here. Who still dares to spread rumors? They're a perfect couple. Where are all those haters from this morning? Open your damn eyes and take a look. While everyone was still discussing the video, Fencing Entertainment's Weibo account immediately followed up with a legal department notice directly stating that, entrusted by Mr. Lu regarding the false statements and rumors online, they will continue to monitor the situation. They have already submitted lawyers' letters to the original poster and those clickbait companies. All related accounts will be permanently banned. As soon as this notice came out, Weibo erupted. Netizens suddenly realized the trending posts from earlier had all been deleted. The original poster even directly deactivated their account. Not long after, Weibo's official account stepped in. After verification and investigation, they have already banned 1,500 accounts that posted false statements. The internet is not a lawless place. With Weibo's official notice released, your video was pushed straight to #1 on trending, and Shen Yuqiu's Weibo immediately took the second spot. In a short amount of time, husband obsessed with doting on his wife, and innocence speaks for itself. Two buzzwords came out one after another. Countless bystanders were frantically spamming your catchphrases. My wife doesn't want to deal with you guys. But at this moment, in the apartment in Shanghai, Shen Yuqiu was completely unaware of all this. She was holding her daughter Wang Wang, leisurely watching cartoons. Just then, Zhao Chuchu rushed over like a gust of wind. A thrilled smile beamed on her face. She shoved the phone right in Shen Yuqiu's face. Sister Shen, quick, look, he posted a video. Shen Yuqiu looked up. Zhao Chuchu stomped her foot in frustration. Sister Shen, you're so gentle. What are you going to do? You really should learn from Lufan. Look at him. He just went head to head directly. So satisfied. Shen Yuqiu took the phone, tapped on the video. That familiar overbearing voice instantly came through the speaker. When she finished watching the whole video, her mouth fell slightly open, her face full of surprise. Zhao Chuchu was still chattering away. Sister Shen, do you know what netizens are calling him now? Wife spoiling maniac. Haha, so funny. Hearing those 4 words, Shen Yuqiu's cheeks quietly turned red. A feeling welled up inside her. Who wouldn't want to be spoiled? With that thought, she immediately left her daughter behind and hurried back to her room. In the living room, only Zhao Chuchu and Wang Wang were left staring at each other, wide-eyed. However, back in her room, Shen Yuqiu hesitated over the dial screen. What would she say if she called? Say his words were too embarrassing. That would just be admitting she is shy. Or say something nice about him. Would he think she is being petty? She threw herself onto the bed in frustration, burying her face in the blanket, kicking her legs like a little girl. Finally, she mustered up the courage and directly called him on voice. The next second, the call was picked up instantly. Your nice voice came through. Hello. Shen Yuqiu's little face was buried in the blanket, flushed from holding her breath. She asked in a muffled voice, hey, what are you doing right now? But instead of an answer, what I got was your laughter. What are you doing? Trying to suffocate yourself with the blanket? Shen Yuqiu let out a startled gasp and jerked her flushed face up, panic written all over her face. How does he know what I'm doing? until she saw the phone screen and was suddenly jolted awake. She had accidentally hit video call. The words social death were instantly written all over her face. Shen Yuchou's mouth fell open slightly, and she froze on the spot, staring blankly at you on the other end of the video. You rubbed your nose thinking that this side of her was unexpectedly cute. The next second, Shen Yuchou let out a muffled sound and buried her face in the blanket again, like an ostrich, refusing to get up ever again. So embarrassing. Her muffled voice came from under the blanket. Don't you dare laugh. You finally stopped laughing, knowing when to quit. Okay, I won't laugh. I was just about to head out to the apartment. Are you coming to pick me up? Then wait for me there. Only then did Shen Yuchou look up, her big watery almond eyes staring at the screen, her pretty face still flushed. She didn't ask why you sent that video. Some things seem to need no further explanation. But even though she didn't ask, you spoke up first. Your tone suddenly turned serious. However, there are some things I still need to say. Shen Yuchou, look at how badly they've been slandering you. Why didn't you tell me? What do you even think of me as? Shen Yuchou fell silent. You asked her what she thought of you, and she actually seemed a little lost too. But the next second, she got her answer. It was affection. She liked to change you. She liked how you carefully looked after her and her daughter. It is just that past experiences made her afraid to open up easily. However, what you got was a long silence. Then your disappointed voice rang out again. It is okay if you won't say. I'm downstairs. Come pick me up. The video call ended abruptly. Only then did Shen Yuchou snap back to reality. Remembering the tone you just used, her heart suddenly stabbed like a needle. Had she let you down? She sprang out of bed, desperate to see you as soon as possible. Her feet swiftly rushed toward the door. You got into the car, but your emotions were flat. You just quietly gazed out the window. Yet Shen Yuchou didn't start the car. Instead, she turned around, fixing her eyes on your profile. After a few deep breaths, she finally spoke. Lu Fan, I'm sorry. Only then did you turn your head, looking at her red-rimmed eyes. A bitter smile rose in your heart. When had you ever truly possessed? So how could you speak of loss? Thus you spoke softly. No need to apologize. Actually, I'm not the Lu Fan you think. You don't have to feel guilty. But Shen Yuchou stared at you intensely. Then are you Lu Fan? You froze instantly, remembering at the amusement park. She had asked you the same question. You shook your head, and could only answer, I am Lu Fan. Then you're the Lu Fan I thought you were. Her firm reply left you completely stunned. You struggled to clench your trembling fists, finally voicing the fear deep inside. But I'm scared. I'm afraid that one day you won't need me anymore. Lu Fan. Shen Yuchou suddenly cut you off, her eyes full of sympathy. She firmly grasped your trembling hand and gently leaned against you, declaring word by word, you're Wang Wang's dad, and you're my husband. No matter what happens, we won't leave you. The most important thing is, you are with us. Her delicate body nestled in your arms with tender soft words. You instantly got the answer you wanted. Holding her, you suddenly smiled. From then on, nothing could shake your resolve. A moment later, Shen Yuchou shyly slipped out of your arms, but you just grinned. Looking foolish, she cast you a charming flirtatious glance, and then burst out laughing too. This fool is actually pretty good. Content. The car slowly pulled away. Both of them felt their worlds had turned upside down. Meanwhile, inside the Tianmei Entertainment apartment. Impossible. How could Yufan be Lu Fan? That pretty boy. Liuli went berserk with one sweep. She sent all the cosmetics flying off the table. Amidst the harsh shattering sounds, she still felt it wasn't enough. She stepped forward and stomped on them hard. And along with the cosmetics, what also got ruined was a lawyer's letter sent by Fangxing Entertainment. She had been exposed. The original poster saw that things were going wrong and immediately ratted her out as the mastermind. Now the company had ordered her to take a break. She knew she was finished. Not far away, Qingjie watched with schadenfreude. As expected, Lu Fan is Lu Fan. He was hiding it too well. She couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Who would have thought that the pretty boy everyone looked down on 2 years ago would now show his fangs? Shen Yuchou really has good taste. I won't accept this. Qingjie, give me your phone. Liuli was panting heavily, her eyes bloodshot, but Qingjie just shot her a cold look and said grumpily, what do you have to be unsatisfied about? Can you sing better than her? You're not as good looking. You can't even pick a man as well as she can. What do you have to complain about? Qingjie's words stabbed into Liuli's heart like knives. Liuli suddenly turned her head and stared at her fiercely, but Qingjie was not intimidated at all. Did I say something wrong? When you're locked up, the contract will naturally end. The company has already abandoned you. Why? Liuli gritted her teeth. What the company needs is a cash cow. You've lost your value, Qingjie. Looked at her and even spoke from the heart. When you get out, just find a nice honest guy and marry him. Stop causing trouble. Heh, so should I thank you for your kindness? They finally had a falling out. Then she suddenly flashed a creepy smile. Sister Qing, let me borrow your phone. Finish what I started. Right? Sister Qing frowned. What else do you want? Mutual destruction. Liuli's smile turned sinister. What makes Shen Yuchou think she can always one-up me? She is just an orphan, why does she get to? Now that I know Bifan is actually Lu Fan, then I still have one last trick up my sleeve. I can't touch Shen Yuchou, but I'll make sure Lu Fan's reputation is ruined. No one will get off easy. Sister Qing watched Liuli, who looked like she was losing her mind. She knew Liuli had gone crazy. She wanted to say that Shen Yuchou had never competed with her. She is 1,000 times better person than you, but she couldn't say it. At this moment, any provocation would make Liuli completely lose control. So Sister Qing handed over her phone. Here is the phone, but none of this has anything to do with me. I know you're scared. Liuli took the phone. Under Sister Qing's watch, she dialed the number. Chen Shuai. This is Liuli. Meanwhile, the atmosphere in the apartment dining room felt a little off. Wang Wang was eating happily, having a great time. Sister Yun had a fond, doting smile the whole time. Zhao Chuchu, however, kept her head down, shoveling food into her mouth. Every now and then, she would sneak a glance at you and Shen Yuchou. They saw Shen Yuchou's pretty face. Even her neck was bright red. She wished she could bury her face in the bowl. And you were grinning like an idiot, peeling crawfish by hand. You fed them to her with chopsticks, placing them right at her lips. Shen Yuchou felt like she was being boiled alive. This guy hasn't been normal since he got out of the car, but you thought it was only natural. She already admitted you're her husband. What is wrong with feeding her? Can you please stop? I'll do it myself. Shen Yuchou finally couldn't help but look up. She shot you a shy, reproachful glance. The playful glare in her eyes made you freeze. So this is what it feels like when a girl looks at you like that. It feels amazing. Falling in love is the best. Only then did you stop feeding your wife. You turned to start feeding Wang Wang instead. After dinner, you finally returned to normal. You sat down on the couch and started thinking about the song for the next competition. The round of 16 to 8 was an easy win. The top 8 might be a different story. The remaining contestants are all as skilled as Shen Yuchou. When it comes to singing, what it all comes down to is original songs and on-the-spot performance. Cranking out a great song in 3 days isn't easy for anyone. Even you start to worry what song to pick to guarantee victory. Meanwhile, Shen Yuchou isn't idle either. She is sitting right next to you, polishing the song she has been working on. But that song is always missing a key melody. Shen Yuchou furrows her brows tightly. That melody is like a cat you can never catch. Frustration makes her mess up her hair until it looks like a bird's nest. Not until deep into the night does she finally manage to seize that spark of inspiration. Yet early next morning, just as Shen Yuchou wakes up, a huge incident about you sets the trending topics ablaze again. At first she doesn't think much of it. After all, your name has been trending non-stop these past few days. But when she sees the title of the post, her eyes instantly narrow. Her heart is thrown into complete turmoil. At the same time, countless netizens also spot this trending topic. They're already used to seeing Bufan's name every day, so they click on it without a second thought. But this time, when they read what is in the post, everyone freezes in shock. Some even rub their eyes, unable to believe what they're seeing. Bufan wife beater. The headline is absolutely mind-blowing. Netizens are stunned at first, then burst out laughing. You've got to be kidding me. Yesterday he was the ultimate wife-beating husband. Today he is a wife beater. They can't wait to open the video attached to the post, eager to see who is spouting such nonsense. When the video starts, two men appear with serious expressions. It is Chen Shuai and Ye Qian, former members of your old boy band. Chen Shuai speaks first. Hello everyone. I'm Chen Shuai, a former friend of Lu Fan. Why do I say former? Because I'm ashamed to be associated with someone like him. I know you don't believe me, but he is a wife beater. I have a phone recording as proof. Back when he begged me to let him make a comeback, I happened to record the call. I never thought it would become the evidence to expose his hypocrisy. I, Chen Shuai, dare to show my face, so I'm not afraid to confront him. As soon as these words are spoken, the netizens fall silent. They spoke with great certainty, and even filed a real name report. It made them waver for a moment. Then Ye Qian also picked up his phone and shook it. I can testify. What Chen Shuai said is all true. Now let everyone hear the recording from back then. After saying that, he directly pressed play. Netizens immediately pricked up their ears. They heard your voice coming from the phone. Brother Chen, do you think I can return to the company? Chen Shuai's indifferent voice sounded. You've already married a popular young actress. Why are you still thinking so much? The next second, your voice came again, with a hint of frivolity. Women are like clothes. Career is what matters. So you want to make a comeback. Can Shen Yuqiu give it to you? In the recording, you let out a laugh, and said something that broke the entire internet. To be honest with you, 100 billion 10,000 won. Does she dare not to give it? Just give her a beating in it. LOB fine. Women, you can spoil them. The recording ends here. But the fury of the entire internet completely erupted. Disgusting. Is this even a man? Always bullying his own woman. Not only did female netizens transform into warriors and rage span, even male compatriots were filled with righteous indignation. Then in the video, Chen Shuai, with an angry expression, continued to pile on. Everyone heard that. Right. This is the devoted husband you all talk about. I, Chen Shuai, will never stand on the same side as this domestic abuser. SD, but the comment section had already been overrun. I must have been blind to like someone like this. Hearing the recording made me puke. How filthy is Lu Fan really behind the scenes? My heart was instantly shattered. Countless people told you to come out and speak, and at this moment, you were quietly looking at your phone, listening to that recording. The familiar feeling of nausea surged up again. You rushed into the bathroom and started vomiting. As if in an instant, you had returned to that oppressive Lu Fan from before. Those things are all facts. They really happened. You couldn't refute them. The injuries Shen Yuqiu suffered were probably even more. The phone rang incessantly, but you didn't even look at it. For the first time, you chose to run away, pulling the covers tightly over myself, as if that would make it feel better. What hurts isn't being scolded, but those memories flooding back. The suffering Shen Yuqiu and Wang endured is vividly before my eyes. You realize you've never actually forgiven yourself, even though you've been trying to make up for it. Every moment it doesn't change what happened. Meanwhile, in the apartment, Shen Yuqiu is anxiously calling you over and over. After seeing the post, she is incredibly worried. No one understands you better than she does right now. She has watched you change, seeing you atone little by little. She understands it all. She has long since let go of the past, but she knows you definitely can't forgive yourself now. Beside her, Sister Yun and Zhao Chuchu look heartbroken, both angry and at a loss. The phone still won't go through. You vanished without a trace. Shen Yuqiu's heart tightens instantly. Wang in her arms looks up. Ma, are you calling Dad? Why don't you go find Dad? Wang's words jolt Shen Yuqiu awake. She can't sit still any longer. She stands up flustered and rushes out, stumbling. She is coming to find you. Soon Shen Yuqiu runs to your door. Out of breath, she bites her lip and knocks softly. No response, she doesn't hesitate. Knocks again and again. Today she is determined to get you to open the door. You under the covers, finally stirred by the persistent knocking. You drag your heavy body to open the door. The first thing you see is Shen Yuqiu's red-rimmed eyes. Just one day, seeing her again, you can't even look her in the eyes. At a loss at the door. She must have seen that post too. Is she thinking about everything from before again? You silently close the door like a prisoner, about to be executed. What is she thinking? Your voice is hoarse. Your heart is filled with dread. Now everyone knows. What will she do? Divorce. But just then Shen Yuqiu sees the look in your eyes. Instant fury. She yanked you onto the bed, grabbed your arm and bit down hard. A sharp pain shot through you. You snapped awake instantly. Your instinct was to pull your hand back, but you held back. Let her vent. It would make her feel better. Until Shen Yuqiu let go, looked up to meet your gentle gaze. She couldn't hold back her tears anymore. Are you stupid? She shouted hoarsely, then pulled back your sleeve. A row of deep teeth marks on your arm, tinged with blood. Horrifying to see. Alright, we're even now. Shen Yuqiu threw herself into your arms, sobbing. You're a victim of domestic violence too. We're quits. You're not allowed to be sad anymore. At that moment, you were completely stunned. The fiery body in your arms felt so unreal. You couldn't believe it as you touched her head. It was real. Your mood shot from hell to heaven in an instant. A grin spread across your face. Shen Yuqiu said, we're even ever since you crossed over. You've been tiptoeing around, always feeling indebted. Now finally, someone told you we're even. It felt so good. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. You weren't just redeeming them. You were redeeming yourself. You two clung to each other like fools, sobbing after a long while. Shen Yuqiu mumbled against your chest. Don't ever do that again. Wang and I will worry about you. You nodded emphatically, your voice hoarse. I won't you say that now. Shen Yuqiu lifted her head, blushing, her eyes rimmed, red, gazing at you with tearful eyes. Suddenly, as if struck by a thought, a flash of uncontrollable excitement lit up her eyes. I think I just remembered that melody. What melody? You couldn't help but reach out and ruffle her hair. It is like you're petting a dog. The song I've been working on. It just came to me now. As soon as she said it, she broke free from your arms. Strike while the iron is hot. You scratch your head regretfully. You take out the sheet music from your backpack and hand it to her. I was going to write a song tonight. You do it. Shen Yuqiu blushes and nods. She sits cross-legged on the bed. She quickly begins composing. She hums a little tune, the tip of her pen dances. In a few moments, a complete melody appears on the page. She lifts her head happily, staring straight at you. Finally finished. Do you want to take a look? You gently shake your head. I'd rather you sing it to me. Shen Yuchou's face turns even redder. She mutters that there are no lyrics yet. Humming is also fine. You smile and urge her. Finally, she shyly nods, without accompaniment. Only her soft humming sounds. But the moment the melody reaches your ears, you freeze on the spot. Your eyes are full of shock. You have heard this melody before. It was in your original world. You can't believe it. You continue to listen intently, until a section of humming ends. Wait a minute. You suddenly interrupt her. You hastily grab paper and pen, and quickly write something down. Shen Yuchou looks confused, but when she leans over and sees what you're writing, a light suddenly bursts from her eyes. On the paper, the words are clearly written. Courage. Actually, these are lyrics. Already you just wrote them down. Shen Yuchou leans in to look. She is instantly delighted. These lyrics are exactly what she had been dreaming of, even better than what she had imagined. She blushes. Her eyes shift from the lyrics to your serious profile. At this moment, as if possessed, she can't help but give your cheek a quick kiss. Your hand suddenly jerks. The ink immediately bleeds. You feel as if struck by lightning. The warm soft sensation on your right cheek is as vivid as if branded. You look down at the lyrics on the paper. Inside your heart is already exploding with joy. This was the courage Shen Yuchou wanted. And after Shen Yuchou heard that, she panicked instantly. She lowered her head, wishing she could find a hole to crawl into. Good thing you didn't react much, or she would have definitely fled in shame. Of course you knew she was shy, so you held back your own racing heart, and continued writing the lyrics. In the end you casually handed her the lyrics, as if nothing was wrong. Let's see if you can sing the whole thing for me. This time, the song ended. You smiled and nodded. Sounded great. Next competition is in the back. It's because your lyrics are good. Without my wife's melody, I wouldn't have thought of a song like this. And so the mutual praise began. But the moment the words my wife came out, Shen Yuchou completely broke. She buried her face in your chest like an ostrich, her heart both shy and sweet. But before you could fully enjoy the sight, a jarring phone ringtone abruptly shattered the warm atmosphere in the room. You picked up the phone. On the screen, the contact name director Li stood out. You raised an eyebrow. Looks like Li Xia saw the post too. As soon as the call connected, you spoke in your usual gentle tone. Is there something? On the other end, Li Xia was clearly taken aback. She asked cautiously. There are some nasty comments online. Aren't you going to clarify? You instinctively glanced at Shen Yuchou. She was pretending to study the spore intently, but her wandering eyes gave her away. You winked playfully at her. Her face instantly flushed bright red. She hastily looked away. Then you calmly dropped the bombshell into the phone. No need to clarify. It's all true. The line went dead silent. After a long pause, Li Xia's incredulous voice came through. Why? I don't believe it. The you I remember, but you cut her off. Director Li, how much do you really know about me? What's online is true. If you do something wrong, you face the consequences. As for those comments, let them talk. Your gaze never left Shen Yuchou the whole time, tender beyond words. As long as the people I care about understand me, that is enough. Another silence on the phone. Li Xia's voice carried clear disappointment. I see, I'll hang up then. You'd barely put down the phone. Shen Yuchou's voice came softly. You're too cold. That is not good. You were completely confused. Me cold. Then Shen Yuchou added another remark. Her eyes dimmed slightly. That older woman probably likes you. What? Li Xia likes me. You scratched your head. Suddenly felt a headache coming on. I only see her as a regular friend. But how do you know? Shen Yuchou suddenly lifted her head and stared at you. Her tone was incredibly firm. I trust my gut feeling. You scratch your head, looking sincere. You're wrong. I'm a married man with a child. It would be disrespectful to have feelings for someone else. Love should be serious and exclusive. Seeing your earnest gaze, Shen Yuchou nodded slightly, but a sense of urgency welled up inside her. You may not like others, but that doesn't mean others won't like you. That older woman is way more accomplished than she is. You looked at her with confusion, carefully replaying the conversation in your mind. Suddenly, a click of amusement appeared in your eyes. You nudged her arm. You're jealous. Shen Yuchou instantly panicked. Her face turned bright red. No, I'm not. Her voice was loud, but her reaction was even louder. Case closed. She was definitely jealous. The smile at the corner of your mouth widened. You quietly watched her squirm. But the more Shen Yuchou tried to cover it up, the more flustered she became. Embarrassed and annoyed. Finally, she couldn't bear your gaze any longer. She gave up and tossed the sheet music onto the bed. Fine, I am jealous. Okay, how could I not be, when there's a gorgeous woman like her into you? Your smile grew even wider. The next second, you suddenly leaned in close to her. Your voice was laced with temptation. How about I stamp a seal on you? That way you won't get jealous. Right, your face was extremely close, your breath landing on her face. Shen Yuchou's heart suddenly pounded like a drum. It beat faster and faster, as if it would leap out of her throat then. Under your gaze, she slowly closed her eyes, and pouted her little lips slightly. Delighted, you closed your eyes and slowly leaned in. Then, Shen Yuchou was about to compete in the top 8 to top 4 round of Star Song Gala. At that moment, she was practicing at Star Entertainment. You returned to the apartment. Only the nanny, Sister Yun, was home with her daughter Wang Wang. Sister Yun had mixed feelings toward you. She was grateful for your recent changes and help, but also remembered how you had hurt Shen Yuchou before. However, seeing how you now cared for your wife and daughter, she felt relieved. She told you that Shen Yuchou was at the company. Hearing this, you decided to take Wang Wang to visit her own set and surprise your wife. Meanwhile, online the criticism against you continued. Netizens had even formed groups to denounce you, hoping Shen Yuchou would take this chance to get a divorce. However, Shen Yuchou's Weibo suddenly updated with a pin post. To meet a good man in this life. How truly fortunate I am. A gentleman corrects his mistakes. All admire him. My heart is the same. These 2 lines instantly set the internet on fire. Everyone speculated whether Shen Yuchou was being controlled. You took Wang Wang to Star Entertainment. There you ran into Chen Chen, another contestant. Chen Chen was a fan of Shen Yuchou after meeting you in person. She found you kind and approachable, and even asked for your autograph. Then you went to a recording studio. Through the glass you watched Shen Yuchou singing earnestly, your eyes full of tenderness. The song ended. Shen Yuchou was overjoyed to see the 2 of you. Shyly and sweetly, she called out, "Husband." The second episode of Star Song Gala arrived as scheduled. The buzz was unprecedented. You and Wang Wang, wearing masks, kept a low profile and came to the venue. Shen Yuchou's opponent was Shao Feibai from Shengxi Entertainment. Before the competition started, an audience member loudly questioned Shen Yuchou. Was that Weibo post really from you? Were you coerced? Shen Yuchou's gaze was firm. Looking at you in the audience, she loudly declared, like he is a good guy. Some feelings are simply meant to be. Then the big screen showed the song title. Courage. Lyrics by Lu Fan, music by Shen Yuqiu. The intro started playing. Shen Yuqiu sang with deep emotion. The lyrics hit straight to the heart. This blatant confession left the entire audience and netizens stunned. Turned out this wasn't a criticism session. It was showing off their love. As the live performance ended, public opinion shifted dramatically. Everyone was sending their blessings to this couple who loved each other equally. In the end, Shen Yuqiu advanced to the top 4 with a high number of votes. After the competition, Fancy Entertainment took the opportunity to clarify that you had never been abusive. The two were equally devoted to each other. That night, you held Shen Yuqiu's hand and strolled down the street. You wandered through the food street and watched a movie like lovesick couples. In the movie theater, you couldn't help but sneak a kiss from Shen Yuqiu, making her blush with shyness. Although there were still some small misunderstandings and friction between you, your relationship was quickly heating up. After the brief time together, you took Wang back to Jiang City. Shen Yuqiu stayed in Magic City to prepare. Back in Jiang City, you were busy finding a kindergarten for Wang. Although you missed the enrollment period, thanks to little Princess Bufan's popularity, you still managed to enroll her in Jianghua Kindergarten. At the same time, a plot was brewing in Magic City. Yin Ping, a former executive of Fancy Entertainment, sought revenge. Teaming up with Star Song Collection, mentors Wang Bing and Ren Xiaoxiao, they planned to tamper with the next competition, so Shen Yuqiu would lose to Chen Qian. He also brought in the so-called music godfather, Wu Mian, to write songs for Chen Qian. In the third episode of Star Song Collection, the top 4 to top 2 match, Shen Yuqiu faced off against Chen Qian. Host Chen Xue deliberately stirred up trouble, asking Shen Yuqiu if her new song was still written by you. Shen Yuqiu handled it calmly during the competition. Shen Yuqiu performed Sea of Flowers. The beautiful intro instantly drew the audience into the mood. Shen Yuqiu's performance was heartfelt, like a solo concert. The entire audience erupted in thunderous applause. In comparison, Chen Qian's sweet song was not bad, but it paled in comparison to Sea of Flowers. However, something unexpected happened during the voting round. Although Gao Yu voted for Shen Yuqiu, Shui Yu gave a sympathy vote to Chen Qian. Wang Bing and Ren Xiaoxiao both voted for Chen Qian. This caused Chen Qian to take the lead in the vote. The whole audience was in an uproar. Accusations of a rigged contest began to surface. But at the critical moment, Shui Yu stepped forward. Host, I'd like to interrupt for a moment. There is something wrong with this round's votes. I want to apologize to Shen Yuqiu and to the audience. I'm sorry. Earlier I received information from Yin Ping, the operations director at Star Entertainment. He told me that Chen Qian and Shen Yuqiu are both under Star Entertainment. If the gap between them became too large, he asked me to cast a sympathy vote for Chen Qian, so she wouldn't lose too badly. But now, it is turned around and Chen Qian advanced instead. I feel I am responsible. Today, because of my actions, Shen Yuqiu was eliminated. I resigned from my position as a mentor on Star Song Show. Chen Qian then directly announced she was withdrawing. She said Shen Yuqiu's Sea of Flowers far surpassed her own performance. The truth came out. The show's director, Ren Chao, stepped in urgently to fix the situation. He announced the revote and disqualified the involved mentor. In the end, Shen Yuqiu successfully advanced. Afterwards, Yin Ping was fired by Star Entertainment. The mentor involved was completely disgraced. Wu Mian, on the other hand, because his song lost to yours, he dared you to score 251 points. Before the final, he openly provoked you and issued a challenge for the final, daring you to score 1251 points. Wu Mian's provocation exploded online. The media played out the clash between the old and the new. You weren't T1 to back down. You replied, if you want to fight, then let's fight. Shengshi Entertainment took the opportunity to invite Wu Mian to write a song for finalist Miao Sangyu. The keyword for the first round of the finals was tragic horror. For Wu Mian, who excelled in this style, it was a godsend. For you, it was a brand new challenge. Shen Yuqiu was worried about this, but you seemed confident. To find inspiration, Shen Yuqiu even watched horror movies with you. In the end, she got terrified herself. Instead, it brought you two closer together. The next day, you came up with a new song. On the night of the final, all eyes were on the stage. Miao Anning took the stage first. She sang Sorrowful Change, written by Wu Mian. The first half of the song depicted the pain of cancer patients. The second half was a somber instrumental piece. Although somewhat obscure, it was highly artistic. Wu Mian was full of confidence. Then Shen Yuqiu took the stage. She was wearing a bright red wedding dress, wearing the phoenix crown, but her makeup is hauntingly sorrowful. Her eyes are vacant. The song title, Kukung, slowly fades in. The music begins. Eru and people weave together a melancholic melody. Shen Yuqiu starts singing. Her operatic vocals stun the audience. The lyrics describe a ghost marriage. Not a single word mentions sorrow, yet every line sends chills down your spine. As the song progresses, the suna suddenly blares, pushing the atmosphere to its climax. That bone-deep sadness and fear gives the entire audience goosebumps. Shen Yuqiu's performance without blinking once is hailed by netizens as the most beautiful ghost bride. Kong defeats cancer with an overwhelming advantage. Shen Yuqiu wins decisively, with 40 votes from the judges and 88 votes from the audience. Wu Mian suffers a total defeat, keeps his promise, relinquishes the title of music godfather, and apologizes. After the show, you wait for Shen Yuqiu outside. Shen Yuqiu tells you that Zhao Chu has already left. She forgot to bring her apartment keys. Without needing to say it, you both head to a hotel. In the hotel room, the atmosphere is intimate and tense. You come out of the shower and find Shen Yuqiu crying. She opens up, feeling she doesn't deserve you. The closer she gets, the more afraid she is of losing you. You gently cup her face. Tell her you used to feel insecure too, that she was the one who made your heart race. This is all the best arrangement from heaven. What heaven arranges is what matters most. Your words make Shen Yuqiu smile through her tears. You hold each other tightly. Finally, at this moment, you fully understand each other's feelings. Two hearts cling to each other, without reservation. On the road ahead, you will walk it together, hand in hand, through storms and glory.